calmly, the surprise on her face turning into respect. Do you know Cheng Huang? Cheng Huang? Ye Tianxin asked blankly. Lu Zhao frowned. Think carefully before answering. Ye Tianxin fell into thought, but no matter how hard she racked her brains, there was no information about Cheng Huang in her mind. Ye Tianxin shook her head and said, Disciple really doesn't know what Cheng Huang is. Lu Zhao looked at Ye Tianxin carefully again. The system provided information about her. Name, Ye Tianxin. Race, Bai, human. Cultivation, nascent soul realm, recovering. Lu Zhao noticed that behind her race, there were 2 extra words. Human, as if to confirm that she wasn't a foreign race. Similarly, the cultivation section also showed that she was gradually recovering, but her loyalty remained the same, not progressing at all. Lu Zhao thought to himself, the hatred value has returned to 0. This is completely true. So I need to accept her as a disciple again for loyalty to appear? Breaking out of the cocoon or tying my own hands, Lu Zhu wasn't in a hurry. Forget it. Lu Zhao turned and left. Respectfully send off Shifu. Respectfully send off Shifu. Zhao Yanhe also followed him out. Even the Bai people didn't know Cheng Huang, so perhaps this thing didn't exist at all. Moreover, Cheng Huang didn't have any appeal to Lu Zhao at all. Now he could reverse time, and if he didn't seek death, he could be immortal. What was the point of finding Cheng Huang? Lu Zhao's purpose wasn't to find Cheng Huang, but because he vaguely felt that finding Cheng Huang might lead to finding his missing memories. Ming Xinyan stayed behind to patiently explain the matter of the Bai people and Cheng Huang to Ye Tianxin, from the fact that he was caught in the witchcraft trap to the fact that he was driving the cloud-piercing flying chariot. It was like this at first. Then like this. Ming Xinyan slowly recounted everything, leaving Ye Tianxin stunned. Ye Tianxin sincerely said, The great kindness of 4th senior brother is etched in my heart. Don't thank me. You should thank Shifu. That old man, Ye Tianxin, lowered her head. I've made such a big mistake. I'm afraid Shifu won't let me return to the Devil Sky Pavilion. Don't worry about such nonsense. If it was before, it would be really difficult. But during this time, Shifu's style of work and personality have changed a lot. As long as you perform better, returning to the Devil Sky Pavilion is just a matter of time. Ming Shiyin said. Moreover, the Devil Sky Pavilion is also short of manpower. Just thinking about the scene where someone of his level has to drive the cloud-piercing flying chariot, Ming Xinyan felt ashamed. Ye Tianxin doubted, and asked cautiously, 4th senior brother, are you telling the truth? Ming Xinyan smiled brightly and said, Of course it's true. People change, don't they? Shifu rewarded me with the parting hook. Based on this alone, I can't say he's wrong. Hey, don't look at me with that look. I'm not sick. Ye Tianxin listened to Ming Xinyan's rambling and sighed softly. At the same time, after Lu Zhao left the South Pavilion, he didn't return to the Evil Sky Pavilion. Instead, he conveniently checked the system's task list. Aside from the disciple taming quests, there was also the Wei Zhuoyan repays his debt task, all of which were in the in-progress state. Wei Zhuoyan pretending to confess didn't count as completing the task, obviously. After thinking about it for a moment, Lu Zhuo headed to the North Pavilion. Zhao Yanhe asked, Master, what are you doing at the North Pavilion? Lu Zhao glanced at Xiao Yanhe and saw that she seemed preoccupied, so he casually asked, Is something the matter? Xiao Yanhe honestly replied, Recently, while practicing the Grand Clarity Jade token, this disciple always feels like there's a slight problem. Xiao Yanhe knew to ask for guidance. That's a good thing. Lu Zhao nodded and said, After I interrogate Fan Xuen, I'll take a look for you. Thank you, Master. The two arrived at the North Pavilion. Fan Xuen, charred and smoking, was lying unconscious on the ground. He only had a faint breath left. Feeling like he could kick the bucket any second, Lu Juju shook his head and coldly said, You wanted to see Mo Li dead that badly, huh? Fan Xuen's entire body was immobilized on the ground. Only his fist was clenched, making a crisp sound. I can help you kill Mo Li, Lu Juju slowly said. Fan Xuen desperately opened his eyes. Lu Zhao continued, but with one condition. Lu Zhu could see Fan Xuen's body trembling. Lu Zhao said calmly, The condition is simple. From now on, you will be loyal to the Evil Sky Pavilion. The room fell silent. Fan Xuen was burned so black he looked like charcoal, no different from a monster. Moreover, he was seriously injured, and his cultivation was almost completely ruined. He was utterly worthless. The Evil Sky Pavilion might be big, but why would it need to take in such a useless wretch? Fan Xuen's body stopped trembling and became still. Fan Xuen couldn't open his mouth to speak, but his blackened face was full of self-deprecating expressions, as if to say, Does someone like me still have any value? He knew his place very well. He was in no position to negotiate with the Evil Sky Pavilion. What Black Knight's leader? What number 1 on the black ranking? All gone. Xiao Yanhe watched from a distance. Not daring to look at his condition, Xiao Yanhe couldn't understand why her master was doing this, but she didn't dare to question him. There must be a reason for what master was doing. Lu Zhao looked at Fan Xuen and said, If you agree, I have a way to save you. As soon as these words were spoken, Fan Xuen's eyes widened. Fan Xuen's whole body trembled again. He used all his strength to try to raise his head to look at Lu Zhao, but his injuries were too severe, causing him to fall back down. A small sound came from his throat. At this moment, the system announced, Obtained an 8-leaf nascent soul realm subordinate, acquired 2,000 merit points. Special suggestion, controlling this subordinate will be relatively difficult. Host, please increase his loyalty. Hearing the reminder, Lu Zhao carefully examined Fan Xuen, name, Fan Xuen, race, Human, cultivation, nascent soul realm loyalty, 2%. A loyalty of only 2% showed the difficulty of controlling this person. However, Fan Xuan was, after all, once at the top of the black ranking. His reputation was immense, and he was the leader of the mighty Black Knights. It was only natural for him to be arrogant and conceited. Even a commander of the three armies like Wei Zhuoyan might not have the qualifications to be as arrogant as him. Very good. Lu Zhuao nodded in satisfaction. Having joined the Evil Sky Pavilion, you must not have ulterior motives. Fan Xuan's throat made difficult, gurgling sounds. It wasn't clear what he was trying to say. Lu Zhao slowly raised his hand. A faint green light appeared in his palm. He flicked it, and the emerald green light landed on Fan Xuan. Fan Xuan widened his eyes, watching the aqua green light fall upon him. This was the Desperate Healing card, costing 300 merit points to exchange for. A powerful subordinate was absolutely worth it. Besides, the system had just rewarded him with an extra 2,000 points. Of course, Lu Zhao was also thinking about ways to control him. It would be a bit difficult to command a subordinate like Fan Xuan, but he would gradually manage it. Fan Xuan was seriously injured, and the Desperate Healing card could only restore 30% of his injuries. In his current state, Fan Xuan couldn't cause any trouble. The aqua green light enveloped Fan Xuan's entire charred body, penetrating it little by little, threading through his meridians. A gentle source of energy instantly spread throughout his body. Lu Zhou's expression was calm, assessing the changes in Fan Xuan. This Desperate Healing card had an effect similar to the Buddhist art of universal salvation. Universal salvation could only be used by nascent soul realm experts, but it consumed a lot of energy, essentially pouring the caster's entire body of energy into the meridians of the person being saved, allowing energy to grow again in the meridians, and then healing the injury. Fan Xuan's loyalty plus 2%. How could Fan Xuan not be surprised by Lu Zhou's selfless act of saving him? But really, it was all thanks to the Desperate Healing card. Lu Zhao saw Fan Xuan's loyalty increase by 2%. But his expression remained calm. This kind of person was difficult to increase loyalty from the start, and it would likely become even more difficult later, and 2 of his subordinates had died at the Evil Sky Pavilion. This made strengthening his loyalty even more difficult. Reaching 70%, or even 80%, was definitely not something that could be done overnight. The effect of universal salvation lasted for more than half an hour. During this time, Lu Zhao stood calmly, watching him without worrying about the effectiveness of the Desperate Healing card. After half an hour, the aqua green light began to disappear. Zhao Yannier was astonished, only daring to obediently stand by and watch, not daring to interrupt her master. Finally, the healing effect of the light completely ended. Swish. The blood clots on Fan Xuan's body fell off. He struggled to sit up, supporting himself on the ground with his hands, slowly retreating backward. His strength had recovered somewhat, but it was still difficult to move. Fan Xuan trembled all over, his vision gradually becoming clear. Fan Xuan gasped for breath, his voice hoarse. From now on, there is no Fan Xuan in this world, only Leng Luo. After speaking, he coughed violently. His injuries had only recovered about 30%, Lu Zhao thought to himself. Was the 30% recovery of the healing skill in an emergency situation all used on his face? Lu Zhao nodded slightly, stroking his beard, and said, Leng Luo, I won't say much about the rules of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Leng Luo nodded. Perhaps because he hadn't had time to adapt to this new relationship, there was a slight unnaturalness on his face, and the nod looked extremely stiff. Pavmive. Pavilion Master, Lu Zhu immediately said, Up to you. Leng is a person who keeps promises, but I still want to ask one question. Why? Leng Luo still didn't understand. His current cultivation and state were no different from being crippled. Even if the Evil Sky Pavilion took action to kill him, he wouldn't find it strange. Lu Zhu said calmly, Because you're Leng Luo. A Leng Luo with an 8-leaf avatar has got to be worth something, right? Leng Luo nodded slightly. Lu Zhao asked, You really want to kill Mo Li? Yes. When did you meet Mo Li? Leng Luo replied. I don't remember exactly. I only remember that she has a pretty good relationship with the people from the Jingming Dao. Jingming Dao, Lu Zhao continued. Mo Li is from Jingming Dao? That's right. Fan Zong also used to research witchcraft. Fan Zong mentioned that there were many seniors and elders in Jingming Dao who didn't say a word about witchcraft. Mo Li, Mo Qi. Lu Zhao muttered these 2 names, clasping his hands behind his back. The mere mention of those names made Leng Lu Zhao's face turn sour, like he was super allergic to them. Lu Zhao looked at him and asked, You've been the leader of the Black Knights for so many years. Do you know her cultivation level? Leng Luo shook his head. I've never seen her make a move before, but she shouldn't be weaker than Yu Han in the Immortal Sage formation. Yu Han in the Immortal Sage formation only receives 7 or 8 parts of his true power. Comparing them, Mo Li's cultivation is equivalent to a 7 or 8 leaf avatar. Looks like the Jingming Dao is full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Compared to them, the Zheng Yi Dao seems much weaker. Both sects belong to the same lineage, but their strength is so far apart. Just then, Duan Musheng's voice came from outside. Master, Wei Zhuoyan has been taken care of. His true cultivation is only at the Divine Court realm. He couldn't escape even if he grew wings. Lu Zhuo nodded slightly. Duan Musheng continued to report. Also, there's a letter from 7th senior brother. What's up with that? It's a pretty important matter. Si Wuyai sent a flying letter. Zhang Chunlai of the Zhengyi Dao led people to besiege 8th senior brother and failed miserably. Lu Zhao asked suspiciously. With 8th senior brother's abilities, how could he do this, master? 7th senior brother didn't say the reason in the letter. He also said that Zhang Yuanshan has gone to the Jingming Dao. The two sects are originally from the same lineage, and the Jingming Dao vowed to wash the fierce tiger mountain in blood, to avenge Zhang Chunlai. Lu Zhao remained calm, his voice hinting at mockery. You reap what you sow, you can't blame others. Duan Musheng said nothing more. He couldn't guess his master's mood, nor did he know how his master would treat 8th senior brother. His job was to report the details of 7th senior brother's letter. In Zhao Yanhair's mind, she was picturing the fat pig Zhu Honggong being hung up and roasted over a fire. Zhao Yanhair said, Master, 8th senior brother's cultivation is similar to mine. If the Jingming Dao makes a move, he should be chopped to death. Zhao Yanhair's wording made Lu Zhao speechless. At the same time, on the fierce tiger mountain, the young man Zhu Honggong was roasting a pig over a fire, preparing to have a good meal. Zhu Honggong didn't know that danger was about to befall him. Hearing Zhao Yanhair say that Zhu Honggong would be butchered, Duan Musheng said, He's not that easy to kill. At the same time, on fierce tiger mountain, Zhu Honggong and his gang were feasting on meat and wine. Haha, chieftain, this is the pig's head for you. Zhu Honggong kept sneezing, because Zhao Yanhair and Duan Musheng were constantly mentioning his name. He got annoyed and said, Who keeps thinking about me? You're the pig's head. Your whole family are pig's heads. Zhu Honggong is a disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion. With his crappy cultivation, he should have died a long time ago, but he's still alive to this day. Si Wuyai's flying letter intended to use someone else's knife to kill, no matter what his purpose was. Lu Zhao stubbornly ignored it, and he had no way to deal with it. Seeing Lu Zhao's attitude, Duan Musheng and Zhao Yanhair also wisely stopped talking about this topic, and stood respectfully aside. Lu Zhao's gaze once again turned to Fan Xuan, leaning against the wall. Leng Luo, Mo Li is cunning and treacherous, and only knows how to hide in the deep palace. If you hate her so much, then kill her yourself. After saying these words, Lu Zhao turned and left the North Pavilion. On the way back, Duan Musheng asked, Master, Leng Luo used to be Mo Li's man, and we even killed his 2 brothers. You're raising a tiger in the house, it's really dangerous. After all, he's an 8-leaf powerhouse. One day he recovers his strength, he might rebel and cause chaos. Lu Zhao stopped, shook his head, and said, Leng Luo is seriously injured and hasn't recovered yet, so he can't cause any trouble. Moreover, if he really recovers his 8-leaf cultivation, the first person he looks for will definitely not be the Evil Sky Pavilion. Duan Musheng heard this and suddenly understood, slapping his head and saying, Disciple understands. The person Leng Luo hates the most is that Mo Li hiding deep in the palace. Mo Li controlled Leng Luo for so many years. It can be said that Mo Li is the one who made Leng Luo as miserable as he is today. Lu Zhao ordered, Fan Zong, keep an eye on him. Disciple obeys. After a while, on the way back to the Evil Sky Pavilion's main hall, Lu Zhao looked at the system interface and saw that he had 12,112 merit points. Perhaps because he had just acquired a new subordinate, Lu Zhao suddenly wanted to draw a lottery. According to the logic from previous draws, the results of the winning draws would make up for the merit points lost due to the draws. In general, it was still a big profit, but this time, he kept getting, thank you for participating, which increased his luck points to 14. Lu Zhao shook his head and closed the system interface. No, I don't dare to draw anymore. He looked at Zhao Yanhair, who was standing obediently behind him. Lu Zhao was itching to kick something, so he kicked the chicken next to him, and then said, Zhao Yanhair, come here. Yes, Zhao Yanhair nodded like a chicken pecking at rice, running to his side. Do you have any problems with your cultivation? Zhao Yanhair nodded and said, Recently, when I cultivate the Taishuan Jade Scroll, I always feel that my cultivation can't improve. It's always been stagnant, Lu Zhou asked again. Stagnant? Lu Zhou felt a little strange. He had corrected and supplemented the Taishuan Jade Scroll's technique, so there couldn't be any problems. Plus, with talent that surpassed everyone, Zhao Yanhair's cultivation couldn't be stagnant. Give me your hand, yes. Lu Zhao took her pulse and poured primal qi into Zhao Yanhair's 8 extraordinary meridians. The primal qi circulated around her body and entered her Dantian qi si. Lu Zhao suddenly raised his eyebrows. Only a Dantian. Cultivators step from the body tempering realm into the mysterious connection realm, and then from the core condensation realm into the ocean of qi realm. Only by opening the 8 meridians in the ocean of qi realm can one open the qi si in the Dantian, and only then can one be called the ocean of qi realm. The Dantian qi si is the initial form of the golden lotus avatar. The Dantian is the golden lotus, and the qi si is the lotus leaf that blooms in all directions. Without the qi si, cultivation is difficult to improve and will be limited by the Dantian. Zhao Yanhair asked anxiously. Master, how is it? Lu Zhao lifted his hand, secretly shocked. Zhao Yanhair was able to cultivate to the divine court realm without a qi si. Her talent is truly extremely high. Fortunately, he discovered it in time. Otherwise, if she continued to cultivate like this, her Dantian would not be able to withstand the power of the primal qi, leading to her body exploding and dying. Temporarily put aside the Taishuan Jade Scroll. Yes, your qi si hasn't been opened. If you force yourself to cultivate, it will backfire, Zhao Yanhair asked in surprise. The qi si hasn't been opened. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said, It's a small matter, don't worry. Although it was said to be a small matter, it couldn't be solved in one go. What Lu Zhao found strange was that Zhao Yanhair's qi si was still in a closed state. With Ji Tiandao's abilities, how could he not have discovered it? So it was very likely that Ji Tiandao had done something to it himself. Lu Zhao shook his head helplessly. Master has a letter. Zhao Yanhair pointed at the carrier pigeon circling outside. She zoomed out like a shot and snagged the pigeon. After returning and opening the letter, Xiao Yanhair scrunched up her nose and said, "Ugh, it's that thick-skinned Jiang Aijian, or should I say, Third Prince Liu Chen." Xiao Yanhair read the letter. Many thanks to Senior Ji for the sword. Truly worthy of being called a peerless good sword, I am extremely pleased. To express my respect and gratitude to you, I shall reveal some inside information for you. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded. With Jiang Aijian's status and brains, breaking into the armory to get a treasure sword was a piece of cake. Continuing, first, be careful to guard against your seventh disciple. What a troublemaker, does he want to stir up the whole world or what? Second, the Wei Zhuoyan who went to the Dark Heaven Pavilion is a fake. The real Wei Zhuoyan has gone to Qingyang Lake. He plans to hide there. 8 years. It's been rumored outside that Senior Ji's 10-year tribulation is approaching. This Wei Zhuoyan is really cunning. Also, shouldn't our cooperation have a time limit? I exchanged my entire life for a good sword. I think it's a bit of a loss. 10-year tribulation. Lu Zhu stroked his beard and shook his head. Everyone's waiting for Master to die. Xiao Yanhair hurriedly knelt down and kowtowed. Master, this disciple would never dare to have such thoughts, Lu Zhao ordered. Send a message to Jiang Aijian, tell him. Since it's a 10-year tribulation, then after I die, this cooperation will end? Yes, this disciple will send a message to Jiang Aijian right away. Xiao Yanhair quickly delivered the message as Lu Zhao instructed, only she didn't expect that Jiang Aijian immediately sent a reply the next morning. Senior Ji is joking. Not only 10 years, even if it's 15 years I can bear it, I think it's worth using 15 years to exchange for a peerless good sword. After reading the letter, Xiao Yanhair couldn't help but curse. You shameless bastard. Lu Zhao calmly stroked his beard and said, Tell him, I have always valued promises, and I hate those who break them the most. This disciple obeys. After Xiao Yanhair sent the message, Lu Zhao noticed the content on Jiang Aijian's letter. Tell your fourth and third senior brothers, bring Wei Zhuoyan here, Xiao Yanhair asked with interest. Master, what are we going to do this time? Lu Zhao sipped his honeydew and said, Some people are in a hurry to reincarnate. How can I not fulfill their wish? Although Xiao Yanhair didn't understand, she still nodded and ran out. At the same time, in a villa in the middle of Qingyang Lake, the entire villa exuded a fresh and elegant atmosphere. Except for a wooden bridge connecting to the shore, all sides were surrounded by lake water. An elegant woman standing beside it suddenly said, General, can Wei Zhuoyan deceive the old devil? Wei Zhuoyan said calmly, Wei Zhuoyan wants to die wholeheartedly, and you have trained him a lot. I don't think there will be any problems. Even if Wei Zhuoyan can't deceive the old devil, I won't lose anything, the woman said. With the old devil's temperament, he will definitely kill Wei Zhuoyan without hesitation. But we should still prevent any bad situations from happening. Wei Zhuoyan smiled indifferently. Don't worry, this general is the commander of the 3 armies. If this general has to die, I will make all the people in the world be buried with me. This sentence meant that he would rather betray the people in the world than let the people in the world betray him. Wei Zhuoyan turned his head to look at the woman standing next to him. Jin Yi, you have followed me for many years. I know you are a careful person, but sometimes you worry too much, the female cultivator replied. The general is right. Wei Zhuoyan showed an unfathomable smile. Don't forget the lesson from last time. The second prince's attitude towards Mo Li is not just a normal relationship between men and women. The woman agreed when she heard Mo Li say this. It's just that this subordinate is overthinking. Wei Zhuoyan stood up and looked at the beautiful scenery of the mountains and rivers in front of him and said, How many more years can the old devil of the Dark Heaven Pavilion live? I will retreat in the middle of Qingyang Lake for these few years. Just 10 years. It's as fast as a blink of an eye. Maybe not even 10 years. The old devil will not be able to take care of himself. How can he have the energy to entangle with me? Although it is said that he can live for more than 10 years, the cultivation of cultivators will drop sharply as they get older. The cultivation world has always wanted to plunder the treasures of the Dark Heaven Pavilion, so naturally someone will take the lead. And by that time there will be no more Dark Heaven Pavilion in this world. Wei Zhuoyan spread his arms heroically, and couldn't help but raise his voice. This general can wait for 10 years. He can afford to wait. No one in this world can do anything to this general. Mixed with the original gas, the sound spread all around on the lake, causing the calm lake to suddenly rise up with waves. Li Jinyi bowed slightly. The general's opinion is great. Wei Zhuoyan glanced at Li Jinyi with satisfaction. Is there any news from the second prince's side? Li Jinyi replied. His Highness heard that the general wanted to go to the Dark Heaven Pavilion to plead guilty, so he was very sad, and he wanted to personally lead troops to conquer the Dark Heaven Pavilion. But Mo Li stopped him. Playing the villain and the hero, acting is not bad, Wei Zhuoyan smiled and said, Has the general's whereabouts been revealed? This is what he was most worried about. Li Jinyi continued to reply, Please rest assured, General, except for the 4 deputy generals and subordinates, no one else knows that the general is in Qingyang Lake for closed-door training. Very good, Wei Zhuoyan nodded. Even if someone comes to Qingyang Lake to cause trouble, this general will take it as usual. After all, he is also a 7-leaf Dharma body expert. Even if someone comes, they may not be able to do anything to him. The general is right. Wei Zhuoyan couldn't help but feel happy about his tight plan. Jin Yi, don't you think the scenery here is extremely beautiful? In the sky, a shooting star is slowly approaching. He pointed to the distant blue sky. Look. Even the shooting stars are appearing for this general. Li Jinyi looked up. Shooting stars? If there are shooting stars, will wishes come true? She was originally a woman, and in her heart she had the thoughts of a girl, and she wanted to see how beautiful the shooting stars really were. Wei Zhuoyan didn't worry about anything, and looked at the sky and clouds comfortably. But as her gaze landed on the meteor in the sky, she couldn't help but frown. That meteor had a really long tail, and as it got closer, it looked bigger and kinda eerie. Its speed was totally different from a normal shooting star that flashes and then disappears. Li Jinyi frowned and said, "General, something's not right." Wei Zhuoyan was startled and asked, "Huh?" Li Jinyi immediately said, "It looks like a flying chariot." "A flying chariot?" Wei Zhuoyan's eyes widened as he looked up. As the meteor approached, he finally saw its true form clearly. Just as Jinyi had said, it wasn't a meteor at all, but a huge-ass flying chariot. Who in this world dared to use such a flying chariot? A lieutenant quickly stepped forward, bowing and saying, "General, it's the flying chariot of the Motation Pavilion. Please, General, take cover." Wei Zhuoyan shook his head and said, "It's fine." Li Jinyi anxiously asked again, "General, are you sure you don't want to take cover?" Wei Zhuoyan nonchalantly said, "How could the Motion Pavilion know that this general is here? They're probably just passing by Qingyang on their way to Chengdu." Li Jinyi bowed, her eyes filled with worry, and said, "This subordinate feels that Motion Pavilion's actions are unusual, General. It's better to take cover. If they see you—" Li Jinyi hadn't dared to finish her sentence, but Wei Zhuoyan still proudly spread his arms wide and loudly proclaimed, "A measly Motion Pavilion. Do you really think this general is afraid of them?" From where they were standing to the flying chariot in the sky was an extremely long distance. Even with the best eyesight, it was impossible to clearly see who was on board. Moreover, Wei Zhuoyan was a 7-leaf Dharma body expert. He'd be laughed out of the 3 armies if he ran away just because he saw their flying chariot, let alone the old devil. So Wei Zhuoyan still stood tall, proudly looking up at the passing, cloud-piercing flying chariot. The speed of the cloud-piercing flying chariot didn't decrease at all. Wei Zhuoyan pointed at the flying chariot and said, "Just as this general expected." Li Jinyi and the lieutenant simultaneously bowed and exclaimed in unison, "General is wise." The cloud-piercing flying chariot really had no intention of landing. Its speed was as fast as before, not slowing down even a little. Just as they were breathing a sigh of relief, a golden light suddenly shot out from the cloud-piercing flying chariot. A sharp-eyed lieutenant asked, "What's that?" The golden light was like a leaf, flying towards Xingyang Lake. At the same time, another golden light fell down as well. "Not good! It's a Dao seal!" The first golden light had already descended to the height of the treetops. Everyone could clearly see its shape. It was the character Lin in seal script, emitting golden light. From the one-word imprisonment seal technique, its target was precisely Wei Zhuoyan. Wei Zhuoyan's mind trembled violently. This meant that his plan had completely failed. Wei Zhuoyan looked at the one-word imprisonment seal rushing towards him, and his hand suddenly pushed out. Boom! The one-word imprisonment seal sent him flying backwards. Crash! Wei Zhuoyan shattered all the buildings on the surface of the lake, sending debris flying everywhere. His energy blew away 2 of his subordinates. At the same time, the character Bing, in seal script, shining with golden light in the grand void protecting seal technique, also pounced over. Boom! Wei Zhuoyan continued to fly backward, his expression extremely ferocious. His energy gathered in front of him, and his 100 tribulations knowing destiny Dharma body appeared, immediately gathering energy. General! General! The 4 lieutenants and Li Jinyi were all terrified as they watched the Dao seal send Wei Zhuoyan flying. Their faces were filled with astonishment and disbelief. More and more Dao seals fell down from different directions like falling leaves in autumn. The scene looked like a flock of geese lining up to fly south, forming a perfect curve. One Davio seal after another. Adding to the previous 2, there were a total of 9 Davio seals falling toward the lake. The outer circle mysterious seal, the inner 8 character seal, the unbinding seal, the myriad god seal, the 8 trigram seal, the treasure gourd seal, the sun moon seal. The 7 hand seals seemed to have eyes, completely ignoring the 4 lieutenants and Li Jinyi, passing over their heads and attacking Wei Zhuoyan, who had already been sent flying far away. Boom! Boom! The sound of collisions with each hand seal rang out. 1 seal, 1 palm strike. The 9-syllable true incantation Great Hand Seal is a grandmaster of Taoism. The 4 lieutenants' mouths hung open. Even though they were top-notch experts, when they saw the 9-syllable true incantation Great Hand Seal, they had no will to live. Who could unleash this kind of supreme secret technique? Chase after the general, he can't die. Li Jinyi was the first to react. After speaking, she darted towards the direction the 9-syllable true incantation Great Hand Seal had struck. The surroundings of Qingyang Lake were densely forested. Only the direction in which Wei Zhuoyan had been sent flying had nothing to block him. His entire body flew straight through, like a tunnel that had been dug in advance. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, who would have believed it? The 4 lieutenants and Li Jinyi kept rushing forward. The surface of the lake was so wide that they felt like they had been flying for a long time before they entered the tunnel. The path created by the 9-syllable true incantation Great Hand Seal through the dense forest. They knew that Great General Wei Zhuoyan was likely more unlucky than lucky, but they didn't dare to rush in immediately. After entering the forest, their speed was very slow. Everyone was afraid that several demonic cultivators would suddenly jump down from the cloud-piercing flying chariot and wipe them all out. The motion pavilion was very strong, so strong that it made people's blood boil. What, 6th leaf, 7th leaf, 8th leaf experts? They could all be wiped out with a flick of a finger. Li Jinyi tightly frowned, looking ahead. Shh! She signaled everyone to be quiet. her ears twitching slightly. It seemed she could hear movement ahead, movement coming from deep within the forest. This made her heart stir. Perhaps Wei Zhuoyan had not died. The 4 lieutenants stood behind Li Jinyi. They chose to trust her. Whatever Li Jinyi told them to do, they would do. The further they went, the darker and gloomier the forest became. Just taking one more step deeper would make it impossible to see anything. The extremely dense leaves blocked everyone's view. Whoosh! Above the trees, there was suddenly a deep sound created by flight. Li Jinyi and the 4 lieutenants simultaneously looked up. Due to the limited visibility, they could only see a streak of light fly past. It was the flying chariot from just now, the motion pavilion's flying chariot. The sound and light were the same. They're gone? Li Jinyi's eyebrows furrowed. She felt very strange, and turned her head to look back for a moment. Was the motion pavilion's flying chariot really just passing by? Of course not. Another voice came from deep within the forest. Someone's there! Li Jinyi and the 4 lieutenants prepared their formations. They all drew their swords to defend against an enemy attack. Rustle! Rustle! Thump! A figure finally appeared. The opponent was only one person, but it made the 5 of them feel uneasy. Some even unconsciously took a step back. The figure was very burly. Finally, the person approached, entering their range of vision. They could clearly see the person's face. Everyone was stunned. General, Li Jinyi's gaze as she looked at Wei Zhuoyan standing in front of her was extremely complex. The Taoist's 9-syllable true incantation Great Hand Seal was a heaven-defying technique. How could General Wei only be slightly injured? There was still a trace of blood at the corner of Wei Zhuoyan's mouth. His expression was very calm, and his hair was a little disheveled. He didn't speak immediately, but slowly observed the 5 people in front of him. After a moment of silence, Wei Zhuoyan spoke. This general is tired. General. The lieutenants simultaneously knelt down. Li Jinyi still stood upright, unable to hide the worry in her voice. General, this place is no longer safe. A lieutenant then looked up and said, General, please leave immediately. We cannot let anything happen to you, even if we die. Please leave this place and return to Chengdu. Please return to Chengdu. The others echoed. Wei Zhuoyan glanced at the 4 people, then turned to Li Jinyi and said, Return to Chengdu. A strange light flashed in Li Jinyi's eyes. She originally wanted to say something, but in the end, she held back. She just clasped her hands and said, Understood. Wei Zhuoyan walked straight ahead. Li Jinyi looked at Wei Zhuoyan's back with a complex expression. Wei Zhuoyan instructed, Remember, consider what happened today as if it never happened. Li Jinyi lowered her head, and the lieutenants replied in unison, This subordinate obeys. At the same time, the cloud-piercing flying chariot passed over Qingyang Mountain, passed over Qingyang Town, and flew towards Motion Pavilion. Lu Zhou stood on the flying chariot with his hands behind his back. Ming Xiyin bowed and praised. Master's divine might is unparalleled. This disciple's eyes have been opened. The 9-syllable true incantation Great Hand Seal had left Ming Xiyin in shock. When he was fighting against Shi Wu, he could understand the 9-syllable true incantation Great Hand Seal being so powerful. But now, Maester was standing on the flying chariot, and from such a long distance, he could eliminate Wei Zhuoyan. It had truly moved Ming Xiyin, Lu Zhao calmly said. It's just a trick of fate. It was truly his unlucky fate. If he had hidden in Chengdu and hadn't shown his face, then he could have lived a little longer. Ming Xiyin only said half a sentence before he realized he had said something wrong, and hurriedly corrected himself. Even if he had stayed in Chengdu, Master would still be able to capture him as easily as always. Duanmu Sheng, who was controlling the cloud-piercing flying chariot, chimed in. Master? We just let Wei Zhuoran go like that? What if those guys kill him? Lu Zhuoran gazed into the distance and replied, They won't. Even if they discover that Wei Zhuoran is a fake, no one would dare expose it. They'd even play along to keep up the charade. If Wei Zhuoran dies, the army will be like a snake without a head, and so many people will want a piece of that snake. Before, Wei Zhuoyan's merits overshadowed his lord. His life was already in danger. Now that it's Wei Zhuoran, he'll definitely be much more subdued. The great Yan imperial family is probably hoping he ascends to the throne ASAP. From now on, Wei Zhuoran will truly become Wei Zhuoyan. Xiao Yanhair, sitting on the edge of the flying chariot with her legs dangling, turned her head and said, Jiang Aijian said that everyone in the palace is at odds with each other, and now hearing 4th senior brother say that, it really sounds super boring there. Ming Xiyin shook his head and sighed. Some people are just power hungry, what can you do? It's a pity that such a dignified 7-leaf expert just died like that, Lu Zhao interjected. 5 leaves, not 7 leaves, 5 leaves. Ming Xiyin, Duanmu Sheng, and Xiao Yanhair were all startled. Ming Xiyin exclaimed, 5 leaves. No matter what outsiders say about how many leaves he cultivated to, Lu Zhao only believed what he saw. And also, he just used up a prop card. A fatal blow only rewarded him with 1,000 merit points, which meant he only profited 400 points. The points awarded for killing a 7-leaf would definitely not be so low. Ming Xiyin raised his eyebrows, ready to get angry. What a crafty old fox. Are you saying the guy we just killed was a fake too? The distance was too great just now, so Ming Xiyin and Duanmu Sheng didn't see clearly. Ming Xiyin thought maybe his master's old and his eyesight is failing. He probably mistook the person, but how could he dare say that out loud? He had to say it was a fake. Lu Zhao affirmed. He really was Wei Zhuoyan. I get it now, master. Turns out he was just a show-off. But if he was only 5 leaves, how could he have become the commander of the 3 armies? Ming Xiyin still didn't understand. Or maybe he had a powerful helper? Duanmu Sheng said. Whoever he is, as long as he doesn't provoke the evil Sky Pavilion, We're too lazy to bother. Ming Xinyin nodded in agreement. Ming Xinyin continued. The matter at Yulong village is finally over. Senior sister Tiangxin can rest assured now. Looking outside, seeing the cloud-piercing flying chariot flying over the mountains, Ming Xinyin suddenly had an idea. Master! Now that we've left the evil sky pavilion, why don't we take this opportunity to catch Old Eighth too? With the cloud-piercing flying chariot, it won't take long to fly to Tiger Wolf Mountain. Lu Zhu said nothing, stroking his beard as he pondered. Originally, he didn't plan on touching Old Eighth, but glancing at the system interface, he saw that the disciple teaching mission was still at the tops. Disciples Ming Shiyin, Duanmu Sheng, and Zhao Yanher could be considered properly taught, and the merit points he could earn from them had clearly dwindled. It's just that Old Seventh definitely had the ability to save Old Eighth, so what was his purpose in informing the evil sky pavilion? Lu Zhao recalled Jiang Aijian's flying message. Old Seventh really wanted to stir up a storm. Lu Zhao hesitated about whether to catch Old Eighth or not. With Old Eighth's worth, at most he'd provide a few merit points, and then the teaching would be complete. And Old Eighth hadn't committed any major mistakes either. It was mostly Old Seventh pulling the strings behind the scenes. Everyone said Old Seventh's dark web was at Mount Crouching Dragon, but no one had ever found it. They only knew that the dark web was scattered in every corner of Great Yan, an extremely vast intelligence network. How difficult would it be to catch Old Seventh? Moreover, what Lu Zhao needed right now was to improve his strength. Everyone was waiting to see him die. The rumors outside said he only had 10 years left to live. Not even waiting for 10 years, perhaps within 5, 7, or 8 years, someone would be eyeing the evil sky pavilion. The rumors outside also said that Lu Zhao's cultivation would continuously decline during this time. Therefore, if he didn't have enough strength, when the time came, countless cultivators would raise their heads, and he wouldn't be able to cope with that swarm of cultivators with just prop cards. Thinking of this, Lu Zhao looked at Ming Xinyin and said, He escaped at Qingyu altar. Old Seventh sending that letter must have other motives. Go investigate. Hearing this, Ming Xinyin's eyes lit up and he said, Disciple accepts the order. Disciple will definitely do this well. Duanmu Sheng then said, Fourth, do you need me to go with you? Don't look at Old Eighth as if he's always an idiot. He's actually very cunning. Ming Xiyin replied, Why use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? I'll go scout out Old Seventh's tactics first, and when the time is right, I'll catch them both. A look of regret appeared on Duanmu Sheng's face. If you leave, there won't be anyone to spar with me. Elder Hua is still recovering from his injuries, and doesn't have time to spar with him. Little senior sister hasn't entered the nascent soul realm yet, and doesn't have a heavenly weapon, so she's no match for Duanmu Sheng. Han Zhong and Zhu Jifeng are only in the divine court realm, and the only other option is the newly joined Black Knight leader Luo. But unfortunately he's also seriously injured. Ming Xiying glanced over and said, How could anyone be as abnormal as you, only knowing how to train and train? You have to use your brain too. A moment later, the cloud-piercing flying chariot returned to the evil sky pavilion. Ming Xiyin received his master's orders, left Golden Court Mountain, and headed towards Tiger Wolf Mountain. At Tiger Wolf Mountain, Zhu Honggong was lying asleep on a master's chair. Ming Xiyin casually appeared outside the mountain stronghold. Old Eighth, I'm here. The shout echoed through the mountains, startling Zhu Honggong awake from his deep sleep, almost causing him to fall off the chair. Who is it? Is Master here? Zhu Honggong hurriedly looked around, and a subordinate saw this and called out, Chieftain, outside the stronghold. The subordinates rushed into action. Chieftain, run. The low-level lackeys in Tiger Wolf Mountain all had low cultivation levels. How could they resist Ming Xiyin? The lackeys with good eyesight recognized Ming Xiyin and didn't dare provoke him. Ming Xiyin swooshed and appeared in front of everyone. Get out of the way! The lackeys hurriedly dodged. Fourth senior brother, Zhu Honggong, rubbed his eyes, first stunned, then putting on a fawning expression. He tripped over a chair and ran over, saying, Which gust of wind blew senior brother here? Ming Xiyin swaggered in. Ming Xiyin said, Didn't you say last time that you'd welcome me to come here as a guest? Zhu Honggong hurriedly placed a chair down and invited Ming Xiyin to sit down. Zhu Honggong laughed obsequiously. I was just saying that casually. Oh no, of course I welcome senior brother's esteemed presence. Fourth senior brother, please sit. Ming Xiyin didn't rush. He surveyed his surroundings for a moment and said, It was almost flattened last time. How long has it been? And you've already fixed it up. Zhu Honggong said, Of course my brothers are best at this kind of thing. Old Seventh sent a flying message to Master, saying that the Jingming Dao wants to cause trouble for me. Aren't you afraid at all? Zhu Honggong jumped in surprise. No way, why would that happen? Ming Xiyin frowned, glanced at him pointedly, and said, Nonsense. You killed the Zhengyi Dao elder Zheng Chunlai. How could they let you off the hook? Didn't you also kill the Zhengyi Dao elder Zheng Quanqi, Acho? Too much talk. Ming Xiyin kicked him. Ow, ow, ow. Zhu Honggong didn't dare resist or dodge. He obediently knelt down. At the evil sky pavilion, the system announced, Teaching 8th disciple Zhu Honggong, gaining 100 merit points. Lu Zhao in the evil sky pavilion heard the system notification and nodded in satisfaction. Back at Tiger Wolf Mountain, Ming Xiyin continued, Even if I killed the entire Zhengyi Dao, they wouldn't be able to do anything to me. As for you, who are you relying on to protect you? First senior brother? Second senior brother? Or Old Seventh, who's always hiding? Zhu Honggong's expression was full of grievance. Thinking about this, he felt sad. He also wanted to find a backer, but the problem was that everyone disliked him. Ming Xiyin shook his head and said, Old Eighth, tell me honestly, what kind of game are you and Old Seventh playing? Zhu Honggong hurriedly replied, Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I swear, to heaven and earth. Why does this scene feel so familiar? It seems like he swore the same way last time. Ming Yin continued. 8th junior brother. I'm doing this for your own good. Your current situation is extremely dangerous. If it's some ordinary cat or dog causing trouble, old 7th can help you. But this time, the people taking action are from the Jingming Dao. Except for the Evil Sky Pavilion, no one can help you. Listen to your senior brother's advice. Hurry up and disband this dilapidated stronghold and obediently come back to the Evil Sky Pavilion with me to beg for forgiveness. Beg for forgiveness. Zhu Honggong's whole body trembled, his face full of anxiety. With Master's temper, he'll probably tear out my tendons and skin me alive. Ming Yin clapped his hands and said, that's also possible. Who knows what kind of trick Master will pull? It depends on luck. If you catch him when he's in a bad mood, you're doomed. Ming Yin recalled Zuo Xinchan, one of the 3 great archers, and Li Qing, a sword hand from the 4 knights. Both of them were turned to ashes with a wave of Master's hand. And you're still telling me to go back to the Evil Sky Pavilion and beg for forgiveness? There's no other way, Ming Yin said with a smile. Don't wait until Master has to take action himself. The sect leader of the Fiend Slaughter sect, Ren Buping, was also killed with 1 slap from Master. How vicious! Zhu Honggong became even more frightened. If he went back, wouldn't he be beaten into a pulp like a meat bun? Ming Yin paced back and forth, probing. Zhu Honggong, I didn't expect old 8th to be so stubborn. It seems like old 7th usually whispers a lot of nonsense in his ear. It's fine if you don't want to go back. Then tell me, where is the Crouching Dragon Dark Web? Zhu Honggong replied. Yi Province. Be more specific, you idiot. Why don't you just say it's in Great Yan? Ming Yin kicked him again. Zhu Honggong said with grievance. How would I know? 7th senior brother is like a divine dragon. You only see its head, not its tail. If I could find him, would I still be afraid of the Jingming Dao? Give me a break, in your mouth. You think old 7th can cover the sky with 1 hand? That he can do anything? Just as he finished speaking, a person slowly walked in from outside the stronghold. The lackeys in the stronghold all retreated, not daring to stop him, and the whole stronghold suddenly became quiet. Ming Yin and Zhu Honggong turned their heads to look. Old 7th? 7th senior brother Si Wuyai was dressed very formally, wearing a long robe and a brocade hat, with a smile on his face. He clasped his hands and said to Ming Yin, Greetings, 4th senior brother. Ming Yin didn't really like this person. He looked away, his attitude somewhat indifferent, and said, You still dare to show your face? If it was Master coming, I definitely wouldn't be here, but since it's senior brother, here I am. Ming Yin, lounging in his chair, drawled, You sly dog. Zhu Honggong bowed his head and gestured to Si Wuyai, 7th senior brother. Please have a seat. I've built quite the throne for you to show off your power, borrowing the fox's prestige, thanks to the tiger. Si Wuyai slowly walked forward, sat down on the chair next to Ming Yin, and said with a smile, I heard Wei Zhuoyan came to the Dark Hall. Ming Yin quickly replied, Old 7, drop that idea? You won't dig up any information from me. 4th senior brother. We're all fellow disciples, no need to be so formal. I'm asking this for the good of the Dark Hall, Pa, Ming Yin retorted sharply. If you really care about the Dark Hall, go back and accept your punishment right now. Whether you live or die depends on fate. Zhu Honggong was even more terrified at the thought of such a life-or-death situation. If I go back, I definitely won't get any good treatment. Right? Si Wuyai smiled faintly and said, Why are you always so angry when you see me, 4th senior brother? These words of yours are meaningless. I have so many unfinished tasks. How can I return to the Dark Hall? Reaching out with both hands, he took a pastry from the table, then asked, So why did you send a letter to the Dark Hall? Ming Yin immediately replied, Simple. Si Wuyai popped the pastry into his mouth and said, The Pure Nether sect wants to attack the fierce tiger stronghold. If old 8th isn't protected by the Dark Hall, he'll surely face a calamity. Ming Yin also took a pastry, but with a skeptical attitude he asked, No other purpose. Si Wuyai shook his head. Don't think of me as such a dark and dirty person, 4th senior brother. That's all there is to it. So why didn't you go to 2nd senior brother, or 1st senior brother? Comparing the 3, it's clearly hardest to ask Master for help. 1st and 2nd senior brothers both have the full capacity to deal with the Pure Nether sect. 1st senior brother is busy with 100 things a day. He has no time to pay attention to old 8th. 2nd senior brother travels everywhere, his whereabouts are uncertain, and he doesn't have a home to return to. Only the Dark Hall is the most suitable. According to what you're saying, I don't want to bring old 8th back anymore. Ming Yin still liked to go against Si Wuyai. While Si Wuyai and Ming Yin were exchanging words, Zhu Honggong, with his gluttonous nature, kept stuffing pastries into his mouth. With a cold gaze, Si Wuyai replied, Old 8th will die. Ming Yin, also with a sharp look in his eyes, retorted, Then let him die. Zhu Honggong, who was eating, immediately questioned after hearing this, Damn it, when did I ever provoke anyone? I can endure, but I can't tolerate humiliation. Zhu Honggong stood up and loudly said, Senior brothers, I'm not going anywhere. Besides, what I do has nothing to do with you guys. Si Wuyai and Ming Yin shouted in unison. Shut up. Zhu Honggong awkwardly sat back down, grumbling, Geez, fine, you guys continue. Si Wuyai calmly looked at Ming Yin, 4th senior brother. Are you really gonna watch old 8th die? Zhu Honggong didn't want to say anything else. This talk of death left him speechless. He shut his mouth and ate. Ming Yin replied, Old 8th betrayed the sect. Even if he dies, it's a fitting punishment. Si Wuyai's expression didn't change, he simply continued. In that case, let him die. At this moment, Zhu Honggong silently ate with his head down even though he felt very wrong. Continuing to argue with Ming Shiyin was meaningless. Si Wuyai stood up, put his hands behind his back, and walked out. Seeing that Si Wuyai wanted to leave, Ming Xiyin's tone also softened. Old Seven, take your senior brother's advice for once, stop this. Si Wuyai stopped, and casually said, Master only has, at most, another 15 years to live. 10 years, 8 years, or even less. The Dark Hall will inevitably suffer a calamity. How could Ming Xiyin not understand this? He remained silent. Si Wuyai continued, Fourth senior brother, what do you plan to do then? Ming Xiyin still calmly replied, We'll deal with future matters later. Then consider that I never came here. Si Wuyai's figure flashed, and he left the fierce tiger stronghold. Zhu Honggong's subordinates, seeing Si Wuyai's strength, stood below, wide-eyed, and waved goodbye. Ming Xiyin didn't stop him. With his current strength and cultivation, it would be very difficult to capture Si Wuyai. Ming Xiyin was silent for a moment, then suddenly opened his mouth and said, Disband the stronghold, follow me. The pig-headed Zhu Honggong let out a sound of surprise. Ming Xiyin lowered his head, his eyes cold as he said, What's with the ah? Master ordered that you be brought back to the Dark Hall. Zhu Honggong whimpered. Remembering Master's various methods of punishment, he was terrified, and immediately shook his head repeatedly. Let's just forget about it. Fourth senior brother, we're all family. Why make things difficult for each other? As he spoke, Zhu Honggong sweated profusely and took 2 steps back. Ming Xiyin continued to glare at him and ask, Old Eighth, what do you want to do? Sorry, senior brother. I still don't want to go back. Goodbye. Zhu Honggong turned around and ran for his life, his speed so fast that it made people's blood boil. The corners of Ming Xiyin's lips curved into a smile and he immediately chased after him. Let's see where you can run to. His figure flashed, chasing after Zhu Honggong. Zhu Honggong was, after all, a god-tier cultivator. But in terms of speed, he was naturally inferior to Ming Xiyin, a nascent soul cultivator. In the blink of an eye, Ming Xiyin had arrived right behind Zhu Honggong. He reached out and struck out with a palm. Boom! This palm struck Zhu Honggong's back, causing him to be thrown forward. Ming Xiyin felt that the force of his palm seemed to have been blocked by something. Zhu Honggong fell to the ground and then got back up. Running out of the stronghold, he ordered his subordinates, Stop him for me, quick, quick! 2 subordinates stammered, Stronghold Lord, this, run! Ming Xiyin was left speechless at the sight, not knowing what to say. Although his own fighting style was also very cautious, running away if things didn't look good, he was definitely not this cowardly, not even daring to turn his head. To think that a dignified disciple of the Dark Hall would turn into this appearance, he really lost all the face of the Dark Hall. There's nowhere left for you to run! Ming Xiyin's voice resounded throughout the entire fierce tiger stronghold. Zhu Honggong and his subordinates hurriedly ran behind the mountain. The whole group running in a line looked very comical. While running, Zhu Honggong shouted, Fourth senior brother, don't force me. Zhu Honggong's expression changed as he said, 8 directions formation, but, Ming Xiyin's figure flickered, appearing before everyone once again. At the same time, the vines around him began to grow wildly, instantly blocking the path behind the mountain. Zhu Honggong staggered backward. We're really screwed this time. Stop trying to scare me with that broken formation of yours. Don't blame senior brother for being heartless. I already messed with it last time I was here. Ming Xiyin smiled faintly, stepping forward. Zhu Honggong really wanted to cry at this point, and the brothers behind him were scared, stiff. Boss, how about you just go back with senior brother? Hearing his subordinates' words, Zhu Honggong was just confused. Ming Xiyin nodded, saying, You're the only one of your subordinates who's sensible and reasonable. Creak, creak. The path behind Zhu Honggong was completely blocked by vines. Ming Xiyin's Qingmu Heart Sutra had been refined to perfection, and the primal qi energy on his body was constantly spreading out like a tide, causing the vines to grow continuously wherever it touched. This move, Myriad Woods Greet the Spring, was enough to fight even a nascent soul realm expert with 3 or 4 leaves, let alone Zhu Honggong, who was only at the divine court realm. Zhu Honggong's treasure silk armor could only protect him from harm, but it couldn't increase his combat power. He could only watch helplessly as Ming Xiyin walked up to him. Without the 8-direction formation, the difference in strength between them was too great, like heaven and earth. Zhu Honggong stammered. All escape routes are gone. Senior brother. Ming Xiyin patted him on the shoulder and sighed softly. Listen to what I have to say. Ming Xiyin raised his voice, speaking to the brothers on Manhwa Mountain. You guys should find a new way to make a living. The subordinates all knelt down at once. Then they started wailing like their boss. 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 After that, all of Zhu Honggong's subordinates gathered densely, kneeling down and shouting in unison, Boss! Boss! To Ming Xiyin's surprise, those brothers who looked weak and timid had actually all gathered together, kneeling down before Zhu Honggong. Zhu Honggong glared at them and said, Take all the valuables in the stronghold and divide them up. Then get lost. Zhu Honggong's words were righteous and awe-inspiring, full of the aura of a stronghold boss. The brothers kneeling on the ground exchanged glances and then quickly ran back to Manhwa Mountain. Thank you, boss. Seeing them change their attitudes so quickly for the sake of money, Zhu Honggong was confused. Shouldn't the routine be filled with tears and snot, saying goodbye with determination and refusing to leave? Boss, don't worry. We will definitely live up to your expectations. Get lost, you bunch of ungrateful bastards. The brothers quickly stood up and scattered immediately. Goodbye, boss. The subordinates quickly rode away on their pig-drawn carts. Ming Yin raised his hand slightly, and the vines blocking the path slowly disappeared. He didn't need to argue with these small fries, especially since they were Zhu Honggong's subordinates. It was good to let them leave. Seeing Zhu Honggong's distressed appearance, Ming Yin said annoyedly, "Stop being so sentimental about this broken mountain stronghold. Is the Evil Sky Pavilion not good enough for you? Senior brother, Menghu Mountain Stronghold is my life's work. I have feelings for every tree and blade of grass here. Get lost." Ming Yin glared at him. "You're still saying so much at this point," Zhu Honggong quickly said. "Let's go." The two flew out of Menghu Mountain. Ming Yin recalled the time when he delivered that palm strike. He strangled Zhu Honggong and asked, "Eighth, what kind of treasure are you wearing?" Zhu Honggong hurriedly clutched his clothes. "Senior brother, don't you have any designs on me?" Ming Yin shook his head slightly. "Come on, stop hiding it. Don't think I don't know. I just didn't expect Seventh to help you get the treasure silk armor." Ming Yin gave him a thumbs up. "It's great that you didn't get beaten to death by that group of swindlers, hee. It's nothing, it's nothing." The two flew away. At the same time, at the Evil Sky Pavilion, the system notified Lu Zhao. Ding! Captured the unfilial disciple Zhu Honggong, rewarded 1,000 merit points. This notification completely surprised Lu Zhu. He had originally only intended for Ming Yin to check on 7th bro, but now it seemed Ming Yin had conveniently snatched 8th bro and brought him back as well. Oh well, capturing him was for the best, preventing him from causing trouble everywhere. Inside the Evil Sky Pavilion, Lu Zhao opened the system interface. Name: Lu Zhao. Race: Human Cultivation. Void Refinement Realm. 8 Meridians Merit Points. 13,312 Dharma Body. 6 Harmonies Separation Lifespan remaining. 5,988 Days Items. 1 Fatal Strike. 2 Damage Immunities. 7 Fatal Block. 4 Passive Binding Cages. 2 Refining Talismans. 1 Ji Tiandao's Peak State Card by Zhe. Resting Beyond. Unnamed Weapon Duo's Master Ye Tiangxin needs to be refined again before use. Tragic Life, the Vatican, and the Liyin Wall. Skills: 3 volumes of Heavenly Book. It has been 2 days since Bai Zhe has been resting. Lu Zhao shook his head. The battle with Xingwu consumed too much energy. I don't know when it will finish resting. Lu Zhao looked at them all again. There are no treasures to buy. Lu Zhao pondered for a moment, and then decided to draw a round. After 5 consecutive failures, his luck value had increased to 19 points, and his merit points were still enough for him to play the daily draw. But of course he couldn't draw too many times. A shout came from outside. Elder Hua requests an audience. Hua Wudao, with a tired face, entered the main hall. The battle with Sword Saint Luo Shisan had almost exhausted all of his strength. Hua Wudao entered, and respectfully bowed to Lu Zhu. Lu Zhu asked with suspicion, "Elder Hua, what's the matter?" Hua Wudao clasped his hands and said, "Pavilion Master, I do have something to ask." Lu Zhao calmly replied, "Just speak, don't hesitate. I've been thinking about it these past few days, and I feel like I still can't ignore this matter." Hua Wudao continued, "This old bone wants to ask for something related to Ding Fan Qi." "Oh?" Hua Wudao said, "Ding Fan Qi came from Yun's sect, and to be honest, he only caused such trouble because he was instigated by me. In fact, this matter has nothing to do with him." Without waiting for Lu Zhao to answer, Duan Musheng's loud shout suddenly rang out from outside. "Elder Hua, forgive me for not being able to agree." Hua Wudao turned his head to look at Duan Musheng, whose righteous face was filled with anger, holding the Overlord's spear and entering the main hall with a majestic aura. Duan Musheng angrily said, "Ding Fan Qi impersonated the Evil Sky Pavilion, and according to our rules, he should be chopped into 8 pieces and fed to the dogs. You're a member of the Evil Sky Pavilion, yet you only think of outsiders." Hua Wudao's face turned red. Duan Musheng continued, "I don't care who won or lost in your fight with Luo Shisan, but Ding Fan Qi absolutely cannot leave." Duan Musheng slammed the Overlord spear into the ground. Hua Wudao said with shame, "I have already left Yun's sect, and I want to sever all ties with that place, and Ding Fan Qi is the last tie." Duan Musheng said, "Good, Elder Hua. Then kill him to show your attitude." Hua Wudao felt extremely suffocated in his heart. Duan Musheng was his nemesis in life. Every time he saw Duan Musheng, Hua Wudao felt like he was suffocating. There was no need to talk about sparring, since he had been Duan Musheng's opponent in training. The frequency was high, and he won and lost. Sometimes Hua Wudao even thought, could it be that Duan Musheng lost too much so he didn't like him? Therefore, Hua Wudao stood to the side, clasped his hands, and said to Lu Juju, "I am willing to be punished." However, Lu Zhao slowly stood up, put his hands behind his back, and stepped down the steps. He looked directly at Hua Wudao and said slowly, "This seat can release Ding Fan Qi." As soon as these words were spoken, Duan Musheng's eyes widened, and Hua Wudao was startled. "Pavilion Master," Lu Zhao said, "but there is one condition." Hua Wudao immediately spoke up. "Please speak, Pavilion Master. Even though I have left Yun's sect, my words still carry some weight, and some elders in Yun's sect owe me some favors." Hua Wudao felt that Yun's sect would have to spend a lot this time. This old man only needs the Black Lotus wood. Hua Wudao was silent for a moment. He was stunned, and so was Duan Musheng. Hua Wudao widened his eyes and said, "Sect leader, the Black Lotus wood is such a precious item. How could Yun's sect agree to use it to exchange for Ding Fan Qi?" Lu Zhao waved his hand. "No need to rush to refuse. Go back and think carefully." Even Hua Wudao, with his thick skin, didn't dare say more. He cupped his hands respectfully and left the main hall. Duan Musheng cupped his hands and said, "Master, does this old man have ulterior motives? Or is he useless? Lu Zhao waved his hand. Give him a little more time. Duan Musheng didn't dare to object, and only asked, what does Master need the Black Lotus wood for? Your little junior sister hasn't opened her Qi-Si yet, and the Black Lotus wood is the most suitable heaven and earth treasure for opening her Qi-Si. Master's cultivation is so profound, why do you need to use the Black Lotus wood? Lu Zhao replied. Forcibly opening the Qi-Si won't be as effective as using the Black Lotus wood. Duan Musheng finally understood the problem and said, this disciple understands. At the same time, Xiao Yanhe ran into the main hall from outside. Master, fourth senior brother is back, Zhao Yanche reported with a giggling smile. Outside the main hall, Ming Xinyin and old eighth Zhu Honggong were slowly ascending the mountain. Zhu Honggong's steps were even smaller, and more hesitant than a new bride returning to her husband's home. Ming Xinyin glared at him. You've already arrived at the evil sky pavilion. What are you dawdling for? Do you believe I'll break your legs and carry you? Don't. I just need to pee. Zhu Honggong looked at the familiar scenery and architectural structures around him. This was the place he feared the most, the evil sky pavilion. Zhu Honggong swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked up at the three big characters hanging above the main hall's entrance. Evil sky pavilion. This was the evil sky pavilion that everyone dreaded, everyone feared, and everyone dreamed of. He couldn't remember how many times he had dreamt of this place, and now he was returning to the evil sky pavilion once again, his heart filled with all sorts of emotions. Upon entering the main hall, Zhu Honggong's speed immediately increased. He knew that his master hated dawdling the most. Ming Xiyin followed closely behind, stepping past two large pillars to the center of the main hall. He looked up at an old man who looked very energetic, without even a trace of the old age he remembered, sitting properly in the main hall, his eyes deep and full of spirit. Thump. Zhu Honggong was so frightened by this gaze that he knelt down on the spot, his hands raised, his forehead touching the ground, and he shouted loudly, This disciple greets Master. May Master live 10,000 years. For some reason, Ming Xinyin's eyelids twitched slightly. It seemed like he had met a worthy opponent. Lu Juju stroked his beard and said, You wicked disciple, Master. Please listen to my explanation. I didn't betray the sect. I left the evil sky pavilion only out of necessity. I beg Master to forgive me. Zhu Honggong didn't dare to even breathe loudly. Duan Musheng, Ming Xiyin, Xiao Yanke, and Zhao Yue, who had just arrived, all stared at him. Lu Zhao asked again with 3 words. Out of necessity? Zhu Honggong immediately said, This disciple was bewitched by 7th senior brother. Lu Zhao continued to press. Why were you the only one bewitched? These words were clearly also directed at the other disciples in the main hall. Since when he first transmigrated, it wasn't only Zhu Honggong who was a traitor. With the exception of Xiao Yanghe, all the other disciples had wavered. Hearing Master say this, the disciples, especially Ming Xiyin, all had sullen expressions on their faces, and they glared at Zhu Honggong. Zhu Honggong said loudly, This disciple's sincere heart can be witnessed by the sun and moon. I beg Master to see clearly. Lu Zhao put his hands behind his back, stood up, walked down the steps, and came in front of Zhu Honggong. Zhu Honggong's entire body trembled non-stop. He lowered his head, not daring to look at Lu Zhao's face. Old eighth, do you want this old man to die sooner? Hearing this, Zhu Honggong trembled even more, and hurriedly kowtowed, saying, This disciple wouldn't dare. Lu Zhao shook his head. I don't know what Ji Tiandao was thinking when he accepted so many disciples, but only this old eighth is as timid as a mouse, Lu Zhao said calmly. In recent years, you've gained some fame with the help of old 7th, and all the evil deeds you've committed, whether big or small, have all been blamed on the evil sky pavilion. The truth was indeed like this. The things the 9 disciples caused, the entire cultivation world, pointed their spears at the evil sky pavilion, and the evil sky pavilion's bad reputation was caused by this. Ji Tiandao's position as number 1 on the blacklist was also due to this. This disciple knows his mistakes. Zhu Honggong obediently admitted his guilt. Affectionate slap. Zhu Honggong gained 100 merit points. Lu Xiu asked, What has old 7th been plotting in recent years? What is Si Wuyai's goal in becoming the leader of the dark web and causing such chaos? Old 8th and Si Wuyai were so close. Perhaps he would know something? Zhu Honggong recounted, 7th senior brother has never told me about these things. I really don't know. He seems to be quite close to 1st senior brother and 2nd senior brother, and often discusses the situation of the world with them. I hear it and feel like I'm lost in the fog. Lu Zhao asked again. Why did you appear at Qingyu altar that day? 7th senior brother said that the Devil Slaughter sect wanted to unite with the Righteous Unity Dao, planning to take this opportunity to isolate the dark web and the underworld sect, and 7th senior brother couldn't let them succeed. Lu Zhao looked at old 8th without blinking. He understood each of his disciples very well. Zhu Honggong's cultivation also didn't escape his eyes. He was at the peak of the divine court realm. Of course, this was because his cultivation technique wasn't complete. What was different from the other disciples was that Lu Zhao remembered Zhu Honggong's cultivation technique was called the 9 Tribulation Thunder Body, but it was missing the last 2 tribulations, which were also the most important 2 tribulations. This meant that old 8th wouldn't be able to step into the nascent divinity realm. He thought old 8th's cultivation was low, but no one noticed that his cultivation technique was so severely deficient. From this, it could be seen that the talents of the Evil Sky Pavilion's 9 disciples were all 1 in 1,000. Moreover, what surprised him was that old 8th had 5% loyalty. This was completely different from Ye Tiangxin. Ye Tiangxin only developed hatred after betraying the sect. Although her hatred had dissipated, she still wasn't considered a disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion. However, Old 8th had always had 5% loyalty, which meant that Old 8th had always cared about the Evil Sky Pavilion from beginning to end. Lu Zhao waved his hand. Since you know your mistakes. First, you're sentenced to face the wall in the cave to repent. Zhu Honggong was startled, suddenly remembering the few moves that fourth senior brother had taught him on the way here. At this time, Ming Xiyin put his arm around Zhu Honggong's shoulder and said, "It's like this, just like this, understand?" Zhu Honggong didn't know if he understood anything, but he nodded. Yes, yes. Zhu Honggong didn't dare to be careless, and kowtowed again, saying, "Master, this disciple knows that he has committed a grave sin. I beg Master to punish me severely." Everyone who heard this was dumbfounded. Was there even someone who complained that the punishment was too light? Facing the wall to repent in the cave wasn't pleasant at all. The inside of the cave was extremely cold, so cold that it pierced the bones. Even if one had cultivation, one had to constantly circulate their primordial qi to resist the invasion of the cold. Continuously circulating one's primordial qi for a long period of time was a form of torture. Except for Ye Tiangxin, Lu Zhao had never severely punished his disciples. Unexpectedly, Ming Xinyin shouted loudly, "Master, old eighth has committed a great mistake. He should be severely punished." Zhu Honggong also immediately acted along with Ming Xiyin. "That's right, Master should punish me severely." Xiao Yaner grabbed her stick and glared, opening her mouth wide and shouting, "Eighth senior brother getting away with just a light slap on the wrist and facing the wall in the cave to repent is too advantageous for him already. Master, why don't you break his leg so he won't dare to run around anymore?" Xiao Yaner suggested. Zhu Honggong felt dizzy when he heard Xiao Yaner shout. Zhu Honggong was on the verge of tears and choked up. Everyone said that little junior sister was innocent and pure, but why did he feel that it wasn't like that at all? Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said, "Sentenced to 50 strikes, repair Golden Court Mountain, then seal his cultivation and face the wall in the cave to repent for 3 years. Zhu Honggong suddenly felt a little regretful. The first 2 tasks were a piece of cake for him, but sealing his cultivation and repenting in the cave for 3 years might freeze him into an ice sculpture. Lu Zhu asked suspiciously, "What's wrong? Are you not satisfied?" This disciple accepts the punishment. Zhu Honggong hurriedly bowed. "Take him down." This disciple obeys. Ming Xiyin came to Zhu Honggong's side, gently patted his shoulder, and said, "Let's go." Zhu Honggong couldn't move. Ming Xiyin grabbed his leg and dragged him away. "Idiot, you're so scared that you can't even walk." Ming Xiyin struck out a palm, and the pure energy enveloped Zhu Honggong, lifting him up and flying him out of the Evil Sky Pavilion's main hall, straight to the back mountain. Only then did Zhu Honggong breathe a sigh of relief. "Master didn't hit me. Master actually didn't hit me. Senior brother, am I dreaming? Pinch me." Ming Xiyin glared at him. "Are you that afraid of getting hit?" "Of course I'm afraid. Master's temper isn't right." "It seems like Master's temper is completely different from before. Consider yourself lucky. I told you to just follow the routine of begging for forgiveness that I taught you. Master won't punish you severely." Ming Xiyin felt a little sense of accomplishment. The mistakes you made shouldn't have just resulted in being sealed his cultivation and locked up to face the wall in the cave and repent. At the same time, Panzhong was straining himself in his cultivation. "Watch me resist this. Watch me penetrate this." Seeing the 2 people cultivating, a female cultivator then said, "Hey, can you guys cultivate somewhere else? I'm trying to sweep up here, Fourth senior brother is always right." "Thanks a bunch, fourth senior brother, for saving me from a heavy punishment. Your kindness is etched in my heart. Old eighth here won't forget it," Zhu Honggong blurted out. While those 2 were discussing the results of confessing, Panzhong, holding the 6 young art, slowly walked over. Seeing Zhu Honggong, he didn't show an ounce of friendliness and asked, "Fourth mister, got a new guy?" Ming Xiyin casually nodded. Maybe because it's too boring up on Golden Court Mountain, and they aren't allowed to go down the mountain casually. The moment he saw a newbie, Panzhong felt curious. Panzhong chuckled as he walked over to Zhu Honggong, sizing him up. This guy was a little chubby, not too tall, and looked kind of dim-witted. He must be the innocent, honest type, the kind of guy who's easy to bully. Panzhong introduced himself. "This humble one is Panzhong. What should I call you, brother?" Zhu Honggong glared at him, just about to blow up, but he suddenly heard Ming Xiyin cough, so he swallowed his anger. Panzhong wasn't dumb, he thought to himself. Fourth mister's cough made this newbie listen obediently. He poked Zhu Honggong with his elbow. "Hey, newbie. Actually, fourth mister is very gentle and easy to talk to, so don't worry. From now on, we're brothers." Zhu Honggong couldn't help but sneer. "Who wants to be brothers with you? Where did this weirdo crawl out from?" Panzhong replied, "You can't say that. It's lucky it's fourth mister. If it was third mister or ninth mister, you'd be getting beat for sure." Zhu Honggong was speechless. In Zhu Honggong's mind, he was thinking, acting like a big shot, lecturing his subordinates. Ming Xiyin raised his hand. "Get to work." Zhu Honggong obediently replied, "Yes." Seeing a female cultivator from Moon Reflection Palace nearby repairing the stairs, Zhu Honggong felt a little better and immediately ran over. Seeing this, Panzhong whispered, "Fourth mister, this newbie is really interesting. He even knows how to work. More than just working, from today onwards. Unless something else comes up." He's stuck in the facing the wall cave to repent. Zhu Honggong was enthusiastically helping the female cultivators. "Let me do it!" Hearing this, Panzhong's heart tightened. A facing the wall cave to repent. After finally seeing the Evil Sky Pavilion recruit a new person, isn't the pavilion master afraid of cooling his heart? Don't worry, he won't cool down. He'll even be very grateful. Ming Xiyin turned and left. Meanwhile, Zhu Honggong was diligently breaking rocks and transporting them. "Brother Pan, I'm gonna cultivate. Wanna come along? I'll wait a bit." Pan Zhong didn't understand what Ming Xinyin had said earlier. He wasn't in a hurry to cultivate the six-yang art, but seemed curious to stay and observe Zhu Honggong. Zhu Honggong was very diligent, doing whatever he was told, not afraid of hardship, resolving everything. After working for half a day, Zhu Honggong didn't utter a single complaint. When the sun began to set, Zhu Honggong finally sat down to rest. Pan Zhong walked over and gave him a thumbs up. "You did great, brother." "What's the meaning of this?" "A newbie has to know his place. I really admire you." Zhu Honggong was very pleased with himself. "It's nothing," Pan Zhong sighed. "Back when I first came up the mountain, I didn't know my place like you do, so I got beaten quite a few times." Zhu Honggong asked back. "Beaten? That's right." Pan Zhong looked around, then whispered, "Brother, the disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion are all very eccentric. If you're not careful, you'll invite trouble." Zhu Honggong raised an eyebrow. He looked closely at Pan Zhong. "Eccentric?" Zhu Honggong asked doubtfully. "The person you met earlier is the fourth disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion, named Ming Xinyin. He looks very gentle on the surface, but he's actually a very cold person. Mr. Duan Musheng is better. He's straightforward, consistent, but he doesn't tolerate even a speck of dust in his eyes. And then there's the youngest disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion, Zhao Yanter. You absolutely mustn't be fooled by her cute and beautiful appearance. This little girl's emotions are volatile. You have to stay away from this hothead," Pan Zhong earnestly advised. Speaking of Zhao Yanher, Zhu Honggong was slightly startled. He remembered that just now in the main hall of the Evil Sky Pavilion, Zhao Yanher was indeed extremely fierce. Zhu Honggong looked at Pan Zhong's gossipy expression and asked curiously, "Have you ever heard of the Evil King?" The Evil King, Pan Zhong, revealed a look of disdain. "The Evil Sky Pavilion doesn't take him seriously at all. The Evil King is just a title to scare people. His cultivation is only in the Divine Court realm. I'm not even sure I can beat him." "Hey, why do you look so uncomfortable?" Zhu Honggong was not just uncomfortable, even his eyes were spitting fire. Cough cough. Ming Xinyin had unknowingly been nearby for some time. His cough immediately extinguished the anger in Zhu Honggong's heart. Seeing this, Pan Zhong secretly nodded. "A newbie has to know his place," Ming Xinyin called out to Pan Zhong. "Fourth Mister has something to instruct." Ming Xinyin said, "Seal his cultivation. Lead him into the facing the wall cave to repent." Hearing this, Pan Zhong's heart trembled slightly. He asked back in disbelief, "Fourth Mister, he's just a newcomer. Isn't this too harsh?" Ming Xinyin growled, "Just do it. Yes." Immediately after, Pan Zhong dragged Zhu Honggong away. Pan Zhong had no choice but to go to Zhu Honggong's side and whisper, "Brother, I'm really sorry. Just bear with it for a while." Zhu Honggong remained calm. Without any objections, Pan Zhong secretly nodded. This newbie is really too sensible. Before long, Zhu Honggong's cultivation was completely sealed. Zhu Honggong turned around and patted Pan Zhong's shoulder. "When I get out, Zhu Honggong hadn't finished speaking when Pan Zhong interrupted. "Don't be polite, we're all family here." Just at this moment, a figure in green robes flew over, calling down from above, "Eighth senior brother. Eighth senior brother." Pan Zhong turned his head and saw that the person who spoke was the ninth disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion, Zhao Yanyer, with her hands on her hips, observing Zhu Honggong from the air. He stopped and turned to smile. "Little junior sister," Zhao Yanyer said. "Master has ordered me to supervise the spanking. Fourth senior brother, don't forget that." If he still didn't understand the relationship between them after hearing this, Pan Zhong would have lived his life in vain. Pan Zhong felt his throat was a little dry. It felt a little bitter. His eyelids twitched a few times. Ming Xinyin had no choice but to punch and kick, shaking his head as he said, "Old eighth, don't blame senior brother, but rest assured, I will be as gentle as possible." A miserable scream like a pig being slaughtered echoed throughout the Evil Sky Pavilion. After screaming from exhaustion, Zhu Honggong looked tearfully towards little junior sister. Pan Zhong trembled and almost fell, his heart trembling along. Is this what he calls as gentle as possible? He is hitting with all his power. The spanking ended. In the Evil Sky Pavilion's secret chamber, a system notification rang out. Spanked the eighth disciple Zhu Honggong with the disciplinary rod, gained 100 merit points. After giving Zhu Honggong a good beating, Ming Xinyin was very satisfied. He waved his hand, dragging old eighth towards the facing the wall cave to repent. Zhao Yan'er ordered, "Hurry and sweep up." Zhu Jifeng, sword strapped to his back, came rushing over from afar, calling out, Pan bro, what's wrong with you? You look like you're about to kick the bucket. Are you sick or something?" Zhu Jifeng arrived in front of Pan Zhong. Pan Zhong's eyes were wide as saucers as he muttered, I think I'm in deep doo-doo. Meanwhile, inside a secret chamber within the Fiend Zen Pavilion, Lu Zhao had been comprehending the Book of Heaven for a while. Feeling his spirit refreshed, he opened his eyes, just as a system notification chimed, informing him of merit points awarded for punishing Zhu Honggong. He opened the system interface, realizing he was only a little over 10,000 merit points short of buying a Dharma body. "Master, Hua Wu Dao is requesting an audience." Xiao Yanher's voice came from outside. "Understood." Lu Zhao slowly stood up, opened the secret chamber door, and entered the Fiend Zen Pavilion's main hall. Hua Wu Dao was respectfully waiting in the main hall. Seeing Lu Zhao slowly approach, Hua Wu Dao bowed deeply. "Hua Wu Dao greets Pavilion Master," Lu Zhao asked. "Have you made up your mind?" Hua Wu Dao nodded slightly. "I have." "Very good," Hua Wu Dao asked with some hesitation. "I'm just curious. With all the treasures the Fiend Zen Pavilion possesses, why do you need the black wooden lotus?" Lu Zhao replied frankly. "To open up the Qi Si." Hua Wu Dao was taken aback before sighing softly and shaking his head. To be honest, the Cloud Sect only has one piece of black wooden lotus. To open the Chi Sea, you need at least 2 pieces, and the black wooden lotus is extremely precious. There aren't more than 5 pieces in the entire Great Yan. Getting 1 piece might not be enough. Anyone wanting to open the Chi Sea needs at least 2 black wooden lotus pieces. Lu Zhao remained calm. That is why this seat needs 2 pieces. Straight to the point, no beating around the bush. This was super important. I've already sent a flying message to the Cloud Sect elders. They'll be discussing this matter quickly. Lu Zhao nodded. Inform the Cloud Sect that this seat's patience is limited. This seat must have the black wooden lotus. Hearing this, Hua Wudao bowed deeply. I will urge them with all my might. We will have a positive result within a month. A month was nothing to Lu Zhao, although his strength and cultivation were still lacking. If it weren't for wanting to farm those sweet merit points, he wouldn't have bothered stepping out of Golden Court Mountain. The most important thing was still recovering his own cultivation. If this were the original Jitian Dao, he wouldn't wait a day, let alone a month. But Lu Zhao was different. The one thing he didn't lack right now was time. Time flew by, and before he knew it, a month had passed. In this month, aside from teaching his disciples, Lu Zhao only comprehended the Book of Heaven. He had finally accumulated 15,000 merit points. In the main hall of the Fiend Zen Pavilion, Lu Zhao looked at the merit points on the interface with some hesitation. Buy a Dharma body or try the lottery? The lottery was a total crapshoot. Buying the Dharma body would wipe out all the merit points he had painstakingly accumulated, and without merit points to fall back on, he always felt insecure. Lu Zhao thought for a moment and then shook his head inwardly. I should wait until I have more merit points before deciding. I can buy a Dharma body anytime. He didn't have any cultivation bottlenecks like other people. Just then, Hua Wudao and Ming Shiyin entered the Fiend Zen Pavilion's main hall from outside. Greetings, Pavilion Master. Disciple greets Master. Lu Zhao's gaze fell on Ming Shiyin and Hua Wudao. Congratulations, Elder Hua, on sprouting a leaf. Hua Wudao's heart skipped a beat, and his eyes widened as he looked at Lu Zhao, sitting calmly on the throne in the main hall, with disbelief. For the past month, he had to heal every day after his battle with Shi Wu, then fought a match with the Sword Saint Luo Shisan. Under the auspicious aura of Bai Zi, the pressure on the mind knot weighed on him for 20 years finally vanished. The fact that he had sprouted a leaf was unknown to anyone. He was even concealing his cultivation at the 6-leaf stage. He never expected that Lu Zhao would see through everything with a single glance. How could he not be shocked? Ming Shiyin, Duan Musheng, and Zhao Yanhe were all surprised when they heard their master say that, "Congratulations, Elder Hua, congratulations, Elder Hua." Although Duan Musheng hadn't accepted Hua Wudao in his heart, he still respected strong people. "Congratulations, Elder Hua." Hua Wudao waved his hand and scratched his head, looking embarrassed. If it weren't for Bai Zi's appearance, I'm afraid the knot in my heart wouldn't have been completely untied. In the end, I still have to thank the Pavilion Master. Pavilion Master, please accept my bow. With that, Hua Wudao respectfully knelt on the ground. No one spoke to stop him. Within the Fiend Zen Pavilion, Lu Ju was fully entitled to receive this bow. Perhaps he had been transmigrated for quite a while, and Lu Ju now had the mindset of the Fiend Zen Pavilion's Pavilion Master. Therefore, he didn't feel any discomfort towards Hua Wudao's bow. Instead, he felt quite calm. "Rise," Lu Ju said casually, and Hua Wudao stood up. He knew, of course, that Hua Wudao truly had a 7-leaf Dharma body. He just wanted to see it with his own eyes. The Eye of Truth only displayed realm. As for how many leaves, one could only judge based on aura, Lu Zhao asked. 7 leaves, Hua Wudao nodded, his eyes shining, and then channeled his energy. 100 Tribulation Cave Illumination. A towering 7 zang tall 100 Tribulation Cave Illumination Dharma body appeared. The golden lotus beneath the Dharma body had bloomed 7 petals, constantly rotating. 6 harmonies Dao seal. Hua Wudao lifted his foot and took a step, and the yin-yang Taiji diagram appeared beneath his feet, 1 white and 1 black. The Taiji Bagua diagram shone brightly. Immediately afterward, the 9 characters, Qian, Kun, Sheng, Si, Shui, Huo, Yu Wu Li, written in seal script, slowly floated up and rotated around Hua Wudao. 9 characters, 6 harmonies Dao seal. Zhao Yantier giggled and teased. "Third senior brother, you've been left far behind." Ming Shiyin and Zhao Yanhe watched the scene with admiration. Duan Musheng's reaction was more intense. His eyes were filled with the desire to jump out and spar, and his hand gripping the Overlord's spear tightened. Duan Musheng reluctantly said, "Although Elder Hua has opened 7 leaves, there will be a day when I break this 6 harmonies Dao seal for you to see." Ming Shiyin spoke up. "Don't forget, you have the Overlord's spear now, while Elder Hua doesn't even have a decent weapon. You really can't win against him." Duan Musheng thought to himself. You just had to say it. Duan Musheng widened his eyes. If the gap between Elder Hua and me is so large, then in the next month, I'll trouble 4th junior brother to spar with me to practice spear techniques. Ugh. Originally just intending to tease a few words, he didn't expect trouble to come from his mouth. Ming Shiyin was completely speechless. Hua Wudao flew over and shook his head. "Duan Musheng, although he's only opened 2 leaves, he can fight against 4-leaf, even 5-leaf cultivators. His talent far surpasses this old man. Being young gives you capital. I was able to sprout leaves because of the pressure of 20 years of stagnant cultivation. I'm afraid that in a few years, Duan Musheng will far surpass me, that's for sure." Undoubtedly, this was a blatant attempt to butter him up, but it was delivered so smoothly and convincingly that Duan Musheng couldn't help but appear arrogant. Lu Zhao was indeed surprised. Did Elder Hua value Duan Musheng so much? From Lu Zhao's point of view, Among the disciples of the Fiend Zen Pavilion, Duanmu Sheng's talent was the lowest, and his comprehension was also worse than the others. The reason he progressed so much was because he joined the sect early, and his cultivation was suppressed for too long. Even Ming Shiyin entered the nascent soul realm earlier than him. Lu Zhao even suspected that this wicked disciple Ming Shiyin was deliberately hiding it. Maybe he had already opened 2 leaves. 3 leaves, Hua Wudao nodded. I often spar with Duanmu Sheng. His fighting style is tough and durable, his strength is fierce, and his attacks are resolute. I've never encountered such an opponent. Duanmu Sheng was so flattered that he felt embarrassed, and scratched his head. Elder Hua, you praise me too much. Seeing everyone's cultivation improving non-stop, Zhao Yanker pouted, unconvinced. Sadly, her Qi-Si hadn't been opened yet, so she couldn't enter the nascent soul realm. To a nascent soul realm powerhouse, anyone below the divine court realm was just an ant. No matter how perfect the divine court realm was, it couldn't defeat the nascent soul realm. In other words, only reaching the nascent soul realm was considered stepping onto the path of a true expert. Lu Gaizhao stroked his beard and said, back to the main topic. Hua Wudao waved his hand slightly, and the 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma Body and the 6 Harmonies Dao Seal disappeared simultaneously. Luckily, Hua Wudao didn't demand a sparring match right then and there. Otherwise, Lun Zhao would have had a hard time using the Thunderous Rage card against him. If he accidentally killed such a capable right-hand man, who would Lun Zhao ask for compensation? Hua Wudao said. Yesterday, Yun Sect sent a flying letter reporting that Yun Sect could use the Black Lotus to redeem Ding Fenqi. Lu Zhao nodded in satisfaction, considering Yun Sect to be sensible. But Hua Wudao continued. However, they have an additional condition, saying that Ding Fenqi alone isn't enough. They need to add a heaven-grade weapon. When he said this, Hua Wudao almost mumbled. He also felt like he was speaking on behalf of Yun Sect. After all, this was the Evil Sky Pavilion. Who knew if the Pavilion Master would be angry upon hearing this? But the expression on Lu Zhao's face remained calm. Ming Shiyin suddenly spoke up. That's just bottomless greed. The Evil Sky Pavilion is already giving them a chance by agreeing to a trade, and they still want a heaven-grade weapon. Do they even know how precious a heaven-grade weapon is? Yun Sect's demand clearly showed that they thought Ding Fenqi's value was too low. Although Ding Fenqi was a 5 leaves expert, Yun Sect thought that 1 Ding Fenqi wasn't enough to exchange for a piece of the Black Lotus. Of course, I know how precious a heaven-grade weapon is, and I also think that the Pavilion Master shouldn't agree to their request. Hua Wudao's attitude was very resolute. Ming Xinyin asked in surprise. Are you not worried about Ding Fenqi? Hua Wudao's face flushed red. Although I feel guilty towards him, I still have my own principles. Ming Xinyin bowed and said to Lu Zhao, Master, this matter concerns little sister's future. Please decide for yourself. Zhao Yancher didn't say anything, but her eyes were full of anticipation. As disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion, everyone knew that Master had many weapons in his possession. It was also rumored in the cultivation world that Ji Tiandao was the darling of the heavens. He had obtained many treasures and weapons in the world, which was why he was able to nurture such rebellious disciples. That's why Yun Sect wanted to take this opportunity to exchange for a good weapon, and also ease their relationship with the Evil Sky Pavilion. Even if the Evil Sky Pavilion didn't agree, the relationship between the two sides would remain as it is, without much impact on Yun Sect. It had to be said, Yun Sect's calculations were really good. Lu Zhao slowly said, I have quite a few weapons, but that doesn't mean I can just give them away. Hua Wudao wasn't surprised, and replied with clasped hands, I will inform Yun Sect as soon as possible. Lu Zhao said indifferently, since Yun Sect is unwilling to hand over the Black Lotus, then one day when I'm free, I'll just have to go and snatch it. As soon as he heard the word snatch, Hua Wudao was immediately embarrassed by the situation. If the Evil Sky Pavilion really went to Yun Sect to snatch the Black Lotus, then the leader would naturally have to be Hua Wudao. His face was so thin, what was he gonna do? You may leave. Lu Zhao's tone was firm, showing that there was no room for negotiation. Hua Wudao clasped his hands and retreated, saying nothing more. Ming Xinyin then said, Master, that's a great idea. It's been a long time since I've robbed other people's things. If this continues, my ranking on the black roll will definitely drop. Preposterous, Lu Zhao scolded loudly. Ming Xinyin was startled and quickly knelt down. Disciple knows his mistake. I misspoke again and caused trouble. Xiao Yanher suddenly said, Master, I don't need the Black Lotus anymore. I don't believe I can't open my Qi-Si. Lu Zhao turned to look at Xiao Yanher. Really? Of course it's true, Xiao Yanher said with a smile. After all, I still have Master protecting me, you little rascal. Lu Zhao tapped Zhao Yanher's head. Your talent isn't ordinary. It would be a pity if you couldn't enter the nascent soul realm. The Black Lotus is a treasure that can help you unlock your Qi-Si. You have to grow up eventually. I can't protect you forever. He couldn't directly say that it was because his strength was too weak and needed her to protect him. Zhao Yanher was deeply moved upon hearing this. She choked with emotion. Master won't die. Although he knew she meant well, it just sounded weird. At the same time, at Yun Sect's sword platform, Yun Sect had the 8 great holy platforms, which were holy cultivation grounds. But the sword platform was the least frequented place, because the sword platform belonged to only one person, the Sword Saint Luo Shisan. The remaining 7 great holy platforms were clearly ranked, from handyman disciples to outer disciples to inner disciples, and then to the elite class. Only the sword platform was established specifically for Luo Shisan. Luo Shisan wholeheartedly pursued the Supreme Sword Dao, and only accepted a few disciples to manage the sword platform. Apart from a few disciples from other branch halls who came to ask for guidance, there was almost no one else. In the middle of the sword platform, a large incense burner emitted light blue smoke. Master has been in closed-door cultivation for almost a month. His injuries must have healed completely. Hua Wudao didn't injure Master. Master was mainly just recovering his cultivation. Recovering his cultivation only takes 8 days. Why would he be in closed-door cultivation for so long? I still have many questions about swordsmanship that I want to ask Master. Before that, Master had told me that someone would come to spar with him, so Master must always maintain his peak condition. Who is coming that makes Master so cautious? If the opponent is so powerful, we can just escape to the main hall, right? The disciples discussed enthusiastically, not noticing that outside the sword platform, a green-robed swordsman was walking in the air. In just a moment, the green-robed swordsman had passed through layers of checkpoints and appeared on the sword platform. Who's there? A disciple who saw the green-robed swordsman floating in the sky in the middle of the platform shouted in fear. The other disciples all drew their swords and pointed them at the green-robed swordsman as if facing a great enemy. An opponent powerful enough to appear eerily in the sky above the sword platform was beyond their imagination. The green-robed swordsman said gently, "Everyone, don't panic. I have an appointment with the sword saint. Please inform him for me." The disciples breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily it wasn't an enemy. The sword saint Luo Shisan had been famous for a long time. It was not surprising that he had such a powerful friend. "So, it's the Master's friend. This junior will inform you right away. Please wait a moment." Master, your friend is here." As the disciple ran to the outside of the closed-door room, a powerful primordial chi suddenly appeared. The door of the room burst open, and several strands of sword energy shot out from the room. Whooshing! The sword energy rushed out, and the sword platform flew straight towards the green-robed swordsman. The disciples were extremely frightened. Boom, boom, boom. The green-robed swordsman gently condensed wind energy into a shield, blocking all the incoming sword energy. The sword energy slowly dissipated. The sword saint Luo Shisan clasped his hands behind his back and flew into the air. "Master! Master!" The disciples greeted in unison. Luo Shisan ignored the disciples and flew to the front of the green-robed swordsman, stopping at a distance of tens of meters. "You've come?" Seeing Luo Shisan showing the demeanor of an expert, the green-robed swordsman smiled with satisfaction. "You're not bad now. Interesting." Luo Shisan then asked, "Niu Shangrong? I thought you wouldn't dare to come. Although there aren't many cultivators on the sword platform in Yun sect, it's not a place for rats to cause trouble. Aren't you afraid that I've set a trap waiting for you to come? Then I'll come back another time to kill." Luo Shisan nodded slightly. "I have roamed the cultivation world for many years, and I also despise using such despicable methods. I'm not like you demonic cultivators. If you want to fight, then fight a fair battle." "Yu Shangrong, it'd be best if you kept your eyes closed and thought that way." Facing the seemingly calm and collected Qingpao sword guest, Luo Shisan didn't dare to underestimate him. He respectfully cupped his fist and said loudly, "Luo Shisan, chief seat of the sword platform of Yun sect, requests your guidance." Yu Shangrong, the Qingpao sword guest, also cupped his fist, a relaxed smile still on his face. When he spoke his name, his voice was very soft, very faint, but enough to reach the top of the sword platform. The sword platform disciples who were looking up initially thought he was an old friend of their master, but when they heard the name, they were all thunderstruck, standing as stiff as boards. Yu Shangrong? A name that makes people tremble in fear. The second disciple of the Demon Heaven Pavilion, known for challenging swordmasters all over the world, acknowledged by the entire Great Yan cultivation world as a devil who massacres at the slightest disagreement, earning him the nickname Sword Devil. They never expected that. The humble and courteous Qingpao sword guest was the infamous second disciple, Yu Shangrong of the Demon Heaven Pavilion. The younger generation always imagined the sword devil to have a face that screamed evil villain, someone you could spot as a baddie right away. But how could this Qingpao sword guest be the sword devil? One of the more level-headed disciples regained his senses and whispered, "Notify the main sect. Tell the elders. Hurry and come capture the sword devil." But as soon as he finished speaking, Luo Shisan waved his sleeve, sending a palm-shaped hand seal flying, smack, powerfully hitting the disciple's face, sending him spinning and landing on his butt, one cheek already swollen. The whole place went dead silent. Luo Shisan said calmly, "I said I wanted a fair fight." Yu Shangrong still smiled, his eyes filled with calmness. He didn't even register those little shrimps. "Please, Luo Shisan." He raised his right hand, palmed up, and from the cauldron in the middle of the sword platform, a flying sword gleaming with light shot out and landed in his palm. A top-tier Earth-grade weapon, its aura overwhelming. Yu Shangrong's eyes never left Luo Shisan from beginning to end. That sword wasn't enough to attract his attention. Luo Shisan sensed Yu Shangrong's contempt and raged in his heart. He waved his hand, and the sword suddenly multiplied from 1 into 10. The 10 swords were enveloped in powerful gang chi, creating a resonant sound of primal energy. The disciples on the sword platform were all excited. Being fortunate enough to witness the battle between their master and the sword devil was a great opportunity for them. The 10 swords were completely different from the 13 sword gangs. Sword gangs are formed by condensing primal energy, while these 10 swords had weapons to guide them, making them much more powerful than the 13 sword gangs. The importance of weapons goes without saying, and everyone stared wide-eyed at the 10 swords. Sword Saint Luo Shisan snorted lightly, and the 10 swords obeyed his command, flying straight towards Yu Shangrong in an irregular formation. The surging gang chi created a whirlwind, blowing Yu Shangrong's long hair. From beginning to end he smiled, calmly watching Luo Shisan with his arms crossed. The 10 swords resonated with a buzzing sound, and in an instant, they were right in front of him. Boom! The powerful force of primal energy formed an impregnable wall, blocking the 10 swords. Yu Shangrong still floated in place with his arms crossed, the red longsword at his back still quietly resting. He didn't make a move, Luo Shisan said in a deep voice. You're too careless. The 10 swords launched again, turning from 10 into 20. Luo Shisan could control a maximum of 13 sword gangs, but there was no limit to the number of weapons he could control. 20 swords slammed into the gang chi wall, with the force of mountains collapsing and seas overturning. Boom boom boom, Yu Shangrong still stood still, calm and collected, as immovable as a mountain. The 20 swords crashing into the gang chi wall sent shockwaves through the entire sword platform. But alas, no matter how Luo Shisan attacked, Yu Shangrong only faced the sword gangs with indifference. The sword gangs surrounding Luo Shisan grew more and more numerous, swarming like a tide. Sword Dao, in the end, is the ability to control sword gangs, which is the ability to condense chi into gang. When opponents are evenly matched, they often fight to exhaust each other's energy. Whoever has more primal energy demonstrates that they have a higher level of cultivation. Of course, no matter how flashy the attack method, the simplest principle of the Great Dao is to defeat, or even kill, the opponent. Finally, the wall of gang chi in front of Yu Shangrong was forced back several steps by Luo Shisan's fierce attacks. Even so, Yu Shangrong still stood with his arms crossed as before, without moving a muscle. One disciple stared with wide eyes, unable to contain his emotion. Is he faking it this time? For a powerhouse known as the Sword Saint, this was clearly a great insult. Luo Shisan stepped into the air, his hands clasped together, and the 20 swords were summoned and merged into one. Luo Shisan placed his hands in front of his chest. The sword floated above his head, and the surrounding primal energy quickly gathered, enveloping the sword. The combined power formed the tip of the sword, preparing to plunge down on Yu Shangrong below. 100 Tribulations' insightful Dharma body. The sound of resonant primal energy echoed above the sword platform. The disciples looked at the expanding space, and were excited beyond belief. It's Master's ultimate move. The disciples on the sword platform stared wide-eyed. This was the Sword Saint's famous sword technique, the Sword Heart Hell. Just like the name suggests, it uses the weapon as its center to create a space where gang chi converges. The gang chi in that area is sharp and chaotic, and any enemy that appears within the space will be attacked by the sword gangs. But these were just the opening moves. The most powerful technique was the explosion of sword gangs, forming sharp thorns that converge in one place, turning into a giant sword gang thorn. This move has the power to destroy the heavens and the earth. The golden lotus of all evils rapidly rotated under the blessing of the Dharma body. How would Yu Shangrong respond? Everyone's eyes turned back to Yu Shangrong. Yu Shangrong slightly raised his head, looking at the sword heart hell that was forming a giant sword gang thorn. Luo Shisan said in a deep voice, I hope you can satisfy me. His hands waved powerfully in a downward motion, and at the same time the sword heart hell shot down, attacking Yu Shangrong. Yu Shangrong subtly shifted his body, his whole being turning into an illusory shadow, causing the ultra-powerful sword heart hell to completely miss. Luo Shisan frowned. A trick of the eye. He didn't expect Yu Shangrong to be able to cultivate both swordplay and illusion techniques to this extent. After the sword heart hell wreaked havoc everywhere with a whirlwind, everyone's vision gradually recovered. Yu Shangrong still floated in place, his arms crossed, a smile on his face, his eyes unblinking as he looked at Luo Shisan. What had happened? The disciples were terrified. Impossible, how could he do that? Luo Shisan was also very curious, but he was calmer than his disciples. He asked Yu Shangrong, Are you planning to never make a move? Yu Shangrong smiled gently. If I make a move, you won't have a chance anymore. How arrogant. You misunderstand me? If you truly understood me, you'd know that I was just being very humble. Hearing this, Luo Shisan was speechless. A scholar can endure anything but humiliation. Luo Shisan's figure flashed, and after images appeared everywhere. Under the blessing of the 100 Tribulation insightful Dharma body, his speed was as fast as lightning. This move was very similar to the Dao concealment technique. Appearing together with the after images were countless sword gangs, attacking Yu Shangrong with all their might. Yu Shangrong smiled, nodded slightly, seeming very pleased with his opponent's move. In the instant before the wall of gang chi in front of him shattered, Yu Shangrong raised his right hand and quickly called out, Sword, left, center, right. 3 figures flickered, like layered after images. Return whence you came, enter the 3 souls. The crimson Changsheng sword suddenly emitted a dazzling light, enveloping the earth, the space rippling as if underwater. Luo Shisan only felt his head buzzing, his eyes unable to clearly see Yu Shangrong's figure. Since Yu Shangrong left the Evil Sky Pavilion, he had used his sword to defeat all kinds of experts in the world without a single loss. Even one of the 3 great sword maniacs, Chen Wenji, or the 6-leaf experts of the righteous sects. Even 7-leaf experts had to die under his sword. Therefore, he smoothly climbed to 5th place on the Black Roll. If it weren't for his liking for going solo, free, and unfettered, his position on the Black Roll would have been higher. No one knows how deep Yu Shangrong's cultivation is now. Some say his cultivation is on par with the Evil Sky Pavilion's eldest disciple, Yu Zhanghai. In the past, the 2 of them were disciples favored by Ji Tiandao, who passed on all his skills and teachings. Rumor has it, the students surpassed the master, and a battle in the second capital of Great Yan, Shangyuan City, made Yu Shangrong famous throughout the world. This move, Return, O Return, enter the 3 souls, symbols, is his signature technique, both real and illusory, his figure flickering, his mind's eye hazy and unclear, feeling like falling into a dream. Luo Shisan, as Yu Shangrong's opponent, unleashed a sword heart hell move, creating an independent space, which turned out to help the opponent display his sword technique in the best way. A master doesn't strike unless they have to, and once they do, the outcome is already known. Luo Shisan's pupils contracted, instinctively withdrawing the 100 Tribulations Cave Illumination avatar, then retreating, and retreating again. 3 figures, left, right, and center, flew over gracefully. The red sword light slashed straight at the thorn sword essence, and, at the same time, rushed forward with the momentum. The 3 figures merged into one, and the thorn sword essence was slashed by the crimson sword. Clang, the peak earthgrade weapon, was cut in half by the Chengsheng sword. Yu Shangrong's right hand held the sword and stabbed forward, and at the same time, the sword essence shattered, scattered all over the sky like transparent crystal fragments, then vanished into the void. The sound of the battle suddenly stopped. The total time the two fought hadn't been enough to drink a cup of tea, yet victory and defeat had already been decided. A disciple standing on the sword platform held their breath, the entire scene frozen before their eyes. They couldn't keep up with the rhythm of the battle, so they looked at their master, Sword Saint Luo Shisan. Luo Shisan stared wide-eyed at the crimson Chengsheng sword in front of him, the sharp tip pointed straight at his brow. But it didn't stab. Yu Shangrong's control of the sword was superb. In fact, if the sword tip had deviated even slightly, Sword Saint Luo Shisan would have died on the spot. But he didn't. No one knew why. Luo Shisan's expression was extremely shocked as he looked at the smiling Yu Shangrong. The gap was too big. He didn't understand, and couldn't comprehend it even more. It wasn't an even battle at all. Sword Saint Luo Shisan couldn't withstand a single move from the Sword Devil. What kind of supreme level was this? What does it mean to be a saint? Of course, one must be extraordinary to be called a saint. In Great Yan, those who are called saints must be masters of their domain. Sword Saint is the best praise for his sword Dao attainment. Even his senior brother, one of the 3 great sword maniacs, Luo Changqing, hadn't been praised like that. Yet a disciple, Luo Shisan, who was hailed as Sword Saint, was defeated by the Sword Devil with just one move. How could his mind bear such a huge gap? At this moment, a disciple was pinned in the back of the neck by a broken blade. Luo Shisan was silent for a long time before opening his mouth. Why didn't you kill me? The world knows the Sword Devil's principle. As long as he says he wants to kill someone, that person will definitely die even if they run to the ends of the earth. But this time, Yu Shangrong didn't kill him. Yu Shangrong's hand slightly loosened the Chengsheng sword, slowly floating in the air, and then actively flew into the scabbard on his back. This sword would have turned you into a soul under the sword, but, Yu Shangrong said in a soft voice, with a gentle tone, I can make an exception once, and spare your life. Make an exception? Luo Shisan didn't understand what he meant. The disciples on the sword platform were completely stunned. They respected their master so much, but he was defeated by his opponent with one move. How could they not be horrified? Everyone slumped to the ground, their legs trembling non-stop. Because of the distance, they could only see Yu Shangrong standing in front of their master, with his arms crossed, the two chatting like old friends. They couldn't hear what they were saying. Luo Shisan asked again with suspicion. Then what? Yu Shangrong said. You have 2 choices. 1, use your life to exchange for the Blackwood Lotus. 2, you have the right to refuse the first condition, and I will come to kill you again in 3 days. I always respect my opponent's choice. These words sounded very reasonable, but there was something wrong somewhere. Luo Shisan frowned. The Blackwood Lotus is very precious. Even someone whose Dantian and Kyosi are destroyed can use this to recover. You are the Sword Devil. Why do you need this? Yu Shangrong's cultivation had been proven very clearly. Luo Shangsan thought that Yu Shangrong wanted the Blackwood Lotus to accumulate some capital in case he encountered a powerful opponent in the future and was seriously injured. He could use the Blackwood Lotus to save his life. Yu Shangrong smiled and replied, You misunderstood. Oh, I have a little junior sister. Her name is Zhao Yanaher. She is innocent and treats everyone with humility and courtesy. I need the Blackwood Lotus for her to use. Yu Shangrong turned his head to look at the evil sky pavilion. Rays of brilliant sunlight penetrated the endless blue clouds in the sky, refracting into rainbow light, shining on Yu Shangrong's slender and straight back. Little junior sister, Xiao Yanher, treats everyone with humility and courtesy. Lu Ko Shisan said, I have something I don't understand. Just said. Yu Shangrong's tone was still very gentle. You have left the evil sky pavilion, no longer a disciple there. Why do you have to help her? I help. Yu Shangrong shook his head slightly, smiled lightly and said, Luo Shisan, does helping or not helping have anything to do with you? Luo Shisan was shocked. He was speechless by Yu Shangrong's words. That's right, people can do whatever they want. What can you do about it? Especially since you are still a defeated opponent. Although I don't know you, after this battle, I see that you are not the heinous devil that everyone says. Why do you want to bear the name of a devil and be criticized by everyone? Luo Shisan couldn't understand at all. Hearing these words, Yu Shangrong's attitude was still very calm, and asked, You want to enlighten me? Luo Shisan felt quite embarrassed. I remember clearly, someone once said these words to me. His name was Kong Ming. Yu Shangrong said calmly, Kong Ming? Kong Ming of the Great Emptiness Temple? Luo Shisan thought in surprise. There was a rumor that Kong Ming of the Great Emptiness Temple died in the hands of the Evil Sky Pavilion's 5th disciple, Zhao Yu. Unexpectedly, the real person who took action was the Sword Devil Yu Shangrong. Thinking about it, it made sense. Kong Ming was an expert of the Great Emptiness Temple. With Zhao Yue's cultivation, how could she kill Kong Ming? But these things were no longer important. No matter who killed him, this debt was recorded by the world on the head of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Yu Shangchuang continued. Don't follow in Kong Ming's footsteps. Luo Shisan originally wanted to say a few more words but was choked up, so he swallowed them all. Could he be enlightened? Even Kong Ming of the Great Emptiness Temple couldn't enlighten him. What was the point of himself continuing to talk? Luo Shisan looked at the man in front of him. It was hard to believe that this was the sword devil Yu Shangrong. With his arms crossed and his feet stepping on the void, he flew out of the sword area at a speed that was neither fast nor slow. I always adhere to my principles and have never made an exception. Once I have made an exception, please cherish this opportunity. Farewell. Yu Shangrong turned to look at the disciples on the sword platform. He nodded slightly to them, the corners of his mouth still showing a faint smile. His figure flashed, and in a blink of an eye he appeared in the air, more than 10 feet away from the sword platform, and then left the barrier, and disappeared without a trace. The pressure on Luo Shisan suddenly weakened, and he quickly descended. When he landed on the sword platform, he staggered back a step. Master. 2 disciples quickly carried another disciple away for treatment. Luo Shisan calmed his emotions and said, Inform the elders, I have changed my mind. Ding Fanchu is a core disciple of our cloud sect. The Blackwood Lotus is just an external object. A human life is more important. I agree to the exchange. Yes. In a pavilion on the mountainside, a few miles away from the sword platform, Si Wu Yai looked at the sword platform and said with a smile, Second senior brother made an exception for little junior sister and didn't kill him. It really surprises me. Yu Shangrong leaned against the pavilion and said calmly, Little junior sister has great talent. It would be a pity if her QLC couldn't be opened. Rules can all be changed. Human determination will overcome heaven. So I got intel that Yun's sect refused to trade Black Lotus with the Devil Sky Pavilion, right, junior bro? Number 2's move here just adds fuel to the fire, leading to 2 scenarios. Si Wu Yai continued slowly. 1. Yun's sect gets pushed to the brink, and the conflict with the Devil Sky Pavilion intensifies, becoming irreconcilable. 2. Yun's sect behaves, obediently bringing out the Black Lotus for trade. Second senior brother, aren't you afraid Yun's sect will choose the first path? Yin Shangrong smiled and replied, Our 7th junior brother is so smart, he should understand the most basic principle of this world. Lay it on me. If they don't submit, beat them until they do. Then, Yu Shangrong shook his head slightly. It's just that I'm not really one for violence. Si Wu Yai clasped his hands upon hearing this. 1 word from second senior brother is worth more than 10 years of reading, Yu Shangrong continued. Keep an eye on Yun's sect for me. Rest assured, second senior brother. Sorry for the trouble, senior brother. Si Wu Yai bowed. When he stood up straight, Yu Shangrong was gone, but he could still faintly hear the 3 words. Sorry for the trouble. Si Wu Yai smiled and muttered, I just hope little junior sister is as innocent as the 2 senior brothers say, otherwise you 2 will be worried sick. The next day, in the main hall of the Devil Sky Pavilion, the disciples stood on either side, while Lu Zhu wondered how to negotiate with Yun's sect to get the Black Lotus. Yun's sect has 7 altars, and experts like clouds, and the Devil Sky Pavilion is no longer what it used to be. If his eldest and second disciples were here, he could swagger through Great Yan, and no one would dare stop him. But now, the Devil Sky Pavilion only has Hua Wudao with the strongest strength, Fan Xuan is recovering from his injuries, Ye Tiangxin is still in the process of rebuilding her Dantian and Shi, and she is no longer a disciple of the Devil Sky Pavilion, and Zhao Yue has only recovered half of her cultivation, not to mention that she herself has not yet broken through to the nascent soul realm, so she cannot use violent methods to go to Yun's sect. Or should I just steal it? Just as Lu Zhao thought of this unrealistic idea, Hua Elder's voice suddenly came from outside the main hall. Hua Wudao, looking full of energy and spirit, strode into the main hall, his every step more spirited than before. Entering the main hall, Hua Wudao clasped his hands and said to Lu Zhao, Pavilion Master, Yun's sect sent a flying letter, agreeing to exchange the Black Lotus for Ding Fan Qi, and they have now sent a special envoy to the Devil Sky Pavilion. Lu Zhao's heart fluttered, but his face remained calm as usual. They changed their minds? Hua Wudao didn't know why Yun's sect had suddenly changed their minds. He originally came from Yun's sect and understood the 7 altars very well. Yun's sect always had a hard time reaching a consensus on anything. A matter like the Devil Sky Pavilion demanding the Black Lotus would naturally be rejected by Yun's sect, but now they suddenly agreed to the exchange, which surprised him as well. But these things are not important. Since they agreed to the exchange, it must be a good thing. Pavilion Master, since Yun's sect is willing to exchange, why not take this opportunity to ease the relationship between the 2 sides? The Devil Sky Pavilion is strong, but it has too many enemies. Later, when Pavilion Master Hua Wudao stopped, he originally wanted to mention the Emir calamity, but suddenly felt it was inappropriate, so he changed the topic. After all, it's better to have 1 more friend than 1 more enemy. Lu Zhao glanced at Hua Wudao and said indifferently, Elder Hua, I understand your intentions, but the Devil Sky Pavilion doesn't need such friends. As for later, let's talk about it later. Lu Zhao emphasized, I have plenty of time. Hua Wudao didn't dare to say more. He also felt that he had joined the Devil Sky Pavilion not long ago, so his style of work was not fully compatible. But this can't be rushed. It will be fine gradually. At least until now, Hua Wudao can accept everything the Devil Sky Pavilion does. Pavilion Master, even if Yun's sect agrees to exchange the Black Lotus, we only have 1 piece, which is not enough to open up the Qi Si. Hua Wudao said. Lu Zhao nodded. Do you know how many pieces of Black Lotus there are in total? Hua Wudao replied. As far as I know, there are 5 pieces. Apart from 1 piece from Yun sect, the second piece is in the hands of the Duanlin school in the southwest of Great Yan. The third piece is in Rongbei. The 4th piece belongs to the Heaven Selection Temple, and the 5th piece is whereabouts unknown. What Hua Wudao just said was similar to the knowledge in Lu Zhao's head. Lu Zhao stroked his beard slightly. According to you, who should I take the second piece from? The Duanlin school is in the southwest. Rongbei is outside of Great Yan, so only the Heaven Selection Temple is left. Hua Wudao said. The Heaven Selection Temple has a good relationship with the Great Void Temple, both belonging to the Buddhist sect. The Buddhist sect has never distinguished between righteous and demonic, so if we negotiate properly, we can obtain it. His words made sense. At this moment, Ming Xiyin, who had been standing beside him for a long time, suddenly opened his mouth and said, "Master, this disciple has a plan." "Speak," Lu Zhao said. 8th Junior has always had a good relationship with the Heaven Selection Temple. We can let him go there to negotiate. The relationship 8th Junior has cultivated with the Heaven Selection Temple over the years since he left the Devil Sky Pavilion was in pursuit of methods to preserve his life, and has spared no effort in cultivating friendships with the Heaven Selection Temple. The Bodhi vest on him was also obtained from the Heaven Selection Temple. Ming Xiyin explained the situation. "Summon him," Lu Zhao said. This disciple obeys. Ming Xiyin quickly ran out. Not long after, Zhu Honggong, looking dazed, was dragged into the main hall by Ming Xiyin. More than a month had passed, and Zhu Honggong had lost a lot of weight. When he stepped into the main hall of the Devil Sky Pavilion again, Zhu Honggong still felt nervous. He was even more nervous than a newcomer, looking east and then looking west. This disciple pays respects to Master. May Master live 10,000 years. May Master live forever. Zhu Honggong knelt down as soon as he reached the middle of the main hall, shouting with utmost respect. Ming Xiyin raised his eyebrows. The existence of this pig really overshadows my brilliance. At this time, Zhu Honggong was very hungry, so he started fighting with Xiao Yanhe for food. 8th Senior Brother, we're out of food, don't fight with little sister, Lu Zhu said. 8th, because you were bewitched, I will give you a chance to redeem yourself. Zhu Honggong was overjoyed upon hearing this. This disciple is willing to redeem himself, even if it means climbing mountains of knives or diving into seas of fire. This disciple will not hesitate to sacrifice his life, and will not even frown. Very good, Lu Zhu said. Then you go to the Heaven Selection Temple, and bring back the Black Lotus. Upon hearing this, Zhu Honggong's expression changed, and several question marks appeared in his head. Heaven Selection Temple. He was immediately stunned, and Zhu Honggong's face was full of pain, but he didn't dare to voice any objections. Seeing that he seemed unwilling, Lu Zhu asked, "You don't agree?" Zhu Honggong thought one thing and said another. No. This disciple is willing. This disciple will definitely bring back the Black Lotus for you." Ming Xiyin smiled lightly. "Then hurry on your way. With your friendship with them, it shouldn't be difficult. Believe that your senior brother wouldn't harm you. Hurry and go. Remember that you are only going to negotiate, and you must send flying letters back frequently." I'll set off immediately." Zhu Honggong bowed, and left the main hall of the Devil Sky Pavilion. Lu Zhao watched him leave until he disappeared from sight before asking, "When will the Yin sect's special envoy arrive?" In about 3 hours, Zhu Honggong received his orders and went down the mountain. Although he didn't want to go to the Heaven Selection Temple at all, he couldn't violate his master's orders. He couldn't refuse, and this was also an excellent opportunity to redeem himself. He walked and thought about how to negotiate with the Heaven Selection Temple. Just as he was racking his brains, Pan Zhang suddenly approached, his face full of flattery. "8th, Mr. 8th, it's me, Pan Zhang." Pan Zhang appeared in front of Zhu Honggong. As soon as Zhu Honggong saw Pan Zhang, he felt a little uncomfortable. "Don't bother me. I haven't settled accounts with you for what happened last time," Pan Zhang said. Don't. Mr. 8th is a magnanimous person who doesn't hold grudges against small people. I don't think Mr. 8th is like other people. How could you be bothered by a few silly words?" Zhu Honggong snorted. "Stop sucking up. I'm not that easily fooled," Pan Zhang immediately replied. 8th Senior is so wronged. If speaking the truth is considered flattery, does that mean I have to lie to you from now on? That's more like it. Speak, what do you want? Pan Zhang smiled and replied. 4th Senior said, "He will put in a good word for you in front of the sect leader, so you can rest assured. About the Heavenly Selection Temple, and the matters at the Evil Sky Pavilion, 4th Senior will take care of it for you." Zhu Honggong sighed softly. 4th Senior is still the best to me. Of course, don't block my path. Don't think a few nice words will make me forgive you. Yes. Zhu Honggong stepped up the hill, glanced down at Pan Zhang, and said arrogantly, "Back in the day when I was cultivating in the Evil Sky Pavilion, there was no place for you guys here." He lightly tapped his toes. Whoosh! Zhu Honggong leaped into the air. Originally, everyone thought he was going to use some amazing lightness skill, but unexpectedly, Zhu Honggong just fell straight down. Thump! Zhu Honggong rolled down the hillside, letting out a pig slaughtering-like scream. Pan Zhang immediately asked, "Where's that pig squealing sound coming from?" Pan Zhang slapped his forehead. Immediately after, he rushed to the edge of the cliff. "Crap, I forgot the important matter. I haven't unlocked 8th Senior's cultivation yet." Below the cliff was a earth-shattering sound. 3 hours later, inside the main hall of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Sect leader, the Yun sect's special envoy, Li Yundao, is requesting an audience. Let him in. Leo. Li Yundao, guided by a female cultivator from the Moon Reflection Palace, slowly entered the main hall. Just like everyone who came to the Evil Sky Pavilion for the first time, he looked a bit nervous and curious, while also worried that these devils would make a move on him. Everyone looked uneasy and anxious. Li Yundao, with that flustered expression and movements, stepped into the hall. He didn't dare to look directly at Lu Zhu, and bowed, saying, Li Yundao of the Yun sect greets Senior Ji. Lu Ju waved his sleeve. Be seated. Li Yundao bowed again, thanking Senior Ji for the seat. Trembling, he sat down, finally daring to raise his head and look at the #1 grand devil of the era, who swept across the world. When he saw Lu Zhao's appearance, his heart trembled slightly. He heard that Ji Tiandao only had less than 10 years to live, but now that he saw him, he was full of energy, with not a single white hair, and didn't look like someone about to face calamity at all. Li Yundao glanced at Hua Wudao out of the corner of his eye, and secretly felt disappointed. To think that he's a dignified Yun sect elder, yet he stepped into the demonic path. Truly pathetic. Senior Ji, I have come here at the request of the Yun sect's sect leader, to present you with a piece of black wood lotus. He held a brown brocade box in his hands, offering it up like an eunuch in the palace. Ming Xinyin didn't give him a chance to get close, quickly grabbing the brocade box and respectfully holding it in front of Lu Zhao. Lu Zhao lightly waved his sleeve, and the lid of the brocade box popped open. Acquired item. 1 piece of black wood lotus. It is a heaven-defying treasure that can be used for cultivation, healing, and opening up the Sea of Qi. It's a pity that the system didn't reward any merit points. Lu Zhao nodded with satisfaction, and said frankly, I have always appreciated people who keep their word. Bring up Ding Fengqi. Yes, not long after, Ding Fengqi was brought to the main hall by Zhu Jifeng. After having his cultivation sealed, Ding Fengqi had been imprisoned and never saw the light of day, so he looked like a weak and frail old man, with only a few strands of hair left. Li Yundao looked at him and clasped his hands, saying to Lu Zhao, Thank you, Lu Zhao ordered. See the guest out. Li Yundao was startled. He had come from so far, and he was being sent away before his seat even got warm. He hurriedly stood up. Senior Ji, this junior still has something to say, Lu Zhao asked with suspicion. What is it? Speak quickly. Li Yundao clasped his hands and bowed. Previously, Sword Devil Senior came to Swordmound and defeated Luo Senior, the chief disciple of Swordmound. Luo Senior asked me to pass on a message. If there's a chance, he hopes to receive guidance and have a discussion with Sword Devil Senior again. Lu Zhao asked back. Yu Shangrong went to Swordmound. Li Yundao was shocked. Senior Ji doesn't know. Lu Zhao secretly pondered. No wonder the Yun sect suddenly changed its mind, so it was Yu Shangrong putting pressure on them from behind. Remembering all the things Yu Shangrong had done before, Lu Zhao shouted softly. You unfilial disciple, Li Yundao quickly said. Sword Devil Senior's swordplay is at its peak. The move, returning and coming again enters 3 souls, was praised endlessly by Sword Saint Senior. Ming Shiyin immediately cursed. Get lost. Li Yundao was startled. Ah, Ming Shiyin shouted again. Praising a traitor in front of the master. Is your brain full of pus? So much nonsense. Quickly take Ding Fengqi and get lost. Hurry up, me. Get lost now. Get lost now. Li Yundao helped Ding Fengqi up and left the Evil Sky Pavilion's main hall in dismay, while secretly cursing the people at Swordmound. So-called elegance and politeness. Devils are devils. Can't be offended even a little bit. After Li Yundao and Ding Fengqi left, Lu Zhao turned his gaze to the blackwood lotus on the table and thought to himself, such a small blackwood lotus has such miraculous medicinal properties. Even just looking at it, I can feel the strong fragrance radiating from it. Xiao Yanhair looked at the blackwood lotus in front of her curiously. Master, can blackwood lotus really open up the Sea of Qi? Ming Xinyin said with a smile. Blackwood lotus is a treasure of heaven and earth. Don't even mention opening up the Sea of Qi. As long as you're not dead, no matter how serious the injury, this thing can save you. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yanhair immediately knelt down and thanked her master. Her loyalty increased +2. Lu Zhao looked closely and saw that Xiao Yanhair's loyalty had exceeded 85, making her the disciple with the highest loyalty. Lu Zhao nodded slightly and stroked his beard. It's not in vain for me to treat you well. Xiao Yanhair then replied, Disciple will definitely not fail master's expectations. Just then, Pan Zong hurried into the main hall and bowed. Sect leader, the Heavenly Selection Temple has sent a flying letter. I present it. Pan Zong respectfully offered the flying letter from the Heavenly Selection Temple to Lu Ju. Lu Ju opened the flying letter and read it. Lu Ju frowned in anger and handed the flying letter to Ming Shiyin. Ming Shiyin took it with both hands. After reading it, Ming Shiyin was just as angry. The Heavenly Selection Temple is really asking for too much, demanding 3 heaven-grade weapons, and also wanting to take back 8th Senior's treasure Kasaya. Hua Wudao asked with suspicion, Didn't you say Zhu Honggong had a good relationship with the Heavenly Selection Temple? Ming Shiyin stammered, looking towards Lu Zhu. Maybe that pig-headed guy is hiding something, master. Old 8th has been captured. The Heavenly Selection Temple clearly doesn't see our Evil Sky Pavilion as anything, Hua Wudao didn't understand, and cupped his hands. What are the Heavenly Selection Temple relying on to dare challenge the Evil Sky Pavilion? Ming Shiyin replied, Probably the more ignorant they are, the more foolish they are. The Heavenly Selection Temple can't compare to the Great Void Temple. Especially in the last few decades, the Heavenly Selection Temple has hardly had any Buddhist masters. Even the nascent Soul Realm experts are few and far between. The younger generation has no one to succeed. They can't compare to the Great Void Temple at all. As one of the 4 great Buddhist temples, the Heavenly Selection Temple has long been not what it used to be, even gradually became a dependent branch of Great Emptiness Temple. Therefore, Ming Xinyin couldn't understand what Tiangshuan Temple was relying on to do this, and could only say that they were ignorant and stupid. Ming Xinyin said angrily, Master, your disciple is willing to go with 3rd Senior Brother to Tiangshuan Temple to kill all those bald donkeys, so they know that the Demon Heaven Pavilion is definitely not something to be trifled with. Hua Wudao just stared blankly, like, quote, Duan Musheng also crossed his arms, opened his mouth wide and glared, saying, "Eighth junior brother is, after all, doing things under orders, and he represents the Demon Heaven Pavilion. Now that something has happened to him, how can I, as his senior brother, stand by and watch? Master, I am willing to go with fourth senior brother to grind the bones of those bald donkeys into ashes." Hua Wudao. Zhao Yu bowed slightly. Zhao Yu knows she made a mistake, and is now willing to redeem herself by meritorious service. If I fight alongside the two senior brothers, I will definitely slaughter Tiangshuan Temple to relieve the hatred in Master's heart. Hua Wudao was speechless once again, like Xiao Yanhe twisted her hair, not knowing what to do. It's unclear what Lu Zhu was feeling at this moment, but Hua Wudao only knew to lower his head, close his eyes, and think to himself. Only today did he feel that the Demon Heaven Pavilion had the appearance of a devil. Although Hua Wudao didn't distinguish between right and wrong, he wasn't the type of person who liked to kill. Demanding to kill someone's whole family at the slightest provocation was too arrogant, wasn't it? Lu Zhao was also speechless. During this time, he had unconsciously influenced his disciples, making them more obedient and sensible, but in urgent situations, they still acted as they did when they were under Ji Tiandao's command. Lu Zhao said, "However, if Tiangshuan Temple is really that kind of people, then being killed wouldn't be a waste. Tiangshuan Temple and Great Emptiness Temple both belong to the Shu lineage. Kong Xuan of the Great Emptiness Temple has been in closed-door cultivation for many years, and it's said that he's about to break through. If they stand on the same side, then I'm afraid you'll go and never return." Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng looked at each other. "Master, am I, your disciple, the kind of person who's afraid of death?" Duan Musheng and Zhao Yue also followed suit. Disciple agrees, Xiao Yanhe was also full of momentum. Lu Zhao nodded. "Since that's the case, this old man will also make a trip to Tiangshuan Temple." Xiao Yanhe immediately ran over and asked, "Master, you're going too?" Ming Shiyin was shocked, and hurriedly buttered him up. "With Master taking action, those dog and cat ball donkeys will all be killed with one blow. Eighth Junior is not here. If I don't seize the opportunity to flatter him, I'm afraid I won't have another chance later." Lu Zhao glanced at him indifferently, not bothering to pay attention. On the system interface, a new item has been added to the task list, which is the task of harvesting the Blackwood Lotus, with a reward of 1,500 merit points. If he can successfully obtain the Blackwood Lotus, then he will obtain the 7-star soul-shifting Dharma body as easily as flipping his hand. Since transmigrating, it has only been a few months, and he has upgraded from the initial Taiji Dharma body to the 7-star soul-shifting Dharma body. Even Ji Tiandao didn't have such a fast speed. Therefore, he must obtain the Blackwood Lotus. Early the next morning, the Demon Heaven Pavilion's cloud-piercing flying chariot was ready. The four people, Ming Shiyin, Duan Musheng, Zhao Yu, and Xiao Yanhe, stood on both sides. "Welcome, Master. Elder Hua is old and has difficulty walking, so stay in the Demon Heaven Pavilion and rest." After Lu Zhao instructed Hua Wudao, he turned around and stepped into the flying chariot. Hua Wudao's old face twitched, feeling that something was wrong. "It's true that I'm old, but Pavilion Master, you seem to be even older than me." Hua Wudao clasped his hands. "Please await the good news from the Pavilion Master." Ming Xinyan poked Duan Musheng. "Third senior brother, do you know that driving the flying chariot has many benefits?" Duan Musheng gave a huh sound. Upon hearing this, Ming Xinyan then repeated, "Third senior brother, do you know that driving the flying chariot has many benefits?" "I don't know." Ming Xinyan didn't understand anything but gave an sound. Ming Xiyin enticed him, saying, "Driving can temper the balance of your vital energy. Whether there are bumps when controlling the flying chariot to fly fast or slow depends on the driver's control. In the long run, it can temper your endurance. In addition, when driving, you will have the best view, which is the best position to observe the beautiful scenery." Hearing these sweet words, Duan Musheng was a little moved. "Is it really that good?" Zhao Yan'er, while drinking milk tea, continued, "Of course, how dare I deceive third senior brother? The reason why senior brother is so strong must be related to driving for 10 years. That makes sense." Duan Musheng nodded slightly, then patted Ming Shiyin on the shoulder, saying seriously and sincerely, "Junior brother, your cultivation is still weak, so I'll give this good thing to you." Ming Shiyin was like, "WTF, it's karma. Is this the feeling of shooting yourself in the foot?" In addition to the 4 disciples on the flying chariot, there were also more than a dozen female cultivators. Half an hour later, the flying chariot flew towards Jing Prefecture in the southwest at the speed of a meteor. Ming Shiyin controlled the flying chariot extremely skillfully, and there were no bumps along the way. "Master, we have arrived at Qingyuan Mountain. Tiangshuan Temple is on the top of the mountain. Slow down." "Understood." Ming Shiyin tilted his head to look at everyone, his voice unable to hide his boastful pride. "Third senior brother, junior sister, how am I driving?" Xiao Yan'er gave a thumbs up. "Fourth senior brother is driving with consummate skill. So amazing." "Junior brother's comprehension is amazing. He has only driven twice, and is already driving so steadily." Duan Musheng praised him. Lu Jiujiao stroked his beard, looked at Ming Shiyin, and said, "Since that's the case, then driving will be your responsibility from now on." The other disciples nodded repeatedly upon hearing this. Ming Shiyin once again had question marks all over his face while driving the flying chariot. At the same time, inside Tiangshuan Temple on the top of Qingyuan Mountain, "Master, the Demon Heaven Pavilion's flying chariot has really arrived." A stone thrown into the water creates thousands of ripples. Abbot Xu Jing, who presides over Tiangshuan Temple, draped his kasaya over his shoulders, held his dharma scepter in his hand, and stopped reciting scriptures. Xu Jing slowly said, "Inform the disciples to welcome the honored guests." After hearing the abbot tell the disciples to welcome the guests, the disciples responded in unison. Soon after, the sound of bells rang throughout the mountain gate, shaking the entire Qingyuan mountain. The clanging sound of the bells rang, summoning all the disciples of Tiangshuan Temple. Outside the Mahavira Hall, the disciples quickly gathered, some holding long staves in their hands, some coming empty-handed, all wearing monk robes. Only a few monks in kasayas slowly approached. The disciples all looked up in admiration at the cloud-piercing flying chariot slowly flying in the sky. Tiangshuan Temple had never seen such a thing. At this time, presiding Abbot Xu Jing appeared on the steps of the Mahavira Hall. "Master! Abbot!" The monks with different identities addressed him differently, but they all greeted him in unison. Xu Jing looked up at the sky. As expected, it was as this old monk had expected. "Master, the Demon Heaven Pavilion is so imposing. What should we do?" Xu Jing's eyes turned to the 4 people in front of him. "The one who has come is the #1 devil in the world. Apart from Xu Sheng, Xu Fan, and Xu Hai, no one else is allowed to speak nonsense." The disciples nodded. The cloud-piercing flying chariot slowly descended, and the powerful energy constantly radiating from the flying chariot caused people to exclaim in surprise. Before the flying chariot came to a complete stop, Abbot Xu Jing had already put one hand in front of his chest and used vital energy mixed with sound waves to say, "Abbot Xu Jing, who presides over Tiangshuan Temple, welcomes you benefactors." The extremely powerful and vigorous voice transmitted into the flying chariot. Ming Shiyin frowned and said, "Master, these bald donkeys are too deceitful, daring to mock the Demon Heaven Pavilion." He always felt that they dared to capture 8th junior brother, and even ask for so many things like extortion. And now they were showing off their deceitful flattery. Weren't they mocking the Demon Heaven Pavilion? Abbot Xu Jing, who presides over Tiangshuan Temple, looked up and said, "This old monk was forced to resort to this last resort." Ming Shiyin was in the best position to see, standing above looking down at the altar and the surrounding square, which were full of monks from Tiangshuan Temple. The battle lines were ready, and their eyes were full of fire. Many people had a death-defying attitude. Ming Shiyin no longer cursed and turned his head back to say, "Master, this disciple suspects that there are traps below. Should we change to another place to land?" With their strength and cultivation, even if they encountered traps, they would be able to leave easily. But the cloud-piercing flying chariot was very precious. It would be a pity if it was damaged. Lu Jiao put his hands behind his back and stepped to the front of the flying chariot, observing the scene below. His eyes swept across the altar and the staff-wielding monks standing in the square, and then he opened his mouth and said, "Xu Jing, it's been a long time." Abbot Xu Jing looked up at Lu Jiao, who was standing proudly on the flying chariot. A look of surprise flashed in his eyes, and he replied, "This old monk thought that the pavilion master of the Demon Heaven Pavilion would not come to this dilapidated Tiangshuan Temple. Iliand. It's an honor for this old benefactor to grace us with your presence, a dragon visiting a shrimp's home." Lu Jiao said indifferently, "Descend." Disciple obeys. Ming Shiyin controlled the cloud-piercing flying chariot to slowly descend to the altar. Landing here was intentional by Ming Shiyin. The altar of heaven has always been used by Tiangshuan Temple to worship the heavens, and Ming Shiyin wanted to take this opportunity to counterattack. Tiangshuan Temple. The disciples of Tiangshuan Temple shouted in unison, "They bully people too much. We have more people. We should bully them back." "Yes! Everyone, let's go together!" Suddenly, an elder's voice shouted loudly, "Retreat!" The hot-tempered young disciples of Tiangshuan Temple angrily wanted to rush up and argue, but they were all shouted back by Xu Jing and the 3 elders. Young disciples have too limited knowledge and vision. Moreover, Tiangshuan Temple has never cared about the struggle between good and evil, and many disciples do not know the details of this #1 devil in the cultivation world. Hearing about a tiger doesn't scare you, but you also have to see who the opponent is. If we act rashly now, it would be no different from seeking death. These people kill people without blinking an eye. The flying chariot landed gently, and Lu Jiao and his group stepped out slowly. Just as they predicted, none of the monks from Tiangshuan Temple charged to attack them. Instead, they stood in neat rows, perfectly aligned. Xu Jing approached Ji Tiandao, placing one palm in front of his chest. "Amitabha. This old monk welcomes you, benefactors." Abbot Xu Jing's attitude left everyone puzzled and confused. Lu Juju, on the other hand, didn't bother with the formalities. He simply put his hands behind his back and casually walked up to Abbot Xu Jing. Xu Jing continued, "This old monk was forced to imprison you. Benefactors, I invite you to the Great Hero Hall, where I will explain everything in detail." Ming Shiyin immediately popped his head out and cursed, "Bald donkey, you captured my 8th junior brother, so hurry up and release him, and you dare to brazenly demand 3 heaven-grade weapons. Who gave you the guts to do that?" Abbot Xu Jing looked somewhat embarrassed. "If this old monk didn't do that, how else could I provoke the Fiend Temple?" Ming Shiyin pressed, "You did it on purpose, benefactors, please." Abbot Xu Jing stepped aside, and the other disciples also made way. Ming Shiyin observed the Great Hero Hall from afar. The Great Hero Hall isn't some kind of cage, is it? Ming Xinyin's suspicion was reasonable. After several major battles, he had discovered that many cultivators were skilled in imprisonment formations. From the clear jade platform's barrier to the powerful barrier of Golden Cauldron Mountain, all capable of imprisoning ordinary cultivators. Moreover, there were the Vu Shamanism Grand Formation on the Crossing Heaven River, and the Immortal Sage Grand Formation of the Ten Vu in Gangxi Town. The Great Hero Hall is such an important place. It's very likely to be arranged with a powerful Grand Formation. Abbot Xu Jing said, "You misunderstand this old monk. If I really wanted to imprison everyone, I would need a group of experts to help activate the formation. With the current strength of Tiangshuan Temple, how could we control such a powerful formation? Besides, the strength of the Fiend Temple is as clear as day. Am I stupid enough to bite off more than I can chew? Ming Xinyan looked at Abbot Shu Jing and said, "So, you deliberately lured my master here for another reason." Abbot Shu Jing replied, "That's right." Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded. "Let's hope so." "Please." Abbot Shu Jing gestured again. Lu Zhao and his group followed Abbot Shu Jing into the Great Hero Hall, while the other monks waited outside. Inside the Great Hero Hall, only a few core disciples remained seated. Abbot Shu Jing called out, "Someone, invite the benefactor's disciple in." "Yes." Before long, Zhu Honggong was carried in by two monks like a pig, his hands and feet bound. His face was full of grievances. At the entrance of the main hall, the monks released Zhu Honggong, letting him drop to the ground before slowly untying him. This old monk resorted to such a low tactic out of necessity. "I beg you benefactors for forgiveness. I will bear all the sins alone." Hearing this, Zhu Honggong entered the hall and saw Lu Zhao sitting majestically and his senior brothers and sisters come to rescue him. He immediately knelt before Lu Zhao, crying and complaining, "Master, you finally arrived. This bald donkey abused me, beat me until I was severely injured. I'm suffering beyond description. Master, you must stand up for me." Ming Shi Yin was speechless. Holy crap, what a performance! Abbot Shu Jing stared blankly at Zhu Honggong. This old monk is the presiding abbot of Tiangshuan Temple. This is a Buddhist place. How could this old monk be so cruel to benefactors? Zhu Honggong raised his head and glared at Abbot Shu Jing. "Liar! I'm suffering from internal injuries right now. Are you deaf or something?" Zhu Honggong knew Ji Tiandao's personality very well. He was a man who always took revenge. But then, Lu Zhu suddenly spoke. "Stand up," then added, "Ahem, if what you say is true, I will seek justice for you." "Yes, master." Zhu Honggong suddenly felt that returning to the Fiend Temple was the right choice. Abbot Shu Jing was completely speechless, but given his status he couldn't explain much, so he said, "Please, Benefactor Jing, be the judge." Lu Zhao paused for a moment and said, "Let's get down to business. If you can't provide a reasonable explanation, Tiangshuan Temple will pay a heavy price." Xiao Yanyer also glared angrily, huffing coldly. Abbot Shu Jing's forehead was covered in sweat, but he still calmly said, "This old monk knows that Benefactor Ji wants the Black Lotus of Darkness. I can give the Black Lotus of Darkness to the Fiend Temple." Hearing this, the disciples of the Fiend Temple were less angry, and nodded slightly. That's more like it. Lu Zhao didn't expect Abbot Shu Jing to be so generous. Then, what was the point of all their roundabout schemes? Old man always distinguishes right from wrong. Old man can overlook your imprisonment of Zhu Honggong. Switching out the imprisoned eighth for a piece of the Black Lotus of Darkness, it doesn't seem like a bad deal. Zhu Honggong immediately looked stunned. Note: when Lu Zhu is self-referential, he tends to use Lao Fu which is loosely translated as old man. "Didn't you just say you would seek justice for me?" Abbot Shu Jing put his palms together in front of his chest. The old benefactor understands the greater good. It is indeed a fortunate thing. Besides that, this old monk has a favor to ask. Ming Shi Yin immediately cursed. "Bald donkey! I knew you didn't have good intentions. Asking for favors is useless. The Fiend Temple won't agree." Abbot Shu Jing suddenly stood up and respectfully said to Lu Zhao, "This matter is indeed something this old monk has not fully considered. In addition to offering the Black Lotus of Darkness, Tiangshuan Temple will not pursue the matter of the Bodhi shawl either." Zhu Honggong hurriedly bowed his head and hugged his clothes tightly. Lu Zhu said, "Old man, I'm very curious. What exactly is it that can make Tiangshuan Temple lower itself like this?" Abbot Shu Jing sighed softly. "The matter concerns life and death. We have no choice but to do so." He waved his hand, and several disciples in the Great Hero Hall ran out. Before long, they carried in several stretchers, upon which lay the corpses of core elders of Tiangshuan Temple. Abbot Shu Jing pointed to the corpses and said, "These are all people of Tiangshuan Temple. The first Siet Kong Liu of the Discipline Hall, the first Siet Kong Jian of the Sutra Hall, the 8 great supervisors of the Surveillance Institute, and 12 people from the Hall Court were all killed by the 4 great divine monks of the Great Emptiness Temple." There weren't many corpses brought into the hall, but the number of people Zhu Jing mentioned was significant. When he spoke these words, he seemed very calm, as if he had taken life and death lightly. Lu Zhao said, "The Great Emptiness Temple and the Tiangshuan Temple belong to the same lineage. Why would the Great Emptiness Temple want to kill its own people?" "It's a long story," Abbot Shu Jing slowly said. "Since Grandmaster Kong Xuan of the Great Emptiness Temple emerged from closed-door cultivation, the Great Emptiness Temple is no longer a place that ignores human affairs. They call themselves the educators of all living beings, delivering all of mankind. Tiangshuan Temple and the Great Emptiness Temple have always kept their distance." He paused and continued. "But Kong Xuan suddenly passed away, and the Great Emptiness Temple has always believed that it was caused by this old monk." Lu Zhao stroked his beard as he listened to him. Lu Zhao's memories of what happened on the altar in Runan City were still fresh in his mind, but he hadn't expected that it would cause conflict between the Great Emptiness Temple and Tiangshuan Temple. This old monk couldn't prove my innocence, and there were many renowned sects who witnessed it firsthand at the altar at the time. The Great Emptiness Temple used that as an excuse to cause trouble. The Tiangshuan Temple is no longer what it used to be. How can we withstand the 4 great divine monks? Abbot Shu Jing sighed inwardly. Lu Zhao asked, "So you thought of the Fiend Temple?" "That's right." Abbot Shu Jing bowed slightly. "I heard that the relationship between the Great Emptiness Temple and the Fiend Temple is very bad. Now this old monk has no other choice. For the lives of over 1,000 disciples in the temple, this old monk has no choice but to resort to this low tactic. If the Fiend Temple can eliminate the 4 great divine monks, this old monk will not only offer the Black Lotus of Darkness and the Bodhi Shawl, but will also submit to the Fiend Temple in the future. Ming Shiyin and the others were shocked by this statement. To make such a choice, how much courage did this old monk have? In the world, good and evil are incompatible. There is no middle ground. The Buddhist gate has always been neutral, and joining the Fiend Temple means that Tiangshuan Temple will face the punishment of the righteous faction. Lu Zhao shook his head and said, "You are the abbot of Tiangshuan Temple, and you are usually close to the righteous faction. Now you choose to submit to the demonic path. Aren't you afraid that the people of the world will ridicule you?" Abbot Zhu Jing snorted softly, with a hint of unwillingness. One thought to become a Buddha. One thought to become a devil. Abbot Zhu Jing remembered the scene of countless people from the Pure Clarity Tao and the Orthodox Unity Tao criticizing him. He remembered the scene of the 4 great divine monks of the Great Emptiness Temple mercilessly slaughtering the disciples of Tiangshuan Temple. He remembered the scene of banners hanging everywhere in Jing Prefecture City that said, "The bald donkeys of Tiangshuan Temple all deserve to die." Compared to all this, what has the Ma Tiange ever done to wrong the Tianshuan Temple? Seriously, what's the beef? Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said, "Zhu Honggong once stole the precious brocade robe of Tianshuan Temple. Don't you resent that, Zhu Honggong? Always getting into trouble?" Abbot Zhu Jing replied, "If the precious brocade robe remained in Tianshuan Temple, I fear it would have been snatched away by the Dakong Temple long ago. Now that it is in the hands of the benefactor, it is truly fortunate." Zhu Honggong was immediately overjoyed upon hearing this and said, "No wonder you didn't strip me naked. So that's why." Hearing Zhu Honggong's words, Ming Shiyin and Abbot Zhu Jing were speechless. Facepalm, Lu Zhao glared at Zhu Honggong and continued, "The world's famous orthodox sects are not limited to the Jingming Dao and the Zhang Yi Dao. Why don't you seek assistance from them?" Abbot Zhu Jing replied, "There are many orthodox sects in the world, but there are few who can genuinely resist the Dakong Temple. Moreover, it is better to avoid trouble than to get involved. Who would be willing to stand up against the Dakong Temple for the sake of Tianshuan Temple?" Lu Zhao continued, "Even so, how can you be sure that the Ma Tiange will get involved in this matter?" Just as he said this, the Great Hero Hall was completely silent. The Tianshuan Temple disciples stood still, not interrupting. Abbot Zhu Jing slowly said, "There are 3 reasons. 1, the Black Lotus. 2, this old monk knows that Kang Xuan was killed by the Ma Tiange. 3, the precious brocade robe. This Abbot Zhu Jing is no dummy. His head is very clear and orderly." Even Ming Shiyin couldn't help but want to applaud upon hearing it. Lu Zhao softly said, "Well said." He paused for a moment and asked, "If the Ma Tiange chooses to stand on the side of the Dakong Temple, what do you intend to do?" Abbot Zhu Jing froze, unsure how to answer. The disciples in the hall widened their eyes, shocked, all staring intently at the Ma Tiange group, unsure whether they were frightened or nervous. Abbot Zhu Jing was silent for a moment, then sighed, shaking his head and said, "If that is truly the case, then this old monk would be a sinner for all eternity for the Tianshuan Temple, and will naturally go before the Buddha to repent." The Tianshuan Temple disciples in the hall all exclaimed in unison, "Master, Abbot." Lu Zhao stroked his beard, nodded, and slowly said, "Don't be nervous, old benefactor." Zhu Jing was so nervous that his hands were trembling. How could he not be nervous? He was really afraid that Lu Zhao would choose to side with the Dakong Temple. This old man appreciates people who know what's good for them. The Tianshuan Temple is willing to offer the Black Lotus, the precious brocade robe, and even willing to submit to the Ma Tiange. How could Lu Zhao let go of this opportunity? Lu Zhao asked. "Where are the people from the Dakong Temple? What do you mean by—" Abbot Zhu Jing did not get a definite answer, and his heart remained uneasy. Upon hearing this, Zhu Jing was overjoyed and hurriedly said, "The Dakong Temple gave us 3 days. Today is the last day. Tomorrow morning, the 4 great holy monks of the Dakong Temple will arrive at the Tianshuan Temple." The disciples saw Abbot Zhu Jing's strange expression and exclaimed, "Master." Lu Zhao nodded and called out, "Ming Shiyin, hide the flying chariot, pronto." Disciple obeys. Ming Shiyin's flamboyant nature was ignited. He swaggered out, looked at the monks around, and shook his body, performing the great divine power technique. Seeing this, Duan Musheng was completely speechless. "You use the great divine power technique for this," Abbot Zhu Jing hurriedly said. "Arrange the rooms." Yes. Lu Zhao leisurely rested for a night in the Tianshuan Temple. When the group left the Great Hero Hall, the entire hall fell into darkness, leaving only Abbot Zhu Jing alone. He sighed softly. "One thought becomes Buddha, one thought becomes devil. Whoever touches me, I'll punish them all." The next morning, a continuous ancient bell rang, spreading throughout Qingyuan Mountain, echoing in the Tianshuan Temple. The disciples of the Heavenly Selection Temple quickly gathered, their formations ready. The moment the Great Void Temple's flying chariot appears, report immediately. Yes! The Fan-Hai Realm monks in the Heavenly Selection Temple soared into the air, scattering in all directions. Those disciples below the Qi Refining Realm all gathered in front of the Great Hero Hall. Abbot Zhu Jing wore his kasaya, held his Buddhist staff, a string of prayer beads around his neck, and his monk's cap on his head, dressed much more formally and solemnly than usual. "Benefactor Lu, please." Lu Zhao and the Ma Tiange disciples unceremoniously entered the Great Hero Hall. The sun rose high, and a flying chariot was seen speeding towards the horizon. "Abbot, The Dakong Temple's flying chariot has appeared. A disciple rushed into the hall to report. Upon hearing this, Ming Yin smiled, slipped out of the Great Hero Hall, stood on the steps, and looked up. Twisk, the Dakong Temple's lineup is much more expensive and impressive than yours, Tianshuan Temple. Not bad, just a little small. The flying chariot was not large, white, and gold, with about 30 monks flying around it, forming a protective formation. Before the flying chariot arrived, a loud voice was heard. Xu Jing, why haven't you come out to greet us? The sound waves rolled in from the horizon, and the trees outside the Great Hero Hall were swept by the sound waves. Shaking continuously, Xu Jing and the other core disciples quickly stepped out of the hall, looking up at the horizon. A disciple exclaimed in surprise, The 4 great holy monks are all here. Lu Zhao stood with his hands behind his back and slowly walked over. The 4 great holy monks, how impressive, Abbot Xu Jing then said. Kongju, Kongwen, Kongzi, and Kongzang all hold the position of head seat, second only to Abbot Kong Yuan. Their cultivation has long entered the Yuanshen realm. 4 nascent soul realm powerhouses. Talk about going all out. Truly entering the nascent soul realm is equivalent to stepping into the most dangerous place under the heavens, the Great Yan. The entire Heavenly Selection Temple only has Xu Jing at the nascent soul realm. The others are not even worth mentioning. The number of divine court realm monks is also scattered. Not many at all. More than 1,000 disciples don't even have a single nascent soul realm cultivator. Yet the Great Void Temple sent 4 of them. The difference in strength was obvious just by looking at it. No wonder the Tianshuan Temple had to think of this last resort to contain the Dakong Temple. It's truly rather be a shattered jade than a whole tile. While the two were talking, another wave of powerful sound waves came from the sky. The disciples, standing in front of the Great Hero Hall with low cultivation, were all shaken by the sound waves, and their faces turned ugly. Kongzi, Kongzang, Lu Zhu muttered. These 2 names are really 2 retarded names. Note, Kongzi also means no brains, and Kongzang can be understood as no husband. Whoever gave these Dharma names is truly a talent. Ming Yin disdainfully said. The Yuanshen realm is also divided into strong and weak. Are they all 8-leaf experts? Abbot Xu Jing shook his head and said, The individual strength of each of the 4 great holy monks is not strong. The highest is only 5 leaves, and the lowest is 2 leaves. Kongzi is 3 leaves. Kongzang is 4 leaves. Ming Yin, who loved to show off, had long been itching. Then what's there to talk about? I can beat 2 of them alone, Abbot Xu Jing asked. What is the benefactor's cultivation? How many leaves? 2 leaves. The 4 great holy monks are indeed not strong in single combat, but what is frightening is that when they join forces, they can be equivalent to a 7-leaf expert. HMPH, said old man Xu Jing. Ming Yin, bless his cotton socks, was all? Seriously? That strong? Abbot Xu Jing, bless his honest heart, explained. Those 4? They're like peas in a pod when they team up to do their Buddhist hand seals. Seriously, OP, it's like 4 dudes become 1. This old monk learned that the hard way, got a right walloping from him. At this point, he couldn't care less about appearances. Casually swished his robe open at the chest, revealing a blood-red palm print chillingly imprinted on his back. Ming Yin, Duan Musheng, Xiao Yanher, and Zhu Honggong were all silently floored. But seeing Abbot Xu Jing looking like a freshly peeled egg made everyone a bit queasy. Oi, old-timer. Abbot, get some clothes on, pronto. Putting aside Abbot Xu Jing's insane power level for a sec, the fact that he could tank a hit that nasty and not even flinch, let alone whimper, showed his willpower was tougher than nails. You're something else. Ming Yin gave him a thumbs up. Now, I ain't a fan of monks usually, but you? You're the first one I can actually stand. Abbot Xu Jing sighed. Does Mr. G have confidence in this? He'd basically bet the lives of over 1,000 disciples of the Heavenly Selection Temple on Lu Zhao. If they lost this round, he'd be public enemy number 1 for eternity. Sure, he'd heard whispers that Ji Tiandao of the Devil Sky Pavilion was the top dog demonic cultivator, unbeatable and all that jazz. But the big problem was, the once-in-a-millennium tribulation had hit, and every year shaved off a chunk of his cultivation. Xue Jing wasn't even sure if that old devil still had his mojo. Before Lu Zhao could even open his mouth, Shi Yin piped up. My Shifu's cultivation is deeper than the Mariana Trench, so chill out, old man. Heck, sometimes we don't even need the old geezer to lift a finger. Me and third senior brother can handle stuff ourselves. Abbot Xu Jing replied. If that's the case, then this old monk can finally breathe easy. But please, for the love of Buddha, don't underestimate them. Just then, a sonic boom way stronger than before rolled in from the horizon. Xu Jing. 3 days have passed. Had your little think yet? Whoosh! The flying Buddhist carriage of the Great Void Temple halted in mid-air. 4 monks in their kasayas, one hand clasped in front of their chests, stood floating. The funeral crew behind them also descended, leaving only a few pallbearers to keep the flying carriage hovering. The disciples in front of the Great Hero Hall all scooted back. The 4 great monks and the 2 pallbearers smoothly landed in the middle of the plaza, right next to the incense burner. The 4 monks formed a square, looking eerily similar, like they'd rolled off the same assembly line. Even their faces were almost identical, making it impossible to tell them apart. They weren't spring chickens, though. Their white eyebrows practically touched their silver beards, and their faces were a roadmap of wrinkles. Xu Jing stood at the front, quietly calling out, "No one." Lu Zhao stood right beside Xu Jing, silently observing them before shaking his head. These 4, they're all in the nascent soul realm. Looks like the Great Void Temple ain't taking any chances with the Heavenly Selection Temple. Xu Liu, Xu Fan, Shu Hai, Shu Jing called out. Abbot Shixiang? The three responded, bowing in unison. Abbot Shu Jing commanded. The safety of our heavenly selection temple disciples rests on your shoulders. Please rest assured, Abbot Shixiang. The three replied together. Even though we're only in the divine court realm, we'll give it our all to protect the disciples. With you here, this old monk can die in peace. The four great monks by the incense burner smirked disdainfully. No Wen chuckled. Zhu Jing, hand over the blackwood lotus and the treasure silken vest and join our great void temple. Why be so stubbornly wrong, you stubborn mule? Shu Jing spat out. HMPH. You dare insult this Dharma master. Insulting your elders? You're worse than a beast. Zhu Jing had run out of patience to argue black and white with them. After all, Dharma names with nod in the middle were lower in seniority than those with Shu and I. But the four great monks couldn't care less about seniority. No Wen cackled. Cheng Jin thought giving you 3 days would make you see sense and obediently listen. Who knew 3 days later you'd still be as dumb as a brick? No Jew cut in bluntly. If that's the case, let's just send him on his way. It's just a bit more effort. Shu Jing was about to retort when he saw Lu Zhao step forward. Lu Zhao casually plucked a piece of candy out of nowhere and said, "You guys want the Blackwood Lotus, too." No Wen's gaze shifted from Shu Jing to Lu Zhao's oddly dressed group. Shu Jing whispered beside him, "They want the Blackwood Lotus to deal with the Devil Sky Pavilion? They know full well that the Devil Sky Pavilion oft no Zhuan. They're just looking for an excuse to pin it on the Heavenly Selection Temple." No Wen looked at Lu Zhao. "Shu Jing, you invited outsiders to help." Shu Jing retorted, "That's right, this old monk did invite help." No Wen, look around you. There are 4 of them now. You're coming in, but you ain't walking out. The 4 great monks stepped forward as one, followed by the 2 pallbearers who lined up behind them, all simultaneously clasping their hands in front of their chests, their kasayas fluttering, and primal chi surging. No. Wen sneered, "Well then, let this old monk see what kind of help you've roped in." He sized up the group in front of him. A skinny old man, a bunch of delicate-looking women, 2 muscleheads, and a little brat. Hilarious. The 2 pallbearers began to stir their primal chi. "Mr. G, please." Abbot Shu Jing, who'd been holding on by a thread, finally succumbed to his injuries and stumbled back a step. Shu Liu, Shu Fan, and Shu Hai all flinched slightly. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded, saying, "This old one shall grant your wish," a double entendre, directed at both Shu Jing and the 4 great monks. The Heavenly Selection Temple disciples retreated, and the 3 exus also backed away. Ming Shi Yin, understanding his Shifu's intent, clasped his hands and declared, "This disciple requests to be the vanguard. Let me test their mettle." He lightly tapped his toes, leaping down dozens of steps, his entire body's primal chi vibrating, solidifying into gang chi. The 4 great monks sensed that Ming Xinyan's aura was anything but ordinary, so they dared not continue their underestimation. The 4 of them retreated, splitting into 4 corners, forming a gang chi shield, each pouring their strength into a corner, and simultaneously unleashing 4 hand seals. Boom! That gang chi shield blocked Ming Xiyin. Ming Xiyin raised an eyebrow, using the force to flip backward and land on the ground. They even have this kind of move? The 4 of them had simultaneously coordinated to unleash some kind of gang chi technique. It was the first time he'd seen a group coordination technique like this. Though it wasn't the same as the Buddha's sonic attacks, it still amplified their power. To pull off a close quarters move like that and form a unified hand seal required insane teamwork. Just a light palm strike from each of them could create that kind of gang chi. Truly surprising everyone. No Wen clasped his hands in front of his chest and chanted, "Amitabha! Amitabha! Your cultivation isn't bad, benefactor, so why side with the enemy?" Seeing Ming Xiyin's decent cultivation, they wanted to seize the opportunity to persuade him. Ming Xiyin stomped his foot on the ground. "The people I hate the most are you sanctimonious baldies who preach all day?" Boom! A perfect footprint appeared as he charged into a fierce battle with the 4 great monks. The watching monks around them continuously retreated. The 2 pallbearer monks from the Great Void Temple stood motionless, awaiting orders. Mukong, Sihai, Noju struck a palm towards Ming Xiyin. The other 3 coordinating with perfect synergy, simultaneously adding pressure. Ming Xiyin's 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. That palm strike landed squarely on his shoulder, sending his whole body flying backward. He managed to retreat mid-air and land on the steps. The palm strike just now had pierced through his protective gang chi. Ming Xiyin winced in pain, slightly raising an eyebrow. Luckily, the strike wasn't too powerful, and his body had dissipated most of the impact. Duan Musheng, gripping the Overlord's spear in his hand, exclaimed excitedly, "These 4 are no joke." No Wen clasped one hand in front of his chest and chanted, "Amitabha, benefactor, why be so stubbornly deluded?" Ming Xiyin stomped his foot on the ground, then soared into the air, his figure flashing. "The one who's stubbornly deluded is you." Boom! 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 The separation hook appeared in his palm, his aura stirring up wind and rain as he thrust it towards No Wen. Those watching could only see after images and hear the deafening clash of gang chi. No Wen hadn't expected Ming Xiyin's attack to be so sharp, catching him off guard and forcing him to suddenly retreat. After abruptly backing away, he stomped his foot, shot into the void, spun a few times, and landed on the ground. Ming Xiyin could have seized the opportunity to continue his attack, but the palm strikes from the remaining 3 monks had already arrived, forcing him to retreat. Too late. No Jia's palm strike carried a fierce wind, growing stronger and stronger. Sound travels through the air. All 3 unleashed their attacks simultaneously. Boom! Ming Xiyin's Libby hook rose to block, the bizarre vibrating sound making his head spin. He stumbled back repeatedly. The 4 divine monks returned to their original positions. Standing at each corner, as if no battle had occurred, Kong Wen looked at Ming Shiyin and said, "Benefactor, this monk advised you, but you wouldn't listen. Give up, you're no match for us." Ming Shiyin didn't expect that even with his heaven-grade Libby hook, he'd still be no match for the 4 divine monks. Individually, they weren't strong, nor were their attacks particularly powerful, but each palm strike was eerily strange. Ming Shiyin could see countless openings, but they all seemed to be traps. Kong Wen ignored Ming Shiyin, turning his gaze to Xu Jing and Lu Zhu, who stood before the Great Hero Hall. Seeing Xu Jing's weakened state, Kong Wen chuckled. "Xu Jing, I thought you could block that move. I didn't expect you to be so heavily injured. Living until now must have been tough, A young disciple supported Xu Jing, whose mental and physical state were both poor. Kong Wen turned to Lu Zhao and asked, "Old benefactor, what did he offer you to come help him?" Lu Zhao replied. "Abbot Xu Jing promised this old man the Blackwood Lotus and the treasure silk vestment. Such sincerity, how could this old man refuse to help?" Blackwood Lotus. Kong Wen's eyes widened, and he turned sharply to Xu Jing. "Xu Jing, are you crazy? Such a precious item. You'd rather give it to an outsider than to this monk." Xu Jing weakly cursed. "You wretch." He barely had the strength to scold. Kong Wen looked at Lu Zhuhao, then said, "Old benefactor, a commoner is innocent, but possessing treasures invites trouble. The Great Kong Temple must have these items. Why not help us fulfill our wish?" "What does the Great Kong Temple need the Blackwood Lotus for?" Lu Zhao asked. Kong Wen arrogantly replied, "Does old benefactor know of the Evil Sky Pavilion?" "We've heard news from Yun sect that the Evil Sky Pavilion is searching for the Blackwood Lotus." The Evil Sky Pavilion is a demonic faction that every righteous sect in the world wants to exterminate. How could the Great Kong Temple let them succeed? The Great Kong Temple has never cared about worldly affairs, so why antagonize the Evil Sky Pavilion? Now, Lu Zhao deliberately asked this: how could the 4 divine monks say in front of them that Kong Xuan's death was caused by the Evil Sky Pavilion when they used Kong Xuan's death as an excuse to attack the Sky Choice Temple? Kong Wen said, "The Buddha's gate is compassionate. The Evil Sky Pavilion commits many evils, so they must be exterminated." Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded. "Unfortunately, this old man also really wants to obtain the Blackwood Lotus." Kong Wen's expression changed slightly. "Old benefactor, this monk has given you a chance. If you don't cherish it, then die." He waved his hand, and 2 monks behind him clasped their hands in respect, chanting sutras under their breath. A buzzing sound, like mosquitoes droning, filled the air. Sanskrit dream entrancement. Man, this scene is so freaking similar to that whole show at the Sacred Altar in Runan City. Only diff is, these 2 monks chanting it are clearly way stronger than that bunch from Kong Xuan's crew we saw earlier. The sound waves driving the universe of Brahma's voice enters dream spread out. Many of the Sky Choice Temple disciples with low cultivation, who hadn't even reached the Qi condensation realm, how could they withstand the sound wave attacks of Brahma's voice enters dream? Lu Zhao remained calm and composed, standing still, completely unaffected. The extraordinary power of the heavenly book was displaying its miraculous effect. The female cultivators of the Moon-Grazing Hall, along with Zhao Yaner, Zhu Honggong, and Zhao Yu, retreated into the Great Hero Hall. With a wave of his hand, a wall of stellar energy appeared, protecting them. Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin were both in the nascent soul realm, so they were unaffected. The remaining Sky Choice Temple disciples all fell to the ground, clutching their heads in agony. Xu Liu, Xu Fan, and Xu Hai resisted painfully, their faces pale. Duan Musheng, annoyed by the chanting, couldn't hold back any longer. He swung his Overlord Spear and shouted, "These noisy baldies!" The Overlord Spear stirred up stellar energy, each wisp of stellar energy enveloping the spear shadows, then blooming outwards. His entire body was straight, holding the spear, striking directly towards the Brahma's voice. Enters dream of the Great Kong Temple. One of the divine monks saw this and shouted, "Block!" The 4 divine monks changed positions, gently waving their hands, forming a huge, square shield of stellar energy, blocking the Overlord Spear. "You can't block it! Boom!" The Overlord Spear suddenly transformed from 1 into 10, piercing through the square shield of stellar energy. "Huh? What's happening? How can we not block it?" The effects of hundreds of thousands of spars with Hua Wudao were now on full display. This move of Duan Musheng's was still a little short of breaking the 6 Directions Dao Seal, but breaking this shield of stellar energy was no problem. Ming Shiyin, who had been restrained by the 4 divine monks earlier, was still full of anger. Seeing Duan Musheng gaining the upper hand, he gritted his teeth and said, "And me." The Libby hook was, after all, a heaven-grade weapon. It naturally had the special ability to cut through stellar energy. Duan Musheng's performance gave Ming Shiyin more confidence, and his attacks headed toward Kongji and Kongzhang. Ming Shiyin said, "Let me deal with these morons." Duan Musheng immediately understood. The 4 divine monks fought with great synergy, so separate them. Duan Musheng swung the Overlord Spear horizontally, tearing apart the shield of stellar energy and stepping back. Kong Wen and Kongju's palm prints arrived just at this moment. Kong Wen and Kongju relentlessly launched dozens of palm prints, the battle becoming extremely intense. Kongji and Kuzhang retreated continuously, resisting the threat of the heaven-grade weapon. The chanting of Brahma's voice enters dream continued to buzz in everyone's ears. The battle had entered a fierce stage. All the Sky Choice Temple disciples had fallen to the ground, some still trying to resist, while others with weaker cultivation were foaming at the mouth and fainting. Extremely powerful sound attacks were no less dangerous than actual physical attacks. The incense burners in the plaza were blown away by dozens of palm prints, turning into fine powder before they even hit the ground. The ground beneath was shattered, leaving no intact areas. Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin were already very strong to be able to fight to this extent, considering they were each fighting two opponents. The four divine monks were unlike the four black knights. The four black knights relied on their individual strength, and even when they fought together, they had no combined techniques. However, although the four divine monks were being divided and attacked by Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin, they occasionally joined forces to create a huge hand seal, pushing back the two. Duan Musheng's fierce personality was displayed exquisitely in the battle. The stronger the opponent, the stronger he became. Even when hit by a few palm prints, he would only cry out in pain before charging in to attack again. The pain did not affect the rhythm or power of his attacks in the slightest. Ming Shiyin, on the other hand, was even more cunning. His agile movements allowed him to constantly dodge and seek opportunities to attack. Hand seals filled the sky, colliding in all directions, filling the entire space within dozens of meters of the Great Hero Hall with glittering golden light from the hand seals. Looking at the battle before them, the four divine monks were also deeply shaken by the fighting strength of Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin. They were not ordinary nascent soul realm cultivators, and they also possessed heaven-grade weapons. If their opponents were ordinary two-leaf or three-leaf experts, the four divine monks wouldn't have had such a difficult time. Kong Wen didn't want to continue like this, so he said in a deep voice, "Seal formation!" The four retreated in sync. Standing in position, stellar energy shot out like four transparent silkworm cocoons, constantly spinning. Then the seal formation appeared. Duan Musheng swung the Overlord Spear from above, preparing to smash down. Duan Musheng shouted, "Another turtle shell defense." As soon as he finished speaking, Duan Musheng smashed the Overlord Spear down. He repeatedly and triumphantly used the Overlord Spear to smash those four baldies. Thus, Duan Musheng continuously struck the shield from the seal formation. The bald heads below watched this scene with their mouths agape. His spear shadows continued to attack, ignoring the so-called defense. The spear shadows pierced down forcefully. Boom. Under Kongju's feet, the ground cracked. The seal formation emitted a loud crash. This defensive technique was extremely sturdy, immovable as a mountain, and could block powerful attacks. Kongju thought this move would end the battle, but he never expected Duan Musheng to continue stabbing the seal formation with his spear. One thrust, two thrusts, three thrusts. The Overlord Spear transformed into afterimages, piercing forward with terrifying speed like a drill. Boom! The spear images merged, stabbing into the binding seal. Duan Musheng coldly said, "What I've been waiting for is precisely your grand restriction technique." Wu Ju flew backwards, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood. "You were waiting for me to do what?" Duan Musheng broke the binding seal. The others standing around watching couldn't believe it was real, because after all, the binding seal was a powerful defensive move of the Chan sect. Seeing Duan Musheng charging forward relentlessly, the four great divine monks shouted, "Wu Ju, retreat." Observing from afar, Lu Zhao mused. No matter how strong the binding seal is, can it compare to Hua Wudao's 6 Harmony Dao seal? Duan Musheng has sparred with Hua Wudao for so long. If he hadn't improved even a little, wouldn't he become a laughingstock? Ming Shiyin turned his head to look, then jumped backward. Xu Jing, though very weak, still had some strength left. He opened his eyes and trembled, saying, "Be careful." Hearing the word careful, Lu Zhao raised an eyebrow, puzzled. Lu Zhao wasn't affected by the Buddhist chant dream invasion, so he could observe the battle very clearly. Judging from the current situation, the tide of battle was leaning towards the Evil Sky Pavilion. With two of his disciples taking the stage, Lu Zhu felt that perhaps he didn't need to waste a prop card. Wu Wen, Wu Ji, and Wu Zhang all frowned, their faces grim. Wu Zhu landed, his left hand slightly lifted, and Gang Kui immediately enveloped his body, helping him levitate in the air. He wiped away the blood from the corner of his mouth, his eyes still fixed on the front. "Make your move?" Wu Wen replied. "All right." Wu Ji and Wu Zhang also nodded. Ming Xinyan stared blankly at them. "Make what move?" Two disciples of Great Void Temple suddenly sat down. They shouted, "Eliminate evil, eliminate ignorance. I beseech all who doubt shall not succeed." Boom! A burst of gang wind, an oval-shaped Q-wave, spread out. Lu Zhao was a little surprised, realizing that this was the Great Compassion Mantra. The Buddhist chant dream invasion dissipated with the gang wind that had just been unleashed, replaced by a chanting sound as sharp as a blade. They wanted to launch a massacre. Lu Zhao didn't expect the Great Void Temple people to know the Great Compassion Mantra. There were many types of Buddhist sonic attacks, among which the Great Stillness Mantra and the Buddhist chant dream invasion were sonic attacks that suppressed cultivation levels and lasted for a long time. But the Great Compassion Mantra was different. The Great Compassion Mantra could kill people. The Great Compassion Mantra sonic attack was like the Buddhist chant dream invasion amplified several times, directly attacking the 7 orifices. Lu Zhao felt streams of clear Kui radiating in his mind. He now understood why Abbot Xu Jing had told everyone to be careful. To maintain good, one must maintain sincerity. Those who harbor doubts will not achieve their desired results. Under the influence of the Great Compassion Mantra, the 4 great divine monks seemed to become stronger, and the momentum of Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin suddenly weakened. The disciples of the Heavenly Selection Temple around them all collapsed. If it continued like this, everyone would die. At this moment, Lu Zhao's palm rose high, shimmering with light. The 4 great divine monks stared blankly at Lu Zhao. If the 4 great divine monks truly joined forces, Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin would definitely be seriously injured. How could he let this happen? Lu Jiao stood on the steps, observing the two monks of Great Void Temple chanting the Great Compassion mantra. He suddenly said in a deep voice, "Thunder Gang." The 5 Thunder Gang cards in his hand shattered, turning into 5 counterclockwise rotating vortexes that flew out, growing larger and larger, becoming stronger and stronger. 5 bolts of lightning suddenly struck down from the sky, and the entire space was filled with the white of lightning. Boom! The resonant sound echoed between heaven and earth, striking down on the 5 monks almost simultaneously, causing 2 to collapse and 3 to roll out, with the remaining 15 wearing shocked expressions. The Great Compassion mantra immediately stopped. Several Great Void Temple disciples were charred black by the lightning. The Great Void Temple disciples who were fortunate enough not to be struck by lightning were terrified, exclaiming, "Daytime thunder! How can there be lightning strikes and 5 bolts all hitting our people? Is it because we've done too many bad things and are being punished by heaven? No, impossible! We are monks. We cannot be superstitious." Xiao Yanhe, Ming Shiyin, Duan Musheng, and Zhu Honggong gaped, retreating at the same time, looking up at their master making a move. Lu Ju frowned and shook his head. He wasn't very lucky today, not triggering the one-hit kill aspect of the Thunder Gang card. At the same time, he looked back at the shop. Fortunately, the selling price of Thunder Gang cards hadn't increased. The pupils of the 4 Great Divine Monks contracted. Without the Great Compassion mantra's boost, the strength of the 4 Great Divine Monks also paused. Lu Jiao clasped his hands behind his back, slowly descending the steps. The surroundings were extremely quiet, deathly silent. To catch bandits, one must first catch the leader. Wu Wen suddenly felt that the old man slowly approaching was not as weak as the aura emanating from his body. 4. Great Empty Binding Seal. The bodies of the 4 old divine monks suddenly surged with momentum. Their eyes darkened, radiating a dark blue light. Their original keel condensed into gang. A huge binding seal jointly cast by the 4 suddenly appeared. The difference being that this binding seal was black. Devil Chan, Ming Xiyin exclaimed. Hidden so deeply, they've entered Devil Chan. Until now, the Great Yan world only knew of one person who had entered Devil Chan and cultivated to the Evil Sky Pavilion, and that was Zuo Jinchan. Seeing this scene now, they knew that the entire world was wrong. The great world is not lacking in strange things, above, below, left, and right. What shocked everyone about the 4 great Arhat golden bodies was that the 4 Arhat golden bodies actually merged. The golden lotus under them slowly bloomed. 1 leaf, 2 leaves, 3 leaves, 4 leaves. Lu Jiao had already thought of a way to deal with them, and he had even prepared himself mentally to use 4 Fatal Strike cards. Of course, he could also kill one of them, and the combined strength of the remaining 3 would definitely weaken a lot. Duan Musheng and Ming Xiyin should be able to defeat the 3 of them. But now, the 4 Arhat golden bodies had merged together. The golden lotus below continued to bloom. 5 leaves, 6 leaves. At this moment, Lu Jiao wasn't in a hurry to make a move. He wanted to see how many leaves the golden lotus would open when the 4 Arhat golden bodies merged. The golden lotus opened 6 leaves, and then stopped blooming. Be careful. Abbot Shu Jing used his last bit of strength to remind them. Wu Wen, Wu Ju, Wu Ji, and Wu Zhang simultaneously joined forces, and the 4 Great Fearless Seals also merged into one. Like the Arhat golden body after the merger, the Great Fearless Seal was about half the height of a person, and the word great in the Great Fearless Seal was not enough to describe its power. Even without the Great Compassion mantra boost, this move was enough to take the lives of many people. The disciples of Heavenly Selection Temple revealed horrified expressions. The 4 Great Divine Monks charged forward. Duan Musheng and Ming Xiyin clashed. After all, Duan Musheng was only at the 2-leaf stage. Wu Wen and Wu Ju, carrying the binding seal, sent him flying backward. Ming Xiyin used original ki to control greenwood to block some of the force, and then the greenwood also fell apart. It was just that Ming Xiyin wasn't as straightforward as Duan Musheng. After the greenwood fell, Ming Xiyin also disappeared without a trace. The target of the 4 Great Divine Monks was no longer Duan Musheng and Ming Xiyin. Killing them was meaningless. Their current target was the person who was standing calmly on the Great Hero Hall with his hands clasped behind his back, Lu Jiao. To catch bandits, one must first catch the leader, Shu Liu. What are you waiting for? Backstab him. Lu Jiao didn't expect the 3 disciples beside Abbot Shu Jing to backstab him. At this moment, the Evil Sky Pavilion disciples who saw this scene were puzzled. It could be seen that Shu Liu, Shu Fan, and Shu Hai had betrayed Heavenly Selection Temple long ago. Without time to think, Lu Jiao crushed a prop card in his hand. Eski Ram, Lu Jiao roared, his voice like thunder. Lightning continued to strike down, splattering red liquid everywhere. Lil Sis has tons of awesome full-length stories, like 1 to 12 hours long, plus all the hot new stuff. I've dropped the links in the comments. To binge a whole story, just hit the link in the description. Don't forget to smash that like button, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and be a good noodle so Lil Sis can crank out new vids faster. Scan the QR code on the screen or check the banner and comments for donation info. If you feel like donating, Lil Sis would be super grateful. And then, bam, the sound of those 3. Shu Liu, Shu Fan, and Shu Hai, ambushing him. 3 heavenly lightning strikes coming down. Shu Liu, Shu Fan, and Shu Hai went flying backwards. 2 of them coughed up mouthfuls of blood, staring up at the sky, and 1 just straight up died on the spot. 2 of their Dambashu weapons turned to dust. Only that green Dao weapon in Shu Liu's hand remained. Xu Liu turned into a streak of light, zipping into the golden body and vanishing without a trace. Collected a fragment of the Emerald Fallen Shard. Awarded 100 merit points. Right now, he ain't got time to be studying Emerald Fallen Shard fragments. A towering 10 zang tall golden body of the Buddha Dharma body materialized, standing tall and imposing. The 4 great divine monks just stared, dumbfounded, at the massive golden Buddha in front of them. The great master of the Buddhist sect, Kong Wen, felt his throat drying up, his eyelids twitched non-stop. First sound was the great fearless seal piercing the 10 zang tall golden body of the Buddha Dharma body and disappearing, completely without a ripple. Lu Zhuao raised his hand, another item card appearing in his palm, a damage immunity card. Damage immunity only lasts for 10 seconds. Lu Zhuao had to fight for every second. Lu Zhuao looked towards the 4 great divine monks. A tiny little Kongzi temple dares to provoke this old man. A vortex immediately appeared. A great fearless seal, several times larger than that of the 4 great divine monks, flew forward. The monks exclaimed in alarm. The great fearless seal, boom! The Arhat golden bodies merged, shattering the instant they touched the great fearless seal. The primordial Q force blasted out from the great fearless seal, smashing the Arhat golden body and sending Kong Wen, Kong Ju, Kong Zihe, and Kong Zong flying in a spray of blood. Lu Zhu thought to himself, can one strike kill them all? If so, then I've hit the jackpot. He didn't blink as he watched the great fearless seal fly towards them. The 4 great divine monks flew backward in 4 different directions. Suddenly, the great fearless seal flew towards Kong Wen, the massive palm strike, like Buddha's hand capturing the Monkey King. Boom! Kong Wen screamed in terror. Why is the palm strike only attacking me? A crisp sound rang out, then vanished without a trace. The system immediately announced, killed a nascent Divinity Realm target, gained 1,000 merit points. Kong Ju, Kong Ji, and Qiu Zhang finally hit the ground. Lu Zhao shook his head slightly, seemingly not too pleased with the performance of the one-hit kill card. Now he could understand what the 1-in-1-hit kill meant. It clearly only targets a single enemy with 1 strike. A one-hit kill will destroy the obstacles in its path, but it won't kill those who aren't its target. The name one-hit kill perfectly describes how it works. The monks of the Great Kongzi Temple were stunned into silence, their eyes blankly staring at the 4 great divine monks being sent flying, and Master Kong Fa, Kong Wen, seemingly gone. From start to finish, Lu Zhao only used 2 moves. In front of everyone, 1 defensive Buddha Dharma body, and 1 offensive Great Fearless Seal. The Heavenly Selection Temple disciples were even more gobsmacked. From beginning to end, only 2 moves. It ended so quickly I forgot to explain. Do you understand? Do you understand? If you don't, you'll eventually get it. I don't even know what the heck I'm supposed to explain. It's too terrifying. Xiao Yanhair was used to it, so she wasn't surprised. Zhao Yu and the female cultivators inside the Grand Hall of the Great Hero only saw a sky full of golden light and couldn't see the specifics. Old age Zhu Honggong had never seen such a mind-blowing scene before, and he just stood there, frozen in place, completely unable to believe his eyes. Is this master's power? So terrifying. Lu Zhao called out in a deep voice. Duan Musheng, Ming Shi Yin. Duan Musheng ran over, holding his overlord's spear. Your disciple is here, Kong Ju, Kong Zihe. And Kong Zhang frowned deeply. The 3 monks ground their teeth in terror. Boom. Ming Shi Yin, who had disappeared a moment ago, also emerged from the ground, respectfully saying, your disciple is here. Lu Zhao glanced at Ming Shi Yin. There wasn't any earth-burrowing technique in the clarity of mind skill. When did this naughty disciple learn that technique? But now wasn't the time to pursue the matter. Lu Zhao said, leave the remaining 3 to you guys. Your disciples obey. The 3 monks were only injured by the backlash from the shattered Arhat golden body. The Great Fearless Seal didn't attack them. The 3 of them braced their hands on the ground and stood up straight. Kong Ju coughed once, bowing slightly. Wait a minute. Duan Musheng angrily swung his overlord's spear. There's no waiting. Ming Shi Yin had been overwhelmed by the attack earlier, and his heart was itching for some release. He and Duan Musheng exchanged a glance, and then pounced on the 3 like hungry wolves. One of the monks shouted, Heroes, spare us! Ming Shi Yin immediately replied. You're the hero. Your whole family are heroes. The flying shuttle in the sky saw that the situation was dire, and turned to flee, disappearing into the horizon in a flash. The 2 monks on the ground now had pale faces, scattering in all directions. When Kong Wen was still alive, Duan Musheng and Ming Shi Yin already had the upper hand, so what more now that Kong Wen was gone? San Fang dove back into the fierce battle, and at the same time, Lu Zhao turned away from the plaza and turned around. Zhao Yanfair, Zhao Yue, stand straight. Your disciple is here to clean up a bit. Xiao Yanhair replied. Your disciple obeys. Zhu Honggong finally snapped out of his shock and quickly showed his loyalty. Master still has me. Your old 8 will definitely show his divine might to relieve Master's worries. Xiao Yanhair grinned, cracking her knuckles, and targeted the monks who were just chanting the Great Compassion mantra. I've had enough. See if I don't beat you to death. The 2 of them dealing with this group of monks was no problem at all. Zhu Honggong seemed anxious, asking his little junior sister to leave him a couple of them. Lu Zhao looked towards Zhu Liu and Xu Fan. Lu Zhao asked indifferently, why did you ambush this old man? Meanwhile, the monks were screaming in terror as they were getting pounded by Zhao Yan'er and Zhu Honggong. Mercy, miss! Help! That fatty bites! The two Shu Liu and Shu Farn trembled non-stop. Abbot Shu Jing didn't expect that the Heavenly Selection Temple, with only 3 disciples with the Shu character remaining, would dare to ambush the #1 devil in the world. Cough, cough, cough. Abbot Shu Jing coughed violently, unable to accept this reality, and coughed up a mouthful of blood. Why? Shu Liu said unwillingly. Stop pretending, Zhu Jing. You'd rather give the black wooden lotus to that devil than give it to us, and now you have the nerve to ask us why. Although he was afraid, but things had come to this, he had no other choice. Zhu Jing only regretted not being able to turn iron into steel. Oh, wicked beings! Wicked beings! You actually believe the slanders of the great Kongzi temple. If it wasn't for him trying to hide the injuries on his body, then he's afraid that these 3 would have attacked him long ago, instead of waiting until now. Zhu Liu continued. The demonic path is ultimately the demonic path, Zhu Jing. You're insane. If you still have any conscience, go and repent before the Buddha. Zhu Jing was so angry that he coughed again. He was already seriously injured, and now he was being struck repeatedly, making it difficult for him to endure. Lu Zhao shook his head. Truly, every family has its own problems. Shu Yu, you had the Emerald Fallen Shard in your hands. Why didn't you ambush Shu Jing and instead ambush this old man? Mentioning the Emerald Fallen Shard, Shu Yu's expression changed. Unable to speak, Abbot Shu Jing glared and said, Wicked being, did the great Kongzi temple give you the Emerald Fallen Shard to kill this old monk? Things had come to this point. Shu Yu didn't bother hiding it any further, and said, So what if they did? The 3 of us have put in so much effort for the Heavenly Selection Temple, yet you're willing to bow down to the evil Sky Pavilion? I despise you. Shu Jing flicked his sleeve, and a gust of wind slammed into Shu Liu's face. Smack! Abbot Shu Jing questioned. The lives of 1,000 disciples in Tiangshuan Temple, are they not worth anything in your eyes? Tu Liu retorted. If Tiangshuan Temple simply joins the Dakong Temple, how could their lives be threatened? Smack! This time, Abbot Shu Jing didn't use any qi, but directly slapped him twice with his hand. Shu Liu's face was unsightly from the slaps, one side of his cheek completely swollen. Shu Jing continued his interrogation. You think Dakong Temple is so benevolent? Abbot Kong Yuan of Dakong Temple has not only cultivated demonic Zen, but has long gone mad and entered the demonic path. In recent years, on the surface he pretends to be a virtuous high monk, but behind the scenes he has secretly committed countless evil and immoral deeds. He constantly absorbs the Yuan Qi of his own people to increase his cultivation. Shu Liu's eyes widened and his jaw dropped. You're spouting nonsense. I have personally seen Grandmaster Kong Yuan's golden body. The Grandmaster exudes righteousness and virtue. It can't possibly be fake. Boulder Dash! Abbot Shu Jing showed no mercy and kicked him. Bang! Shu Liu flew out and slid across the ground. Although Abbot Shu Jing was injured, he could still barely mobilize his Yuan Qi. Shu Liu was already a realm below him, and now he was injured by the Thunder Qi. How could he withstand Abbot Shu Jing's kick? For the past 3 days, Shu Liu, Shu Fan, and Shu Hai had been hiding in the shadows, quietly waiting for an opportunity to use the Greenfall Remnant Fan to ambush Shu Jing. Unfortunately, they still hadn't found an opportunity. At the crucial moment, they thought that by helping the 4 great divine monks eliminate the reinforcements called by Shu Jing, the situation would be in their hands. But they didn't expect the opponent to be so powerful. After being kicked away, Shu Liu and Shu Fanjin sat slumped on the ground. Abbot Shu Jing, his face full of pain, said to Lu Zhao, I have made the old benefactor laugh. The ugly affairs of this temple were not meant to be spread. After this matter is over, this old monk will definitely deal with these 2 personally to give the old benefactor an explanation. Lu Zhao nodded slightly. Perhaps only Abbot Shu Jing in this entire Tiangshuan temple was intelligent and knew what was good for him. Lu Zhao looked at Shu Liu and asked, Was the Greenfall Remnant Fan given to you by the Dakong Temple? Yes. Shu Liu's whole body ached. He was utterly bewildered. He was scared. Now, Lu Zhao asked again, Do you know where the other pieces of the Greenfall Remnant Fan are? Zhu Liu shook his head. No, I don't know. Lu Zhao glanced at him. Really don't know? Zhu Liu immediately shook his head. It made sense. He was just a small fry. How could he possibly know where the Greenfall Remnant Fan was? Lu Zhao didn't continue to ask about the Greenfall Remnant Fan, but looked towards the battle between Zhao Yanher and Zhao Yu. They were fighting quite easily, almost finished with the cleanup. It was just a pity that those monks chanting the Great Compassion Mantra all had quite low cultivation, so the merit points awarded weren't much. As for the battle between the nascent Soul Realm cultivators, Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin completely had the upper hand. With one of the 4 great divine monks missing, their strength and cultivation had been greatly reduced. Even though they tried their best to hold on, being defeated was only a matter of time. Xiao Yanher dusted off her hands and ran back, proudly showing off. Master, these monks are too weak. I can't even use my full strength. Lu Zhao shook his head, said, Just the Brahma Sea Realm. He was originally going to mock her a few words, but suddenly remembered that he was also only the 8 Meridian Brahma Sea Realm, and immediately choked back his words. Ding! Killed a nascent Soul Realm target. Rewarded 1,000 merit points. 3 notification sounds rang in his ears. Lu Zhao glanced at the battle ahead. Kong Ju, Kong Ji, and Ku Zhang had fallen. At this time, Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng, apart from their clothes looking a bit disheveled, were in very normal spirits and weren't injured at all. Ming Shiyin turned around to report. This disciple was fortunate enough not to disgrace his mission, and killed the target very well. Lu Zhao looked at Ming Shiyin and said. However, Ming Shiyin secretly rejoiced, thinking that his master wanted to praise him, and hurriedly raised his head to look at his master. Lu Zhao continued. However, when cultivating the Greenwood Sutra, it is best to avoid cultivating other techniques. Master, this disciple was just curious in my heart, and wanted to try learning it, so I learned the Earth Escape technique. I absolutely didn't have any other intentions. Lu Zhao replied. In the future, you must concentrate on cultivating the Greenwood Sutra, abandon all other techniques. This disciple obeys. Ming Shiyin was overjoyed. In this situation, his master didn't punish him, but even gave him guidance. How could he not be happy? The plaza in front of the Great Hero Hall was completely silent. The Tiangshuan Temple disciples, who had been tortured by various dark arts and spells, had gradually recovered after resting for a while. They stood up and looked at the ground and the shattered furnace, and the demonic Sky Pavilion disciples who had defeated the Dakhong Temple monks. This was the strength of the demonic Sky Pavilion. Who said demons can't become Buddhas? Who said demons must be evil? Of course, Lu Zhao had no intention of becoming a Buddha. The disciples swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Although they were afraid in their hearts, they felt even more at ease, because they had personally witnessed the Buddha's golden body. The disciples gradually gathered together, standing in neat rows beside the furnace. Tiangshuan Temple was no longer in danger. Before long, all the Tiangshuan Temple disciples were standing in front of the Great Hero Hall. They looked very disheveled, they were also very tired, and they were even more so the weak. But when they gathered together, the number reached nearly 1,000 people. The disciples with too low cultivation couldn't stand upright, and had to be supported by their fellow disciples, but they still insisted on standing there. Nearly 1,000 disciples simultaneously placed one hand on their chest. Abbot Shu Jing suddenly regained his composure. He looked at the Tiangshuan Temple disciples, then he slowly turned around to face Lu Chuchu, coughed a few times and said, "Thank you, Benefactor Ji, for lending a helping hand at the right time." Here, in front of the Great Hero Hall, nearly 1,000 disciples shouted in unison, "Thank you, Benefactor Ji, for lending a helping hand." Nearly 1,000 voices entered Lu Ju's ears. Some voices were breathless, some were weak and had no strength left. But when they gathered together, they formed a resounding and heroic sound, carrying the momentum and hope of the survivors. Ding! Received 982 people's sincere bows, rewarded 9,820 merit points. Lu Zhao's heart stirred slightly. Now that he thought about it, it seemed that his initial choice was correct. Seeing old Abbot Shu Jing walking towards him, Lu Juju raised his hand to interrupt him, not wanting to talk nonsense, or rather, not wanting to hear nonsense. Abbot Shu Jing went straight to the point. "This old monk will go get the Blackwood Lotus for you." Lu Juju walked towards the stairs and entered the Great Hero Hall. Old 8th, Zhu Honggong, who had personally witnessed his master's powerful methods, hurriedly ran up, kicking up the colored stone fragments on the stairs, his mouth full of flattery. "Master, your move of the Buddha's golden body has truly broadened this disciple's horizons, and that move of the Great Fearless Seal, it is truly one of a kind in the world. You pieces of trash, don't block my master's way." The other disciples could only stand silently and watch. Although they occasionally flattered, no one could say such shameless words as Zhu Honggong. They felt that their skin was not as thick as old 8th's. Lu Zhao ignored him, entered the hall, and slowly sat down. Apart from a few Stoneheart disciples waiting in the hall, the other Tiangshuan Temple disciples had begun to clean the plaza. Abbot Shu Jing returned, with 2 disciples supporting him on either side. In his hand he held a brocade box, and slowly walked into the great hall. Abbot Shu Jing presented the brocade box in his hand with both hands, and brought it to Lu Zhu's face. "This is the Blackwood Lotus." When Lu Zhao took it and opened the lid of the box, a strong and extremely pungent medicinal smell wafted out. Ding! Acquired a piece of Blackwood Lotus. Ding! Completed the task of acquiring the Blackwood Lotus. Rewarded 1,500 merit points. This time the notification was very concise. Omitting the effect of the Blackwood Lotus, Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said, "Aren't you afraid of death?" Abbot Shu Jing said, "What is there to fear about death? Since the 4 great divine monks came last time, this old monk has suspected that Xu Liu and the other 2 had ulterior motives. But this old monk didn't expect that they would dare to be so bold. You were trying to hide your injuries to deceive them." "That's right." Lu Zhao put away the Blackwood Lotus and gave it to Xiao Yan'er standing behind him. "Xiao Yan'er, keep this Blackwood Lotus." Yes, Xiao Yan'er hugged it in her arms as if she had found a treasure. No one needed the Blackwood Lotus more than her. Her master didn't mind going to great lengths to find the Blackwood Lotus for her. The purpose was to help her open her Qi. No one in this world longed for it as much as she did. She thought to herself, "I must cultivate diligently every day." Abbot Shu Jing clasped his hands in front of his chest and said to Lu Zhao, "This old monk, as the abbot of Tiangshuan Temple, is willing to lead all the Tiangshuan Temple disciples to join the demonic Sky Pavilion." The other disciples also lowered their heads. Lu Zhao shook his head and said, "Demons are ultimately not Buddhas. There is no need to do so." Now Tiangshuan Temple was a group of old, weak, sick people. Abbot Shu Jing had been seriously injured, and it would take a while to fully recover, and the young disciples couldn't shoulder great responsibilities. The rebellion of Zhu Liu, Xu Fan, and Xu Hai had made Tiangshuan Temple colder than frost after the snow, and the most important problem was that these people were not of great use to the demonic Sky Pavilion. Abbot Shu Jing sighed. "Benefactor Ji, now Tianshuan Temple is no longer able to compete with other masters. Although Daikong Temple has retreated in failure this time, they will return one day." He didn't finish his sentence and shook his head. He was worried that Dakong Temple would return to attack Tiangshuan Temple again. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said, "The 4 great divine monks of Dakong Temple have died. The only strong person left in Dakong Temple is Kong Yuan. This person is cautious. At least for a short period of time he will not return here. Moreover, Lu Zhao had released the Buddha's golden body, showing his powerful strength. Those who controlled the flying Lushan and ran away definitely knew it clearly." Abbot Shu Jing nodded, feeling that Lu Zhao's words made a lot of sense. As long as they didn't show up for a short period, he would be able to come up with other ways to escape danger. Thinking of this, Abbot Shu Jing nodded and said, "Thank you, Benefactor Ji, for your guidance." Lu Jiao got up, waved his sleeve, and said, "Let's go back." Ju Honggong shouted, "Heading back to the crib!" Ming Yin frowned, rolled his eyes, and scolded, "8th junior brother, are you trying too hard to suck up? You don't have any of the Ma Tiange disciple vibes. I'm embarrassed for you, seriously." "Yes, master, wait a moment, I'll go prepare the flying chariot right away. I guarantee I'll drive it perfectly, no bumps at all." Ming Yin quickly ran out of the Great Hero Hall. Ming Yin was super fast, and before long the cloud-piercing flying chariot had landed outside the gate of the Great Hero Hall. Lu Zhao glanced around, then said, "Although Tianshuan Temple doesn't need to join Ma Tiange, today's events will definitely be spread throughout the world. Tianshuan Temple will no longer have a place in the cultivation world." Lu Zhao questioned Shu Jing. "Did you ever think about this consequence?" Abbot Shu Jing replied. "Having experienced this old monk has had an epiphany. Those things are no longer important. From now on, Tianshuan Temple will retreat from the world and cultivate in seclusion." Lu Zhao nodded slightly, saying nothing more, then lightly leaped onto the cloud-piercing flying chariot. With the 8 pulses of the Brahma Sea realm, it wasn't difficult at all. Lu Zhao then said, "Let's go," Ming Yin replied, "Yes," and steered the flying chariot. The old Abbot Shu Jing looked up at the sky, chanted a few incomprehensible Buddhist scriptures, and then put his palms together in a salute. Amitabha. Nearly 1,000 disciples also put their palms together in salute and began to chant. It wasn't an attacking chant, not a mind-confusing sound technique, nor was it a defense. It was simply chanting ordinary scriptures. From each sound of the scriptures echoing in front of the Great Hero Hall, sometimes low and sometimes soaring, it resonated throughout Tianshuan Temple, spreading throughout Qingyuan Mountain. An old man said to his son, "Son, listen, this is the highest level chanting ceremony for guests, and it's Tianshuan Temple's respect and gratitude towards Ma Tiange. Dad, hearing such an inspiring scripture, I suddenly want to become a monk too. Son, you've seen the light, let's go together." Being treated like this for the first time made Ming Yin and Duan Musheng feel a little uncomfortable, with a very weird feeling all over their bodies. Hard to describe. The cloud-piercing flying chariot rose into the air. When the cloud-piercing flying chariot flew high in the sky, Ming Yin sighed, shook his head, and said with emotion, "These baldies may have trash cultivation, but in some other respects, they're way stronger than those Jingming Taoists." Duan Musheng nodded in agreement. They keep their word. The cloud-piercing flying chariot flew in the sky, revealing a long tail like a shooting star, quickly flying towards Ma Tiange. An hour later, in the secret chamber of Ma Tiange, Lu Zhao opened the system interface and checked. Lu Zhu. Race. Human. Cultivation. 8 pulses of the Brahma Sea realm. Merit points. 29,320. Dharma body. 6 harmonies separation. Remaining lifespan. 5,955 days. Items. 1 hit kill card X1. Damage immunity card X2. Fatal block card X7. Passive binding cage card X4. Refining talisman X2. Status. Peak. Ji Tiandao X1. Bai Zhe is rested. Remnant piece of the Azure Jade Banyan X1. Weapon. Nameless. Amorous Ring's owner Ye Shitiaxin needs to be refined again before it can be used. Life-severing saber. Brahma's glittering silver silk. Cultivation method. 3 volumes of Heavenly Book. Lu Zhao looked at the 29,320 merit points with great satisfaction. He didn't expect that being respectfully bowed to by the disciples of Tianshuan Temple would earn him even more merit points than killing the 4 great divine monks. Of course, Lu Zhao understood that this amount of merit points was far, far from enough to help him restore his peak cultivation. But compared to being poor and ragged before, he was now a big shot. How could he not be happy? He initially planned to buy a Dharma body. The 7 stars soul transference Dharma body costs 15,000 points, leaving him with 14,000 after buying it. However, he had to do a round of lottery first. Lottery? A moment later, Lu Zhao shook his head helplessly. This must be what they call, after making a big profit, you'll definitely suffer a big loss? He didn't win anything in 60 draws. All of them were. Thank you for participating in the game, host, wasting 3,000 merit points. Fortunately, this time he had the unexpected joy of being respectfully bowed to. Otherwise, this lottery would have made him bleed non-stop. Maybe he's just gotten used to being unlucky. Lu Zhao wasn't too distressed. Remembering the last time when he was extremely unlucky, he accumulated 66 luck points. This time, his luck points had reached 79, even unluckier than before. Must stay calm. The 66 luck points last time were exchanged for a reverse card. This time, it shouldn't be too bad, right? Maybe it'll reward him with 1,000 reverse cards? Who knows? Lu Zhu calmed down, didn't do any more lottery, and opened the store to buy the 7 stars soul transference Dharma body. Acquired the 7 stars soul transference Dharma body. Would you like to use it? Use! With the 7 stars soul transference, Lu Zhu's cultivation would officially enter the divine court realm. Lu Zhao watched as the 6 harmonies separation dharma body disappeared and was replaced by the 7 stars soul transference dharma body. At the same time, he felt a powerful force surging through his 8 extraordinary meridians. In the past, cultivators in the Brahma Sea realm only focused on tempering their bodies and minds, but once they truly entered the divine court realm, they would officially embark on the path of cultivation. In a cultivation sect, only one divine court realm cultivator could be cultivated out of several hundred people. Entering the divine court realm would grant control over cultivation methods and the ability to touch the origin of the cultivation world. Compared to the Brahma Sea realm, both power and cultivation were far superior. At the same time, the surrounding energy around Ma Tiange began to vibrate and was sucked into Ma Tiange. The disciples felt the energy fluctuation and immediately looked towards Ma Tiange. Zhu Honggong said curiously, "Senior brother, did someone just enter the divine court realm?" Ming Yin wasn't surprised at all. "Don't panic, master does this kind of thing all the time." Zhu Honggong scratched his head, not understanding, but thinking about the situation at Tianshuan Temple. He didn't dare to doubt his master's cultivation and abilities. Just based on the fact that his master could summon the golden body of Buddha and the great boundless seal to defeat the 4 great divine monks, he didn't dare to say anything more. Zhu Honggong asked curiously, "Fourth senior brother, when did master reward you with a weapon? Can I see it?" Ming Yin raised his hand, and the parting hook appeared floating on his palm. Zhu Honggong wanted to hug the parting hook, drooling with envy. "When will I have a decent weapon? Don't you already have the precious Chung garment?" "Oh right, 8th junior brother, let's go." Ming Yin dragged Zhu Honggong towards the back mountain. Zhu Honggong panicked. "Where are we going? Are you going to train the Xuan Gong with me?" "Fourth senior brother, don't joke around. I'm just at the divine court realm. How can I be a match for the nascent divinity realm? Ouch, senior brother, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts." In the secret chamber, Lu Zhao officially entered the divine court realm, exhaling a mouthful of foul air. He felt that the energy in his body had changed, and in all aspects had reached the standard realm of the divine court realm. Psychic. His lifespan had reached its limit since Tiandao's time, so increasing his realm only restored his cultivation and couldn't increase his lifespan any further, 555 days. Lu Zhao opened the store and bought a reverse card, used the reverse card of life energy, and the system interface reported that his remaining lifespan was 6,255 days, equivalent to more than 17 years, increasing by exactly 300 days, no more, no less. Lu Zhao got up and stretched his muscles. He didn't feel anything different because, after all, he only reversed 1 year of lifespan. 17 years was nothing compared to thousands of years. Lu Zhao now understood that this system was very good to newbies. Whether it was the lottery or the gifts, they were much more generous than they are now. As his cultivation became higher, his luck would become lower. Emerald Fall Fragments. Isn't this the junk that Ji Tiandao tossed away? My mind's eye shows me Zhu Liu ambushing me with the Emerald Fall Fragments. This weapon is extremely sharp. Even though it's just fragments, it has a terrifying trait. It can pierce through someone's protective Q. It's a very effective weapon for killing, but fragments are still just fragments. Lu Zhao tried hard to recall his memories, but they were vague. Any information related to the system was against Ji Tiandao. I don't know what method he used to obtain 8 fragments, but he felt they were useless and discarded them like junk. Trash from the evil sky pavilion naturally becomes treasure when it's brought outside. Some people with ulterior motives are always lurking in the shadows to collect the evil sky pavilion's treasures, and the Emerald Fall Fragments are one of them. Lu Zhao gently raised his hand, and a green Emerald Fall Fragment suddenly appeared in his palm. It was thin and flat, with a strange and irregular shape, looking like a broken piece of a vase. Lu Zhao mobilized his primal Q to sense its quality. Barely an Earth-grade weapon. With this kind of quality, Lu Zhao didn't care about it at all. No wonder Ji Tiandao discarded the Emerald Fall Fragments without hesitation. Lu Zhu glanced at the mission interface. Activating. Collect Emerald Fall Fragments 1/8. This mission is seriously hard mode. Searching everywhere for the Emerald Fall Fragments is like finding a needle in a haystack. How can I complete this? Lu Zhao shook his head, inwardly despising the system's mission before closing the interface. He turned around and left the secret chamber. As he entered the main hall, he saw Zhao Yue rushing towards him, bowing and saying, "Master, Junior Sister Xiao." Lu Zhao asked, with his hands behind his back, "Is she causing trouble again?" In the Evil Sky Pavilion, Lu Zhu can't find anyone who can bully Zhao Yaner. Zhao Yu worriedly explained, "No. After obtaining the Black Lotus, Junior Sister ate both pieces completely. Her condition is unstable right now." After hearing Zhao Yu's words, Lu Zhao froze for 3 seconds. Zhao Yu continued, "Tiangxin Junior Sister has gone to help. Her Azure Sea Tide song should be able to stabilize the medicinal properties." Lu Zhao raised his eyebrows. This girl really never lets this master rest easy. He had underestimated Zhao Yanher's desire to advance her cultivation. After obtaining the Black Lotus, she couldn't resist, and rushed back to the southern pavilion, eating both pieces. The problem is that the medicinal properties of the Black Lotus are extremely strong. You need to use it multiple times, like drinking wine, savor it slowly. The more hurried you are, the easier it is to get drunk. If it's serious, something bad could happen. At the same time, in the southern pavilion, Duanmu Sheng, Ming Yin, and Zhu Honggong were anxiously waiting. Even Zhu Jifeng, Pan Zhong, and Hua Wudao were present in the courtyard. Luo Ming Yin said, "The effects of the Black Lotus are terrifying, but this little girl's bloodline talent is not simple. I believe she can withstand it." Elder Hua said that. But we must still be prepared for the worst. We must think of ways to suppress the medicinal properties. Our little junior sister has never experienced hardship in her life. I'm afraid her will isn't strong enough. Duan Musheng grabbed Ming Xinyan's shoulder. How do we suppress it? Ming Xinyan said, annoyed. Senior brother, why did you use so much force? How would I know how to suppress it? Let me. Ye Tiangxin, supported by 2 female cultivators, appeared on the threshold. Ming Xinyan asked doubtfully. Do you have a way? Ye Tiangxin replied. The Azure Sea Tide Song can dilute the medicinal properties. The name Azure Sea Tide Song speaks for itself, using the power of water, and water is the source of life. Ming Xinyan worried. But your cultivation is in the process of recovery. If you do this, I'm afraid it will damage your foundation. How will you recover your cultivation in the future? Ye Tiangxin replied. Besides this method, do you have any other way? Having no other choice, everyone reluctantly made way for Ye Tiangxin. Ye Tiangxin indifferently opened Zhao Yan'er's room. Before entering, she turned her head slightly to look at everyone and whispered, Don't forget, she is also my junior sister. With that, she entered the room and closed the door. Ming Xinyan looked blank, and then he kept pacing back and forth. Everyone sighed and shook their heads, each as anxious as ants on a hot pan, pacing back and forth, waiting. Ming Xinyan looked outside the courtyard. Damn, why isn't Master here yet? Zhu Honggong spoke up. Don't worry, senior brother, 5th senior sister has gone to invite Master. Master is old. It's normal for him not to walk fast. Ming Xinyan stared and said, 8th junior brother, you've got some nerve. Daring to mock Master behind his back. Zhu Honggong immediately trembled all over. 4th senior brother, how dare I? Master is in his prime. The treasured blade has never dulled. Sect leaders, Hua Wudao, Zhu Jifeng, and Pan Zhong cupped their fists and bowed. Ming Xiyin, Duan Musheng, and Zhu Honggong quickly turned around and saw Lu Zhao slowly stepping into the courtyard. Lu Zhusao saw that everyone was present and conveniently asked, What's the situation? Ming Xiyin cupped his hands and replied, Tiangxin junior sister has gone inside. Her Azure Sea Tide Song can dilute the medicinal properties. With her taking action, the problem is no longer serious. Lu Zhao nodded, his eyes sweeping over each person before stopping at the 8th. 8th, what are you afraid of? He saw the 8th's legs shaking. Zhu Honggong wiped the sweat from his face. No, I'm just worried about little junior sister. I'm doomed. On the surface, he was putting on a brave face, but in his heart he was crying to the point of darkness. With Master's peak, perfect state, nascent divinity realm cultivation, how could he not have heard what he just said? But to the 8th's surprise, Lu Zhao said calmly, Ye Tiangxin cultivates the Azure Sea Tide Song, which can enter the 8 extraordinary meridians in someone else's body. Don't worry too much. Ming Xinyan coughed softly and took a step back, afraid that the 8th would be beaten to a pulp and splash onto him. Zhu Honggong also fearfully took a step back. Lu Juju didn't understand what these two were up to, so he ignored them. Hua Wudao stepped forward, bowing and saying, Ye Tiangxin can indeed harmonize the medicinal effects, but her cultivation is weak. I'm afraid it will be difficult to control. What suggestions do you have? The best way is for the sect leader to take action personally. Everyone's eyes focused on Lu Zhao. You are Ye Tiangxin's master. Ye Tiangxin knows the Azure Sea Tide Song, so wouldn't you know it too? Moreover, you would do it better and stronger. Of course, the most suitable person to take action is you. Ye Tiangxin is just a sickly demon. How could she be better than master? Hua Wudao's suggestion was very reasonable, causing everyone to agree. Lu Zhao put his hands behind his back, then frowned and shook his head, saying, having Ye Tiangxin is enough. He had just entered the divine tribunal realm, and it was still the early stage. His cultivation realm had not yet stabilized, so how could he stabilize the medicinal effects? Bang! Just as everyone was waiting anxiously, a wave of ki rippled out from inside the room, shooting straight into the sky before dissipating. From within this powerful ki, everyone could clearly feel the Dacio origin energy. Dacio origin. Dacio origin is the symbol of the nascent divinity realm. It is the foundation for condensing the 100 tribulations, insightful dharma body, Panzhong exclaimed. Mixed within the ki was a golden energy, which was Dao origin. The nascent divinity realm has a total of 3 levels, including Dato origin, mixed origin, and Dato integration. Dato origin is the first level when entering the nascent divinity realm. This means that someone is entering the nascent divinity realm. Obviously, Xiao Yan'er has successfully broken through. During the dissipation of ki, the southern pavilion sky was swept by the intense energy, and everyone was delighted. Little junior sister has broken through. Our evil sky pavilion has another great general. Oh, the nascent divinity realm, when will I break through? Honggong was envious, some were happy and some were depressed. Zhu Jifeng, who was praised as a genius of a famous orthodox sect, stared blankly at the primal kied dissipating in the sky. Compared to Xiao Yan'er, he was just trash, entering the sect for more than 5 years, and entering the nascent divinity realm. This kind of talent, I'm afraid the ancients didn't have it, and future generations won't find it. The door hasn't opened yet. It seems that it is still continuing to release primal Q. Crash! Ye Tiangxin broke through the wooden door and flew out. Lu Zhuzhao reached out to support her, and another surge of energy was released. Ye Tiangxin slowly opened her eyes, and Lu Zhao, supporting Ye Tiangxin, glanced at her indifferently. He then pushed Ye Tiangxin to Ming Xiyin to catch her. She was on the bed. Xiao Yan'er's whole body started glowing with his golden light. and she was wrapped up in some freaky, strange energy. Underneath all that, you could still see traces of the faint blue energy from her Azure Sea Tidal life art. These two kinds of energy were just constantly swirling and mixing together. Xiao Yanhair sat cross-legged on the bed, slowly starting to chill out, and her whole vibe, her aura, got a ton more powerful than it was before. Finally, her eyes fluttered open. Master! She had this dazed look on her face, like she'd just woken up from a super deep dream or something, and all the origin energy that had been around her just totally vanished. Congrats, little junior sister. Congratulations, little junior sister, for successfully entering the nascent soul realm. Congratulations, little junior sister. Congratulatory voices from the senior brothers and sisters echoed into the room. Xiao Yanhair looked at her hands, trying to mobilize Yuan Qi. She raised her right hand, circulating Yuan Qi. And immediately, 100 tribulation insightful Ming Dharma body of the same height as her appeared. There were no opening golden lotuses beneath the Dharma body. And inside her Dharma body looked like a person made of gold. Xiao Yanhair gently clenched her fist, and the Dharma body disappeared. She immediately jumped out of bed, excitedly saying, Master, I really broke through. I'm now in the nascent soul realm. Lu Zhao's tone was very bland, very light, and also very serious. Xiao Yanhair was slightly startled and knelt down. She oh-heed, and then obediently knelt on the ground. Lu Zhao then asked, Do you know what you did wrong? Xiao Yanhair obediently replied. Disciple knows she was wrong. Lu Zhao frowned and asked, What was wrong? Xiao Yanhair hesitated. I don't know. Zhao Yanhair's answer left Lu Zhao speechless. At this time, Ming Xinyin, standing outside the door, said, Little junior sister used the black lotus wood without permission. If it weren't for junior sister Tianxin risking danger to stabilize the medicinal effects and save her, how could she have broken through so easily? Zhao Yanxier widened her eyes, looking at senior sister Tianxin. She's injured, but not too badly. She'll be fine after a few days of rest. These words made Zhao Yanhair extremely guilty. She bowed her head in shame. Disciple knows she was wrong. Please punish me severely, master. Lu Zhao stroked his beard. It's good to know your mistakes and be willing to correct them. Stand up and speak. Thump thump. At this time, Zhu Honggong fell to the ground again. Ming Xiyin frowned. What the hell is eighth brother doing? Zhu Honggong had never heard master say such words. No, I'm just not used to it yet. Ming Xiyin stood opposite him, afraid that this idiot would do something stupid and implicate him. I warn you to stay away from me, Akanish. Lu Zhao stroked his beard, looking at Zhao Yanhair. You have just entered the nascent soul realm. You must first consolidate your cultivation, and from now on you can cultivate the complete, revised version of the Tai Ching Jade